Alright, so I don't know what influenced me to make this video today, but it's going to be a long one. Grab some popcorn, we're going to be here for a minute. It's not a 5-year rebuild, not a 10, not a 15, not a 20. I am rebuilding the Toronto Maple Leafs until franchise mode ends. 25 years are ahead of us. Austin Matthews, he's not going to make it to the end of the 25 years. John Tavares won't, William Nylander, none of these guys are going to be here in 25 years. It's going to be a completely different Toronto Maple Leafs team, and the goal, at least 7 Stanley Cups. Is that going to be happening? Absolutely not. But can we win 7 Stanley Cups for the Toronto Maple Leafs over the next 25 years? We're going to be here for a while. This is going to be by far the longest video I've ever uploaded on my channel. I'm starting this recording on January 25th. I have absolutely no clue how long this is going to take me. I would not be surprised if this gets uploaded 3 weeks from now. But you know what? We gotta grind. We gotta rebuild the Toronto Maple Leafs. So let's get right into it. And normally at the beginning of videos like this, I would give out a couple of extensions, but there's no one we can actually really give an extension to. I guess we could do Liljegren, but I mean, I'm not bringing back Mark Giordano. He's 39 years old. I'm not going to bring back TJ Brody. I can't give extensions to Domi or Bertuzzi yet. So Liljegren, I think you're going to be the only guy getting an extension here, barring you being reasonable. I'm not really too sure if this is reasonable. 4.3 for the next 3. I think we're going to pass on this deal for now. But I do want to give out one deal here, and I think we're going to do it with Nick Robertson. I'll do 1.65 for the next 4 years. Once this contract's up, we're still going to control his RFA rights, so I think this is a smart move. So we're just going to simulate up to the trade deadline here and then make a couple moves accordingly. The Toronto Maple Leafs, they might be able to win the Stanley Cup, but they also might finish bottom 5 in the entire league. You just never know with the simulation. But while this simulates, there's some business that we need to handle, and you're definitely going to want to see this. I just went and looked up the price of an Andre Burakovsky jersey. Why is this thing almost $300? I mean, Fanatics branded, yeah, I guess like it's the authentic, but 300 bones for this. Okay, no. If I'm buying the Andre Burakovsky jersey, 5,000 likes. 5,000 likes minimum. So since y'all were able to hit 5,000 likes on the video, I'm going to live up to my word here and buy an Andre Burakovsky jersey. But here's the thing, this is a pretty special Andre Burakovsky jersey. It's signed by the man himself, Andre Burakovsky. That's right, for 5,000 likes, I bought a signed Andre Burakovsky jersey. And since I haven't learned my lesson, if this video gets 7,500 likes, I'll buy a Toronto Maple Leafs jersey. Not signed, but I'll buy a Toronto Maple Leafs jersey. I haven't figured out which player yet. We'll figure that out later. But shout out to you absolute legends for 5,000 likes, but y'all aren't going to top that. You're not hitting 7,500. So in year number 1, the Leafs are having themselves a pretty decent season right now. We're 5th in the entire league with a 37, 22, and 4 record. The offense is pretty solid, while the defense definitely needs some work. Meanwhile, when we're discussing the production of our top guys here, it's looking fantastic. Matthews, 87 points. Marner, 87. William Nylander's got 71. John Tavares, 56. I'm not going to lie, there's a very high chance that John Tavares gets traded next season, because he's going to start dropping in overall here. He's an 87 at 33 years old. By year number 2 of this rebuild, it's not going to be looking good with him. Meanwhile, the goaltending situation, Samsonov, 29 wins, 1 shutout, a 900 save percentage, and a 316 goals against. You're about to be traded, and I already know which team I'm trading you to. So that might have been a slight lie. I actually don't know where I'm trading Samsonov, but I guess he's going over to the Seattle Kraken for a 3rd rounder in Devon Shore. Now both of these guys are about to get flipped. Also, I realized that I said both of these guys are about to get flipped, and one of them was a 3rd round pick. So yeah, that doesn't really make too much sense, but a 3rd rounder along with a 1st, and we're going to be picking up Jeremy Swayman. He's our goaltender for the future, no doubt about it. So hopefully a 3rd and a 1st rounder can be enough to get Jeremy Swayman. It's not going to be, but you know what? Maybe Devon Shore can be the difference maker. So with Devon Shore added into this deal, can we get Jeremy Swayman from the Boston Bruins? Obviously, Devon Shore would not be the difference maker. I don't even know why I thought he would be. But you know what might be? A 5th rounder from the Calgary Flames. And now we have Jeremy Swayman. So we have our goaltender for the future. And when I say future, I mean probably the next like 7 years. And then we'll have to get a new goaltender. But for those next 7 years, Jeremy Swayman's the guy for us. And I think with our second move, we're going to be acquiring Nick Paul here from the Tampa Bay Lightning. One of the reasons I want to acquire Nick Paul is because of his contract at an 83 overall. $3.15 million for the next 6 years is an incredible contract in a rebuild like this. Because once we get to year number 6, the contracts get a bit ridiculous. So just like that, we're going to be acquiring Nick Paul. And I think those are going to be the only 2 moves we make here. I also will say right now, the goal is to not win the Stanley Cup this season. I mean, if we do, I'm not against it. But right now, we don't have the greatest line fits on this team. Like Austin Matthews does doesn't even fit on the first line. Once we get a really good coach that Austin Matthews can mesh with, then it's over for the league. Then again, he also does have 87 points in 63 games, so maybe we don't need a coach. So I think this is what we're going to rock with here. We're going to put Nick Paul on the second line with John Tavares and William Nylander. Bertuzzi's going to the first line with Matthews and Marner, and Matthew Nyes, he'll drop down to the third line with Yarcrow and Camp. Meanwhile, in between the pipes, you already know what we're rocking with here. Jeremy Swayman, 88 overall. He's going to get elite potential next season. This dude's going to be a beast for us. Also, when it comes to a Jeremy Swayman extension, we're going to wait here because ideally I want to do more than 2 years. But if we do an 8-year contract, he wants $10 million. I don't want to give him $10 million. So hopefully during the re-sign phase, he smartens up a little bit. But I will give out one extension here, and that's going to go to Tyler Bertuzzi. I feel like $4.3 million for the next 5 years is actually a great deal for him, especially if he's going to be playing some top 6 minutes. We're going to try to keep him on the first line with Matthews and Marner, but even if he can't play there and has to drop down to the second line, we can make it work. Now, the Toronto Maple Leafs were a good team this season, except our division was absolutely loaded. We're going to be finishing 8th here with a 45-29-8 record. A good offense, but the defense definitely needs to be worked on. But we already knew this. Toronto's defense, very mid. Luckily, Austin Matthews is here, 107 points, 60 goals, 47 assists, a slow season from him. Mitch Marner, 107 points, William Nylander, 84. While Nick Paul, I'm kind of curious to see what you did since joining the team. I'm not expecting anything crazy, but 19 points in 19 games? I'll take it. Meanwhile, Jeremy Swayman, what are your numbers looking like since joining the Toronto Maple Leafs? A 923 and a 238. Okay, if you put up these numbers in the postseason, there's a very good chance we win a Stanley Cup, because those are incredible. Especially considering how many goals we were allowing here, I thought your numbers would be way worse. So maybe the Toronto Maple Leafs are actually better than I thought. We're taking on the Florida Panthers here in the first round, and if we can get a hot Jeremy Swayman, then I think we can take on any team. So far, we've actually been doing a pretty good job competing with the Florida Panthers. We've split the series so far, and Game 5 is going to be a deciding one. We're going to be dropping that one, so we got to bounce back big here in Game 6, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing, winning that one 2-1, and that means we're off to Game 7. So here we go, game number 7. All comes down to this. In the first period, we're absolutely flying, picking up 3 goals. This should be all wrapped up. We're picking up another in the second period, and just like that, we're off to the second round, a massive 6-2 victory. Also, I'm kind of curious, did John Tavares pick up a hat trick? He had 2 goals here. Yes, he did. Johnny T picked up a massive hat trick in game number 7. He's really that guy. Big time players making big time plays, and he's showing up in game 7. So we've moved on to the second round here, and now we have ourselves a great matchup. The Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Boston Bruins. Can they finally get their revenge after about 19 million years of disappointment against this team? Probably not, because it's the Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Boston Bruins. We already know Boston's winning this matchup, plain and simple. At least I can say the Toronto Maple Leafs are actually competing with the Boston Bruins. Similar to our last series, we've split it so far, but in game number 5, the Bruins are absolutely dominating us, taking that one 6-1, and like the last series, we got to respond here in game number 6, and we're doing the exact same thing. We're off to game 7 for the second series in a row. We need Johnny T to have another massive game. So John Tavares, can you be the hero once again here? In the first period, we're going to be picking up 1 goal. That's coming from Cal Yarcrow, and in the second, we're going to have Matthews and DeBrusk both picking up goals, so it's still a 1-goal game heading into the third period. And in the third period, we're taking over. Klingberg, Matthews, Liljegren, we're picking up another 3 goals, and we're off to the conference finals. But now we have our toughest matchup yet. Now, I'll definitely take the conference finals in year number 1 of the rebuild, but we have the New York Rangers up next. They were a 60-win team, by far the best team in the entire league, but if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best, and that's what the New York Rangers are. And I have absolutely no clue what's going on here, but Jeremy Swayman's putting the team on his back-to-back shutouts in game 3 and game 4, and we close out here in game number 5, a massive 4-3 victory, and we're in the Stanley Cup final in year number 1. Maybe 7 Stanley Cups is actually reasonable for us. So it all comes down to this: the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Colorado Avalanche matching up in the Stanley Cup final against each other. Both of these teams have been playing absolutely incredible, but now it's time for Toronto to win a Stanley Cup. We've made it all the way to the Stanley Cup final in year number 1 here. We can't fold now. So it's time for Toronto to lock in. We're going to be simulating the first 4 games of this series, and ideally we complete a sweep here. We won the first 2 games and things were looking fantastic, but we're dropping the next 2. Game 5, as we know, is always an important one. We're taking that one 4-2, 1 game away from hoisting a Stanley Cup, and in game 6, we're closing this one out. Never mind, we're off to game 7. I guess game 7 is the most fitting way to end season number 1. We've already played 2 of them and we've won 2. Now it's time for us to win another. So it's time for the big time players to make some big time plays. And in the first period, we're going to see Mitch Marner picking up the first goal of the game. But in the second, we're not picking up any. But Phil the Thrill Kessel is picking up one on Jeremy Swayman. We might be cooked. They have Phil the Thrill Kessel on their team. How can you stop that man? In the third period, we're going to see a ton of goals here, but it's going to be 2 goals from each team. We're entering overtime. The next goal is going to win the Stanley Cup, and it's coming from the Toronto Maple Leafs. Cal Yarcrow's the big time performer in this game. Game 7, overtime. He's picking up the winner, and just like that, the Toronto Maple Leafs have won the Stanley Cup in year number 1. How this Toronto Maple Leafs team just won a Stanley Cup in year number 1, I cannot explain to you. I was fully expecting us to get swept in the first round, but here we are, Stanley Cup champions. You know what? We might be keeping our coach around. This man just won us a Stanley Cup. No point switching things up. I don't care if the line fits aren't that great. We won a Stanley Cup. We're keeping everything the same. And of course, the big time performers are making big time plays here. Mitch Martin, 28 points. Austin Matthews, 26. William Nylander, 25. John Tavares, 25. I might actually keep you around next season. Well, Jeremy Swayman, 16 wins, 2 shouts, a 914 to 286. If we didn't pick you up at the trade deadline, then we're definitely not winning this Stanley Cup. That might go down as one of the best moves in making this video. And we're just in year number 1 here. Alright, so I need to acquire some picks around the 100th overall range. So I'm going to be trading the 66th overall and the 224th over to the Arizona Coyotes. We're going to get the 97th and 93rd. Hopefully this is enough. Okay, we got this deal done. We're about to bring in some absolutely incredible prospects. Starting with the 93rd overall, we're going to be getting a low elite potential goaltender. Now that's not the greatest prospect in the world, but wait till you see this next one. Because with the 97th overall, we're going to be securing a medium elite potential defensive defenseman. If this guy doesn't develop into anything, that's going to be okay because he's going to have a ton of trade value. But then again, we do have to remember this is a 25-year rebuild, so in 7 years from now, he could be the guy for us. But the incredible prospects aren't done there, because with the 128th overall, we're going to be securing a medium-elite potential goaltender. So once Jeremy Swayman's time is run up with this team, Lamb might be the next guy up for us. So at the end of the day, we ended up getting 3 elite potential players in this draft, so I'll classify that as a good one. So I'm happy to say Jeremy Swayman is willing to be a bit more reasonable, and we're going to be locking him down to an 8x8. However, by signing Jeremy Swayman, we actually don't have any more money left, so I'm going to have to qualify a bunch of RFAs here, and then we'll have to clear up some cap space. Not too sure what we're going to trade away though. So I guess an 8x8 is actually not going to be enough for Jeremy Swayman, so I'll do 8.4 for the next 8. Hopefully that's enough to get this deal done. Okay, I guess we're going to be giving him $9 million. I mean, I'm not against it, but I would like to do a bit less. So let's try 8.8 for the next 8. If you're not accepting this, then you're kind of bugging over like 400k per year. There we go, Jeremy Swayman's locked down long term. So we got through the re-sign phase, and now it's time to give out some extensions here. And Mitch Marner, I gotta bring you back. I don't care what you're asking for. 11.25, I can work with that. So how about instead of 11.25, we do 10 million per year for the next 8 years? You know what? Let's actually go below $10 million. I'll do 9.9. And then with a guy like John Tavares, I'm not against a contract like this. I actually am. What am I talking about? Bro's 33 years old. He's going to be declining pretty quick here. But I will keep him around for this season. We did win a Stanley Cup last year. If we can run it back with the exact same team and win another, I'm not against that. Also, Jake McCabe, I'll do 2.5 for the next 2 years. That's a pretty solid contract. Meanwhile, Matthew Nyes, 1.6 for the next 8. I never said this was going to be a realistic video. We're doing a 25-year rebuild, and you want me to be realistic? Yeah, that's not happening. Also, with a guy like Joseph Wall, I feel like 1.75 for a backup role for the next 4 years is actually a pretty solid contract for us, so we're going to have 2 decent goaltenders in net for us. Now, I understand I just said I wasn't going to trade John Tavares, but I think we're going to have to, because this man's getting paid $10.7 million at an 87. I have absolutely no issue with that. I mean, it's a bit of an overpayment. It's actually an overpayment by a lot, but other than that, we cannot afford anyone else. We don't have enough forwards for this team. We really only have 3 defensemen under contract, so we got to make some changes here. We have to free up a lot of money, and then we can bring in some defensemen. So Johnny T, I'm sorry to say, I got to ship you out. So at no point did I ever say this video was realistic. John Tavares and William Eklund. I have no clue why the San Jose Sharks want John Tavares, but I'm not against making a deal like this. They're going to be saying no, but I feel like we're pretty close in trade value, and maybe a 3rd rounder can be the difference maker. So Johnny T in a 3rd and we pick up William Eklund, I'm not against it. We're just a bit low, so we got to include a 7th rounder. No, this is actually a wild trade for us. We're picking up an incredibly good young prospect here. We're freeing up $10 million in cap space. We're going to be able to bring the team back, and we're looking even better for the future. So now that we cleared up that John Tavares money, we're going to be able to bring back Liljegren here, and we'll do 4.1 for the next 5. Another guy we're going to be bringing back now is Gregor, 1.5 for the next 2 years. He plays some good bottom 6 minutes. So Matt Waugh is available in free agency here, and I'm actually willing to pay a bit more than what his asking price is because I want to make sure I bring him back to the team. We'll do 3.4 for the next 3 years. He's an 83 overall at 29 years old. He's not really going to be declining too much, and he's going to play some good top 6 minutes for us. Right now we have $6 million in cap space, but we're in desperate need of one more defenseman, so Brendan Dillon, I'll do 4.8 for next season. You're going to serve your purpose for this team, play the 1 year, and then you'll walk in free agency. So things are actually looking pretty solid for the Toronto Maple Leafs right now. Austin Matthews, Matthew Knies, and Mitch Marner on the top line gain a +3 boost. On the second, we're going to see William Nylander, Nick Paul, and William Eklund gain a +2, while Tyler Bertuzzi, Cal Yarncrow, and David Kampf are going to be holding it down the third line, gain a +2 boost as well. The fourth line might not be the greatest in the world, but when you have a top 9 looking like this, I think it's okay if you have one weak line. Defensively, outside Morgan Riley, we don't really have any superstars, but we have a ton of guys here that play their role. Matt Waugh and Brendan Dillon are 2 new additions to the team. They're going to be paired up on the second pairing together, gain a +1 overall boost. I can work with having 2 great defensive defensemen here. And to finish it all off, Jeremy Swayman's in between the pipes for us, an 89 overall. He's got a couple X factors now. Still high starter potential though. I'm a bit surprised with that. I thought he would have moved up to elite potential by now, but you know what? I can live with that. He's a great goaltender, and he's ready to get us another Stanley Cup. Also, shout out to Joseph Woll. He's our backup for the next couple of years. He's that guy. Now, things aren't necessarily the greatest for the Leafs right now. We're 11th in the entire league with a 31-21-6 record. The offense isn't too bad. The defense isn't great whatsoever. We're just not winning a lot of games. Yeah, I really don't know what to say about this team. Like, offense, good. Defense, average. But a lot of these teams, I guess, are just better. I don't know what to say about that. Austin Matthews has seen some similar production this season. 73 points, 48 goals at the trade deadline. William Nylander, 69 points. Mitch Marner, 69. Nick Paul's having himself a great year. He's got 48 points. While Matthew Knies, I'm expecting a bit more seeing as you're playing some top line minutes for us. 35 points, 12 goals, 23 assists. I actually don't recall if he's on the first line or not. I think I put him on the first line. It's either him or Bertuzzi. But Bertuzzi is sucking right now. -16 and Cal Yarncrow -18. No, we got to fix up that third line. Now, Jeremy Swayman's goaltending numbers aren't actually the worst in the world. 26 wins, 2 shouts, and 910 and 289. But Joseph Woll, on the other hand, bro, stop the puck once in a while. A 350 just isn't it. Now, I'm going to be honest. I'm going through the trade deadline right here, and I cannot find anyone that I actually want to pick up. Because our top 6 is great. We need help on the bottom 6. But I can't find anyone that would actually fit in our bottom 6 that would be a nice upgrade to the team. So I don't think we're going to be making any moves here. We're just going to rock with the team we have right now. I don't think we have enough on this team to win a Stanley Cup. But you know what? I don't want to try to force anything. Now, to finish out the year, the Toronto Maple Leafs were actually looking incredible. 7th here with a 46-28-8 record. The offense was flying, while the defense, it definitely stepped it up after the trade deadline, finishing with the goals against of almost 3. I'll take it. We also won our division. I do want to mention that. I have no clue how we won the Atlantic, but we did. So I guess shout out to us. We're better than everyone else. Now, statistically, Matthews took a bit of a step back, but he did have 62 goals, so I'll look the other way. William Nylander, 91. Mitch Marner, 90. Nick Paul, 68 points. Who would have saw that one coming? And then William Eklund, 61. You were a great pickup for this team. Also, Matthew Knies, 49 points. I'm still expecting more. Like, plain and simple. You got to be playing better. Meanwhile, here are the goaltending numbers for this team. Jeremy Swayman, of course, is the guy for us. 36 wins, 2 shouts, a 909 and 286. But shout out to Joseph Woll because he improved that goals against from a 350 to a 327. So he must have looked pretty good after the trade deadline. But you know what? I don't care what happened after the trade deadline during the regular season because now we're in the playoffs. This is when it matters most. We have a chance at repeating here, so let's get right to work. So the dream of a repeat definitely isn't looking good. We're down 3-1 in the series, and Game 5 might be the end for us unless we can win this one. We're dominating 3-0. Jeremy Swayman, pick up another shutout here. Back-to-back shutouts. Never mind, you allowed 6 goals. Alright, the dream of a repeat is dead and we're out in the first round. That's some Toronto Maple Leafs hockey right there. So of all the teams that could have won the Stanley Cup, it's going to be the Boston Bruins. Toronto wins last season and then Boston immediately responds with a Stanley Cup of their own. That makes a lot of sense. Gotta respect it though. So I can't tell you exactly what went wrong with this team, but I actually can. Our third line needs a lot of work. Cal Yarncrow, -4. I already know Tyler Bertuzzi wasn't great, -1. While the goaltending numbers, clearly they're not going to be good. Jeremy Swayman, an 890 and a 357. Joseph Woll was perfect though. I mean, he faced 1 shot in 7 minutes, so maybe we should have went with him because he was perfect. So we're currently at the draft and things aren't looking that great, so I'm going to trade my picks away. A 5th and a 7th is going to go over to the Arizona Coyotes for a future 3rd. And we're not done there because now with a 5th and a 6th rounder, that's going to be sent over to the Boston Bruins, and we're going to be securing Columbus's 3rd round pick. Really, I just don't want to be wasting my draft picks when I know I'm going to be getting 7th D potential players. So when it comes to the re-sign phase, we're going to be bringing back a couple of these RFAs, but other than that, we're not making any major moves here. And when it comes to goaltenders, I guess I will sign this 80 overall. No clue who he is, but you know what? He could be a good player for us. Then again, I don't want to sign him to a one-way contract. So we'll do 2 years at 1.1 million and then just throw him in the AHL or something. Yeah, I don't really know what to do here. So after we've gone through the re-sign phase, we do have to give out an extension here, and it's going to go to William Eklund. We'll do 8 million per year for the next 4 years. I think that's a pretty solid contract for him. He's only 22 years old. I mean, if I give him 8 years, what would he be looking at? Okay, that's way too much. So we're going to do 4 years at 8 million. Okay, so I'm looking at a deal like this where we're going to trade a second and a fourth rounder over to the Anaheim Ducks to get a second round from the Penguins. Now, on paper, this makes absolutely no sense. However, this Pittsburgh Penguins pick has a lot of trade value. That's the reason we're going to try to pick it up here. So I think a second and a fourth could be able to get this done. They're going to be saying no. So we're going to do a second and a third rounder. Hear me out. I am cooking something up here. A second and a third for this draft pick. They're going to say no. I'll throw in a sixth rounder as well. I have a plan here. There's a reason why I'm trading for this second round pick. So we acquired it. Now it's time to go over to the Montreal Canadiens. So now we're going to try a deal like this. The second rounder we just picked up, Cal Yarkrow, and 2 third rounders over to the Montreal Canadiens, and we're going to pick up Slafkovsky. Right now, Slafkovsky might only be an 80 overall, but there is a chance he can fit in our bottom 6, but he also still has medium league potential at 21 years old. He could develop into an absolute beast, and I want him to do that on the Toronto Maple Leafs. So we're going to get this deal done, and now we just got a massive upgrade to the team. I also traded Cal Yarkrow because he only has 1 year left on his deal, and he wants like $6 million for an extension. I'm not giving him $6 million. That's not happening. By making that trade for Slafkovsky, we actually need to clear up cap space in order to have the money to bring back William Eklund. So I'm going to trade David Kampf along with the prospect over to the Washington Capitals, and we're picking up Faravari, who's on a 1 year contract right now. Or I thought this would be enough. I guess we have to throw a 7th rounder in the deal. So with this 7th rounder from the Toronto Maple Leafs, we're going to be acquiring Faravari. He's going to be the missing piece we need on our defense, while the rest of our team we're going to be bringing back. Alright, so the forward core here looks incredible with Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Paul, Eklund, and Nyes leading the way. Then on that third line, we got Bertuzzi, Gregor, and Slafkovsky. Here's the plan with Slafkovsky. He's going to play on the third line this season. After this season, we're going to give him an extension, and since he was playing third line minutes, he's going to ask for less money than what he would on the first line. After this season, he's going to play on the first line alongside Matthews and Marner, where he has a perfect line fit, and then he's going to pick up probably like 80 points, and we're going to be paying him about $5 million. That's going to be an incredible deal for us, but for now, it's going to be Nyes, Matthews, and Marner. Defensively, we're going to eventually have to figure this situation out, but Morgan Riley, Liljegren, Matt Waugh, Faravari, McCabe, and Kokkonen, I can definitely live with this. I also probably said Kokkonen wrong, but you know what? We're going to roll with it. Meanwhile, in between the pipes, we have one of the best in the entire game, Jeremy Swayman. He's got high elite potential and 88 overall. It's time for this team to get another Stanley Cup. Also, Joseph Wall is still here, so we continue to shout him out. But in all seriousness, over the next couple of years, the salary cap situation for the Leafs is going to be very interesting. We're eventually going to be losing some players here, but you know what? As long as we can keep the main guys around, then we're going to be perfectly fine. I also think we're a pretty competitive team. We just got to get this team rolling on all cylinders. So compared to where the Leafs were last season, things are looking great. We're third in the entire league with a 39-19-5 record. The offense is flying, while the defense actually might be the best in the entire league. Never would have expected that. Well, it's not the best, but we're in the top 6 here. Who would have ever thought the Leafs would have a top defense in the entire league? That just doesn't seem realistic. Austin Matthews, 69 points. William Nylander and Mitch Marner, they both got 67. While William Eklund's got 55. We got a good core here. Also, Matthew Nyes, 36 points. Come on, bro. You got to break out eventually. 82 overall. You have top 6 potential. I'm giving you all the chances in the world, and you're just letting me down. I need you to step it up. Meanwhile, the goaltending numbers, Jeremy Swayman, you have 37 wins here at the trade deadline. Last season, you had 36. At the end of the season. So yeah, I would say he's locked in. Also, Joseph Wall, maybe pick up a win once in a while. You have a 2-9-1 record with a 904 and a 327. That doesn't really help our team right now. Then again, a 327 with the amount of goals we're scoring, I thought you would have more than 2 wins. So maybe it's not necessarily your fault. Maybe we just don't score in the games you're in between the pipes. Okay, we got incredibly lucky because the Calgary Flames changed their trade block a little bit. Now I can offer them a first round pick and they actually want it. We'll be able to get Rasmus Andersson. This is clutch. I was trying to trade for this man earlier, but I was unable to because they didn't want our first rounder whatsoever. But now they do, so we're going to be able to get this done. Rasmus Andersson, welcome to the team. This is huge for us. We didn't have to give up our medium league potential prospect. We did give up one young defenseman. You know what? I'm perfectly fine with that because we're looking elite right now. Rasmus Andersson's going to be a massive upgrade for this team, and I think that we're the favorites to win the Stanley Cup now. So this is what we're looking like for the Stanley Cup run. It's going to be Morgan Riley and Timothy Liljegren, and then we're going to have Rasmus Andersson and Faravari on that second pairing, and then finish it all off, Jake McCabe and Matt Waugh. Yeah, we're ready for a Stanley Cup. This defense got a massive upgrade with Rasmus Andersson. I would play him on the first pairing, but then we don't get the +1 boost. Rasmus Andersson, he has a better fit on the second alongside Faravari, so I think we should keep these two guys together. To finish out the season, the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to be looking pretty solid here, 4th in the entire league with a 49, 26, and 7 record. The offense flying like usual, while the defense took a bit of a step back, but you know what? I can live with that. The usual suspects are going to be at the top of the league here. Austin Matthews, 99 points, 54 goals. Mitch Marner, he's got 98 points here. William Nylander, 81. Eklund's got 65. You know what? I think we got to change these lines up next season because I don't think we're getting enough scoring from our top guys here. Like Matthew Nyes, you're playing first line minutes and you have 49 points. I'm expecting way more from you. While Slafkovsky, 37 points here. I can't necessarily complain about that, but then again, you do have medium league potential. I am expecting more. But then again, you fill your role on the third line, so I can't really complain too much. While the goaltending situation here, Jeremy Swayman, 45 wins, 2 shots, a 909 to 278. These are the most wins you've ever had in a season. Joseph Wall, we're going to pretend these numbers don't exist. Now, Jeremy Swayman, how about you add 16 more wins to this total, and we get a Stanley Cup. But whatever y'all do not lose in the first round to the Montreal Canadiens. We cannot be going out like that. I refuse to lose to the Montreal Canadiens in the first round. That would definitely not be ideal. If we lose to Boston in the second round, I can deal with that, but not to Montreal in the first. So thankfully, it doesn't look like we're going to be losing to the Montreal Canadiens here because the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to be taking them down in 5 games, a massive 6-4 victory, and we're off to the second round. Now, I was really looking forward to a Toronto Maple Leafs Boston Bruins second round matchup, but I guess that's not going to be happening because the Boston Bruins are a bunch of frauds. They're falling in the first round. Toronto's taking on Tampa here. It's still going to be a great matchup, but I would have preferred Toronto versus Boston. So far, it's been a good series between the Tampa Bay Lightning and Toronto Maple Leafs. We've been going back and forth the entire way, and now we have Game 5. Who's going to be taking the lead in the series? It looks like it's going to be the Toronto Maple Leafs. A massive overtime win, and can we close it out in game number 6 here? Of course we can. We're off to the conference finals once again in year number 3. So here we go. We've made it to the conference finals once again. The Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Carolina Hurricanes. If we can win 2 Stanley Cups in the first 3 years of this rebuild, then things are going to be looking absolutely incredible for this team. Now, I honestly thought we were going to be completing a sweep after the first 2 games, but then we're going to drop the next 2 and we got ourselves a tie series. Do not lose 3 in a row. You just lost 3 in a row. Alright, that's not great. Do not lose 4 in a row. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to win that one 1-0. We probably shouldn't have won that game. Jeremy Swayman's going to be saving the day for us, and now we're off to game 7. So we already know how things work in game number 7. We need the big time players making some big time plays, and Nick Paul and William Nylander, they're going to be picking up 2 goals for the Toronto Maple Leafs. The second period is going to be scoreless. Can we close it out in the third period? That's going to be scoreless once again. So I guess that William Nylander goal in the first period is going to end up being the winner, and we're off to the Stanley Cup final once again, our second time in 3 years. So it looks like our Stanley Cup final is going to be an all-Canadian matchup. The Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Winnipeg Jets. Winnipeg's looking to win their first ever Stanley Cup, while the Toronto Maple Leafs, they're looking to win their second in 3 years. So I would normally be fine with the Winnipeg Jets winning a Stanley Cup, but not in this situation. We need the Toronto Maple Leafs to win. We just swept them. We swept them for our second Stanley Cup in 3 years here. I did not think we were going to dominate them like this. Toronto was absolutely locked in every single game, and once again, we're Stanley Cup champs. And without Austin Matthews, this isn't happening. 33 points here in 22 games, including 14 goals. Mitch Marner, 12 goals and 17 assists for 29 points. William Nylander, 21. William Eklund, 17. And Matthew Nyes, he finally picked it up. 15 points in 22 games. It's good to see that you actually showed up when we needed you to. While the goaltending numbers, Jeremy Swayman, 16 wins, 2 shots, a 908 and a 284. You've won 2 Stanley Cups with the Toronto Maple Leafs, but now it's time to make that 3 Stanley Cups because we have to repeat next season. So immediately after winning in the postseason, we're going to continue to win in the draft here because with the 32nd overall pick, we're getting a medium-league potential goaltender. And I guess at some point we made a deal with the Carolina Hurricanes and gave them our 3rd rounder, so we're going to be bringing that back. I do not recall making a trade with the Carolina Hurricanes, but for some reason they have our 3rd rounder. They must have got it from another team, but I guess we're bringing it back. So we're going 1-for-1 on draft picks here. The reason I traded that 4th and 5th rounder away is because we were not getting anything good. Low top 6 is probably the best thing we would have gotten, so I might as well trade those picks away. So obviously Rasmus Andersson's not going to be coming back to the team. We do not have the money for him, but I do want to bring back Faravari and Gregor. Unfortunately though, we don't have the money to bring back both of these guys, but there's an easy way to get around this. I'm going to qualify Faravari as an RFA, and then I'm going to give Gregor the extension. So Gregor, I'm going to do 1.9 for the next 3 years because you do a great job on our bottom 6 here, and then Faravari, I'm going to trade somebody away, clear up some cap space, and then I'll bring you back. Alright, so it looks like my ridiculous plan worked with with Slafkovsky. 84 overall, and he only wants 2.5 million, but I'm giving him an 8-year extension. We're going to keep him around for as long as we can. So we're going to do an 8-year extension. He's going to be getting paid $3 million per year, and he's going to be playing some first line minutes this season. We're basically paying him about 10K more than what he's getting paid right now, except he's going to develop into like an 88 overall. So we're going to be paying an 88 overall $3 million. If that's not a great deal, I don't know what is. So I was looking at picking up a third pairing defenseman, and then I realized what Brandt Clarke's trade value is. For some reason, it's lower than what it normally is. So Tyler Bertuzzi, a second rounder and a mediumly potential goaltender, is that going to be enough to bring Brandt Clarke to the team? It doesn't look like it, but I actually think we're fairly close. So if I were to add a third rounder into this deal, is that going to be enough to bring him onto the team? That's a massive steal for us. We still have him under contract for the next 2 years at like 800K, but he's going to develop into an absolute stud for us. The fact that his trade value is that low makes no sense. And Faravari, of course, we're going to be keeping you around. You're an important part to the team, and we're going to be doing $4.2 million for the next 3 seasons. Now that we cleared up that Bertuzzi money, we're going to be able to give it to you. So I think the only thing we really need to do right now is pick up some guys for the bottom 6. So Jason Dickinson, I'll do 2.2 for next season. You're an 82 overall. You can play on the 4th line. I feel like that's a pretty solid pickup. So this is what we're rocking with for season number 4, as this team's attempting to repeat. Austin Matthews, Slafkovsky, and Mitch Marner on the 1st line. Then we're going to have William Nylander, Nick Paul, and Eklund on the 2nd. To round out the bottom 6 here, we're going to see Jason Dickinson, Matthew Nyes, Gregor. The 4th line's looking incredible. This team can easily compete for a Stanley Cup. Defensively, we're going to see Morgan Riley and Brandt Clarke on the 1st pairing, Liljegren, Faravari on the 2nd, then Jake McCabe and Matt Watt to round out on the 3rd pairing. Meanwhile, we have 2 fantastic goaltenders in net for us. We're going to see 88 overall Jeremy Swayman. He's got exact elite potential now. He's ready to take over the league, but we have a new backup this time around. We got Dennis. He's an 82 overall starter potential goaltender. He can hold it down for this season, because next season we're going to have a new backup, and it's going to be this guy right here. He's got low elite potential at 20 years old. He'll probably turn into like an 82 overall by the beginning of next season, and then he'll be our backup from here on out. Before we get into next season though, I actually do want to make one trade here. We're going to ship Joseph Wall out because I want this goaltender that has low elite potential to get all the reps this season, and I don't want Joseph Wall starting over him. So Joseph Wall, I'm going to send you over to the Dallas Stars, and we're going to pick up a future 3rd rounder. So it's easy to say this is the best Toronto Maple Leafs team we've ever had. First in the entire league with a 44, 15-5 record, and we're at the trade deadline right now, averaging just under 4 goals per game while only allowing 2.83. If this team's not repeating this season, then I don't know what's going on here. It's good to see the big time players making big time plays. Austin Matthews, 87 points here with 51 goals. Mitch Marner, 30 goals and 85 points. William Nylander, 70 points. Eklund's got 57. While Slafkovsky was a good move moving him up to the 1st line. He's got 45 points here at the trade deadline. He might finish with around 55, maybe even 60 points. And he's going to continue to keep getting better. While Matthew Nyes, 28 points. I'm paying you $1.8 million. I can't really complain with that production, but I did expect you to be a bit better by this point. However, there's one guy we can rely on night in and night out. That's Jeremy Swayman. 39 wins here, 1 shutout, a 907 and a 283. Keep doing your thing. Now, I didn't plan on making any moves here, but we're going to take a risk with Oliver Wahlstrom. He's getting paid $1.5 million. He's an 84 overall. It's not guaranteed that he can fit on the bottom 6, but I'm willing to take that risk. So 2 third rounders for him, and we're getting this deal done. Never mind, I'm going to have to add something else to the deal, but we can easily get something to work here. So I'll throw in Steves here. I think that should be enough to be the difference maker. It is. Wahlstrom, welcome to the team. So we're going to have Oliver Wahlstrom playing some 4th line minutes for us because that's where he has the best line fit. He doesn't really fit anywhere on this team, but I guess the 4th line's the best spot. I mean, it's not that bad of a pickup. You got Nick Robertson, Gregor, and Wahlstrom here. That's a pretty solid 4th line. Alright, so there's a very good chance that we complete the repeat here because we're 2nd in the entire league with a 53-21-8 record. If you finish 1st in the entire league, you don't win the Stanley Cup. That's a known fact. But we're 2nd here, averaging 3.83 goals per game, only allowing 2.85. The Toronto Maple Leafs are here. They're a completely different team under stick on the ice, and so is Austin Matthews. I believe this is a career season for him. 114 points, 64 goals, 50 helpers. Mitch Marner, 109 points. William Nylander, 90. This entire team's looking fantastic. And Slafkovsky, just under 60 points. Once that contract kicks in next season, we have you for the next 8 years. You're going to be an absolute beast. Also, what did Wahlstrom do since joining the team? Okay, he sucks. That might be the worst pickup stick on the ice has ever done. This man took 27 shots to not score a single goal, had 2 points in 18 games. But you know what that means? He's going to pick up 15 points in 22 games during the postseason. He's going to step up when we need him to. Meanwhile, Jeremy Swayman, keep doing your thing. 47 wins, 1 shutout, a 905 and a 285. Enough yapping's been done here. Let's get right into the postseason. We have the Montreal Canadiens once again in the 1st round. Let's get past the Montreal Canadiens real quick. Rematch against the Tampa Bay Lightning in the 2nd round, and then we can match up against the Carolina Hurricanes in the conference finals once again, and then in the Stanley Cup final, I wouldn't mind beating the Winnipeg Jets once again. And right now, things continue to look amazing for the Toronto Maple Leafs. A quick 5-game series and we're off to the second round just like that. So we've moved on to the second round. Things are going according to plan. We have the Tampa Bay Lightning. We're going to beat them, beat Carolina, and then beat the Winnipeg Jets to repeat. So once again, we're going to be going back and forth with the Tampa Bay Lightning here, but we're going to take Game 5, which is going to allow us to take Game 6. Maybe not. We got to win Game 6 here. We can't be falling in the second round. Of course, we're going to be winning that one 5-2, and we're off to Game 7, a place where this team somehow performs. So Game 7, the series is on the line here. Are we going to be coming out on top? Probably not. We're already down 2-0 in the game. Are we responding in the second period? Of course we're not. We have to have a massive third period if we want to get back into this game. Never mind. We're going to be getting smoked here. Brandt Clark's going to be picking up our lone goal here, and we're going to be falling in the second round to the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is an absolute massive disappointment for us, but if Tampa goes on to win the Stanley Cup, then I won't be quite as mad. Alright, so Tampa won the Stanley Cup final, so I guess I'll take it. We lost to an incredible team that won the Stanley Cup. It was a tough Game 7 for us to drop, but you know what? We'll be able to bounce back from it. So looking at the numbers on this team, I mean, scoring wise, we didn't do too bad, but defensively, we clearly weren't that good. Austin Matthews -4, Mitch Marner -2, Slafkovsky -5. That first line definitely did not show up for us, and Austin Matthews only 3 goals. You have to be better than that. Like, shout out to Matthew Nyes, 8 goals in 12 games. Without him, we're probably not even getting out of the first round. While the goaltending numbers, these actually are pretty good. Jeremy Swayman, a .912 and a .265. I'll take those. We just didn't perform in front of you, plain and simple. Now, the draft was pretty forgettable for us. We had 3 selections here, but we didn't get any notable prospects. However, we did get 1 medium top 6 potential forward, so I guess there is that. So we don't have a ton of extensions to give out, but we do have to give out some important ones. We're going to be starting with Minton. We'll do 2 years at $1 million. We're also going to pick Thomas up here. I'm not sure if I mentioned, but I did claim him on waivers. So we're going to give him 2 years at $850K. He's also going to be on a 2-way deal here. For an 80 overall, I actually think that's a great pickup. And then with the rest of these guys here, like Wallstrom, McCabe, Matt Waugh, Jason Dickinson, we're going to be letting all of them walk. However, when it comes to our backup goaltender, I'll definitely bring Dennis back here. 2 years at $800K, that's a steal of a deal. Alright, so now we have to give out some extensions here, and we're going to be starting with Austin Matthews. Over under 13 million. I'm going to be honest, sometimes the simulation completely lowballs these guys. We might be able to get Austin Matthews for like $12 million. He's looking for 12.7. I can definitely work with that. And honestly, I think we can get him for less than 12.7 million. We're going to do 11 million per year for the next 8 years. We're going to be locking Austin Matthews down for the rest of his prime. This is going to be an incredible deal for us. And then the next guy we're going to be locking down here is going to be Brandt Clark, and we're going to be doing 6.2 million for the next 8 seasons. We're going to keep him alongside Austin Matthews. I don't know why I said alongside Austin Matthews. He's not even going to be playing with Austin Matthews. We're not going to worry about that though. And then Nick Robertson, 1.1 for the next 3. I have no issue with that deal. Now, Max Domi, you were on the Toronto Maple Leafs for a very short time, but you know what? At 32 years old, I actually want to bring you back here. We'll do 4.4 for the next 2 years. You'll be a good bottom 6 piece. Welcome back to the team. So with our next sign, I'm going to be doing Loray to a 4-year deal at 2.3 million. That's actually going to be a great deal for a depth defenseman. And with our final signing, we'll bring in Ian Mitchell on a 3-year deal at $2 million. For a third pairing defenseman, he fits the role. So this is what we're cooking up here. It's going to be Matthews, Marner, Slafkovsky, and then Matthew Nyes, Eklund, and William Nylander holding it down the second. The bottom 6 here is looking pretty solid. They continue to hold it down like usual. I have no issues with who we have here. Defensively, it's the same old suspects here, but we got ourselves a new third pairing. Both these guys were brought in on pretty cheap contracts, so all I need you to do is perform on the third pairing. I'm not expecting 100 goals from you, but I am expecting you to prevent 100 goals from being scored. And then in between the crease, of course, Jeremy Swayman continues to be our man. He's 28 years old. We probably got like 4 more good years left in him, and then he'll start to decline. But you never know. Goaltenders usually decline a bit earlier. He might start dropping in overall at 31 years old, maybe even 30. So time might be running out with Jeremy Swayman. Luckily, we do have this 21-year-old goaltender that has low elite potential. He might be taking the reins sooner than later. And we also have this goaltender backing him up in the AHL. He's got medium elite potential. If both of these guys could develop, we're going to have a great goaltending tandem pretty quick here. So obviously, I built an incredible team. We're going to be first in the entire league at the trade deadline, 41, 19, and 2. The offense flying like usual, while the defense absolutely incredible. But these are things that we should expect from the Toronto Maple Leafs now. I have completely turned this team around. Austin Matthews, 82 points at the 62 game mark. Mitch Marner, 74. Nylander, 70. Eklund, 68. This team's incredible. Slafkovsky, 51 points so far, almost surpassing his total from last season. Everything's looking great right now. And what makes it look even better is we have Jeremy Swayman putting up numbers like these. This team really can't be stopped right now. The only thing that's going to stop this team is ourselves. Like, we're going to show up in the postseason, very first round. Matthews is is going to pick up 1 goal in 7 games. Nylander's going to have 2 points. And Mitch Marner, he's going to be out there picking up 1 assist. And that 1 assist is going to be on Austin Matthews' lone goal. I don't know why I'm talking so negative right now. We've won 2 Stanley Cups. Things are actually looking really good for this team. So maybe I should really stop doubting them. Okay, hear me out here. Alexander Ovechkin at 50% retained. We're just going to assume this guy can fit on the bottom 6. The chances of that happening, incredibly low. But if he can fit on the bottom 6 and we can get him for like a 2nd, 3rd, and 4th rounder, then this actually might be the move. He's an 84 overall still. He could play on the team. We're going to try this. A 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounder for Alexander Ovechkin at 50% retained. We got Ovi on the team. Austin Matthews and Alexander Ovechkin. This team is not going to have an issue scoring goals. So if this team plays up to expectations, then we're set. William Nylander, Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, William Eklund, Alexander Ovechkin, Slafkovsky. This could go down as one of the greatest top 6s of all time, as long as everyone plays up to expectations. If even one player on this team falters, especially the top 6, then we're toast. So it was an absolutely historic season for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Not only are we first in the entire league with a 53, 26, and 3 record, but Austin Matthews, bro, was locked in this season. A career high in points, 116, but he also picked up 68 goals because why not? So Matthews has 68 goals, Mitch Marner 106 points, but Alexander Ovechkin, what'd you do since joining the team? That's what I'm really interested in. 14 points in 20 games, you had 6 goals, 8 assists. Honestly, I can't really complain with that production. Was I hoping for some more goals? Absolutely. But you know what? 14 points in 20 games, I'll take that for a second line guy. And to cap it all off, of course, we have to check out Jeremy Swayman's numbers like usual. 41 wins, 8 shutouts. I believe that's a career high for him. A 908 save percentage and a 281 goals against. The Leafs continue to roll, and this man's the backbone to our team. But when we have to match up against this team, it doesn't matter what the records are. We're always going to be the underdog. It's the Boston Bruins taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. We know the history between these two clubs. We just got to live up to the hype now. Now, I should have known that we would have beat the Boston Bruins in a sweep here. You know why? Because in our final game of the season, we played Boston and we beat them 9-2. We smoked this team 9-2 in the final game of the regular season, and we kept that momentum, absolutely dominating this series, and now we're off to the second round in 4 games. So we weren't messing around with the Boston Bruins whatsoever, taking them out in a sweep. And you know what? I wouldn't mind taking the Tampa Bay Lightning out in a sweep as well. Let's start the postseason 8-0, and then maybe even match up against the Carolina Hurricanes in the conference finals once again. Okay, I'm going to be completely honest. I was kidding about starting the postseason 8-0, but you know what? We actually did it. We just swept the Tampa Bay Lightning after sweeping the Boston Bruins, and we're off to the conference finals here. We haven't lost a game yet, and we've been dominating every single one of them. 6-2 in game number 4 and 9-3 in game number 3. This team really can't be stopped right now. So we've made to the conference finals here, and unfortunately, we're not going to be matching up against the Carolina Hurricanes. It's going to be the Columbus Blue Jackets, but you know what? I don't care who we take on. It's going to be a sweep no matter what. We were really about to sweep the Columbus Blue Jackets, but they got lucky and won game number 2 here, but that's fine. Let's just make this a 5-game series. We're 12-1 in the postseason right now. We might be taking on the Chicago Blackhawks as they have a 3-2 series lead. I don't care who we take on. Toronto's coming out on top. So here we go. It's time for Stanley Cup number 3 here. The Toronto Maple Leafs matching up against the Chicago Blackhawks. Who would have thought that in year number 5 here, we would be in our 3rd Stanley Cup final? I can tell y'all for a fact, I would have never thought we would be here. The Toronto Maple Leafs of all teams, I've been able to turn around. I've really done the impossible. And similar to every series we've played so far, let's make this a quick series, but I guess that's not going to be happening. So far, we split the series with the Chicago Blackhawks. We can't lose to Chicago. We've made it all the way to the Stanley Cup final, and now it's time to finish things up here. In game number 6, we're coming out on top, an overtime winner for us, and the Toronto Maple Leafs are Stanley Cup champions 3 times in the last 5 years. I've really turned this team into a dynasty. Nah, real talk. The big time players are making big time plays out here. Not only did Matthews have 15 goals, but he finished with 32 points. Marner, 29 points. Alexander Ovechkin, what a pickup that was. 11 goals in 19 games here. He had 23 points. This entire team was locked in. Slafkovsky's got 19 points. Like, look at the entire offense here. Even the defense was great. This entire team was absolutely locked in. And Jeremy Swayman, these numbers, actually not as good as I thought they would be. 16 wins, 1 shout, a 910, a 297. Bro had a 297 and won a Stanley Cup. Ain't no way. But you know what? We'll take it. Alright, so I'm cooking up something special here, and y'all don't even know the significance of this. The 32nd overall over to the Seattle Kraken. I'm going to try to pick up the 74th, a 3rd rounder, and the 170th. I'm going to send this over. They're saying yes immediately. They don't know what they just did. And the reason I made that trade, there wasn't any good prospect around the 32nd overall range. However, around the 75th overall, we had this guy right here, a medium league potential sniper. welcome to the team. And we're not done there with the good selections, because with the 170th overall, we're going to be securing a low elite potential playmaker. So I think it's safe to say trading away that 32nd overall pick, definitely worth it. During the re-sign phase, we don't really have to bring anyone back. I guess I could bring back Ovechkin, but cut to the chase. Bro's 42 years old and an 83 overall. He's going to be like a 79 overall by the beginning of the season, and I don't want to risk that. So we have basically the entire team under contract still, and we could give out some extensions here, but honestly, I don't think we're going to be spending too much money. Ferravari, I would like to bring him back, but at an 83 overall, is he worth $5 million? I'm not too sure about that one. Liljegren, he's the 83 overall as well. What is he looking for? That's not happening, I can tell you that right now. While the rest of these guys, I think we're going to be letting them walk. I'll probably bring back Gregor, I'll bring back Mitten, maybe even Thomas, but the rest of these guys, it might not be happening. Okay, I think this could be the move. With that low elite potential goaltender, we're going to do an 8-year deal at $1.3 million. Even if he doesn't develop into anything special, 1.3 for a backup's actually a pretty good contract. So I'm going to offer this over to him. He's probably going to say yes, and then he'll be our backup for the near future. However, with this medium elite potential goaltender, I'll give him a 1-year extension at $800K. I don't even know what's going to happen with this man because he hasn't really developed like I was hoping. And then this medium star potential goaltender that's an 82 overall, I'll do 2 years at $800K. We'll see what happens. You know what? I think I've changed my mind with Ferravari because we can bring him back at basically the same price as what he's getting paid right now. It's actually a couple $100K more. We're going to do 4.6 for the next 3 years. Right now he's getting 4.4, so I can live with that contract. Liljegren, on the other hand, it's not happening. I'll also do this deal with Gregor right here. We'll do 1.6 for the next 3 years. That's a pretty decent deal for a bottom 6 guy, and he continues to perform well. And to cap it all off with Mitten, just over $1 million for the next 2 years. So although we have the entire team coming back next season, I do want to pick up this guy from the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's a young player, a 79 overall, only 22 years old, and I think he could develop into a decent bottom 6 piece for us. So I'm going to trade a 2nd, a 6th, and a 7th to get him on the team. And I'm also going to give him an 8-year extension because I said at the beginning of this video, we're not going to be realistic. It's 25 years. So here's 8 years at $950K. Even if he develops into like an 84 overall, that's an incredible deal. I'm just going to emphasize this again. It's a 25-year rebuild. You can't expect me to be realistic. I'm saving money by any means possible. We're getting deals done by any means possible. I don't care if it's realistic or not. We're winning Stanley Cups out here. That's how you know it's unrealistic. Toronto's winning Stanley Cups. Since we've already made it unrealistic, we might as well make it more unrealistic. Let's get crazy out here. We're also going to try a 1-year deal here with Klim Kostin. If he joins the team at 1.9K, then I have no issue with that. Also, I don't know why I said 1.9K. 1.9 million. That is a massive difference by like multiple zeros. So unfortunately, we're not going to be signing that guy we got from Pittsburgh for $800K because the New Jersey Devils are going to send him a qualifying offer. So we're bringing him in for 1.2 million. I hit continue. I didn't match the offer. I didn't match the offer, did I? I was not paying attention. I didn't match the offer. I am so dumb. I don't think I matched the offer. I didn't match the offer. I really didn't match the offer. I am so dumb. I am so unbelievably dumb. I traded away a 2nd, a 6th, and a 7th for nothing. Yeah, I have nothing to say about that one. I really screwed that one up. I'm not going to lie. I kind of hope he turns into like a 90 overall player. I really want him to turn to a 90 overall player, and then we can just watch that stupid move backfire on us so much. I think it'd be hilarious, I'm not gonna lie. Alright, I haven't got over the fact that I didn't match that offer, but you know what? We're gonna get over it right now. Austin Matthews, Mitch Marner, Stokowski, and he's got some X factors now. Matthew Nyes, Eklund, William Nylander, the greatest top 6 of all time. The bottom 6, absolutely spectacular here. Domi's still here, Nick Paul is here, Klim Kostin. We're looking fantastic. We got a St. Louis legend on the team. That's how you know we're going to be doing good. The defense, the exact same as last season, except Mitchell's dropped to a 79 overall. But you know what? I can live with that. And you know what else I can live with? Jeremy Swayman, 88 overall. Win us another Stanley Cup. We got to bounce back from that massive screw-up I just had. Now, it's pretty clear our team isn't normally as good as they are at the trade deadline. We're 6th in the entire league here with a 37-23-3 record. But you know what? We're going to change that. The offense, it's great. The defense clearly needs a bit of help, so it's time to trade for a defenseman. I mean, to be fair, when you have an offensive core like this, William Nylander, Matthews, Marner, Eklund, Stokowski, Matthew Nyes, then you don't really have to worry about scoring goals. Keeping pucks out of the net, though, probably something we should work on. Swayman, 31 wins, 3 shouts, a 908, and a 292. You just have to keep on doing you. You're 30 years old. I don't know how much time we have left with you. Try to win us another Stanley Cup if you're able to. I don't know why I keep putting all the pressure on Jeremy Swayman. Like every single trade deadline, I'm like, oh yeah, you have to win us the Stanley Cup. You single-handedly have to turn this entire team around and win us a Stanley Cup. If we don't win a Stanley Cup, it's because Jeremy Swayman wasn't performing. Jeremy Swayman, we appreciate the heck out of you, and it's not always your fault. Most of the time, it's actually never your fault. It would be like one of our key forward pieces not scoring goals. Yeah, so shout out to Jeremy Swayman and respect your goaltender. I guess that's the meaning of this rant. Alright, so I'm just going to tell y'all right now, Saad has one more year. I'm giving this man one more year to develop. He's 23 years old and is only a 72 overall. At some point, you have to turn it around. Like the 20-year-old that we just picked up in the last draft, he's already a 72. He's the same overall as you and he's 3 years younger. So you better turn it around real quick here. If you're not at minimum a 78 overall next season, you're being traded. So we are going to be making one trade here. The deadline's going to be 2 third-rounders and Thomas over to the New York Islanders. We're going to pick up Adam Pelech, an 84 overall defensive defenseman. He can play some second pairing minutes for us, and that's exactly where he's going to be playing. Welcome to the team. So you already know how it goes. Toronto's second in the entire league because I'm the greatest GM of all time. I turned the Toronto Maple Leafs, a poverty franchise, a team that can't win, into Stanley Cup champions. Not one time, not two time, 3-time Stanley Cup champions in 5 years. Nylander 97 points, Matthews 93, Marner 90. I'm allowing these guys to succeed right here. Matthew Nyes, a man that hasn't really done much this entire video until now, 73 points. Slafkovsky 68 points. Brandt Clark, he's got 54. And the goaltending, Jeremy Swayman, I'm not going to take the credit for you because you're him. Plain and simple. 41 wins, 4 shots, a 907 and a 292. The numbers continue to be absolutely fantastic. We moved on to the postseason. We got the Carolina Hurricanes. We already know this team can't beat us. Let's go win another Stanley Cup. So Carolina actually is competing with us, and I was not expecting that. I thought this was going to be a quick sweep, and right now we have a 3-2 series lead because of course we're going to win game 5. And let's close this out in game number 6 here. 5-1, we're off to the second round. Why was I scared of Carolina? They're frauds. So we've got past Carolina after I was nervous through the first 4 games, but I shouldn't have been because the Toronto Maple Leafs are obviously the second best team in the entire league right now, because obviously the St. Louis Blues will always be better than this team. Actually, I should say third best. It goes St. Louis, then the Boston Bruins, then the Toronto Maple Leafs, because Boston will always have this team's number. We're always the underdog against them, and that's who we're taking on next. But you know what? I should have realized by now that the old Toronto Maple Leafs couldn't compete with the Boston Bruins. This is the stick on the ice Toronto Maple Leafs. They're a completely different team, and we're getting by these boys in 5 games. The Bruins really can't compete with us. This is also a completely different timeline where the Boston Bruins don't beat the Toronto Maple Leafs 9 times out of 10. This is the NHL 24 timeline, and anything can happen here. And speaking of anything happening, the 2 best teams are matching up in the Eastern Conference here. The New York Rangers taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs, but with the way Toronto's been playing recently, I think it's going to be a tough matchup for the New York Rangers. They better not take us lightly. And I told the New York Rangers they can't take us lightly. We're the stick on the ice Toronto Maple Leafs. We're a different team. Do not blow a 3-1 series lead. Whatever you do, do not blow a 3-1 series lead. We're about to blow a 3-1 series lead. This is not the stick on the ice Toronto Maple Leafs. This is the regular Toronto Maple Leafs. They're the ones that blow 3-1 series leads. Okay, so it's pretty plain and simple here. If the Toronto Maple Leafs win, it's the stick on the ice Toronto Maple Leafs. If we lose, it's the regular Toronto Maple Leafs. Okay, we're heading into overtime here. Stick on the ice Toronto Maple Leafs. It's time for y'all to take over. Great work, Toronto. The normal Toronto Maple Leafs. Y'all are blowing a 3-1 series lead here, and New York's off to the Stanley Cup final. I can't rely on you guys whatsoever. Now, but in all seriousness, this team has actually performed a lot better in the first 6 years than I was expecting. So we might have lost in the conference finals here, but is it bad to say that I'd rather lose in the conference finals to the New York Rangers than lose in the Stanley Cup final to the San Jose Sharks? Because I took William Eklund away from that team, I have no clue what they had left for prospects, and they somehow won a Stanley Cup. For some reason, I feel like losing to the New York Rangers is more honorable than the San Jose Sharks. I feel like there's a lot of people that would respect that opinion. Okay, so I was trying to figure out what went wrong with the Toronto Maple Leafs here. William Nylander -10, Eklund -6, Matthew Nyes -7. How were y'all this bad? Like seriously, Nylander, you had 20 points and were -10. I don't even know how that's possible. Meanwhile, Jeremy Swayman, these are the worst numbers you've ever put up in the postseason. It wasn't our year, plain and simple. Everything was going against us. Okay, so I'm trying to cook something up here and trade for the 13th overall. Alright, so I'm trying to get a deal done for the 13th overall, but for some reason I can't trade for the 13th overall pick because I'll be over the league salary cap if I acquire a pick. Yeah, that makes so much sense. So what I have to do is I have to trade Max Domi's expiring contract in order to get a 13th overall pick. I don't know how that makes sense, but I guess that's what we're doing. So we just got the 13th overall. Now we have to hope that the prospect we want is still available at 13. And we're getting lucky here because Ryder Boyer is still going to be available. He could have medium elite potential as well as being a gem, so we got to add him to our team. I'm going to make this selection right here. He's got medium elite potential. He's a sniper. I think that's an incredible deal for us. but we're not done with the great selections yet. And as I said, we're not done there, but we do got to acquire a draft pick here, and we're going to begin the 84th overall from the Philadelphia Flyers. Philly thinks that's a sweet proposal. Wait till you see who we get. Because with the 84th overall pick, we're going to be securing a medium elite defensive defenseman who's a 60 overall. This is a fantastic pickup for us right here. We traded a 4th and 7th rounder in order to get a medium elite potential player. If that's not a steal, I don't know what is. So right now we have a ton of players on expiring contracts, but I don't think I'm going to be bringing back any of these guys unless the Logren wants to be reasonable with his contract here. 6.4 million, I'm not going to be doing that for an 84 overall who's 30 years old. Klim Kostin though, I might bring you back if you want to be reasonable. 2.5. Not necessarily the worst deal in the world. Let me think about that one for a second. So I thought about that for a good 30 seconds and I've decided that we're going to be passing on Klim Kostin. It really doesn't make sense to bring him back at 2.5 million, especially since he's only picking up like 20 points a season. Then again, I'm probably going to bring somebody in for $3 million who's going to pick up 30 points. So at the end of the day, it just don't matter. So I think it's safe to say that the Morgan Rielly era in Toronto has officially come to an end. At 35 years old, he's dropped to an 84 overall. He doesn't have nearly as many X factors as he used to have. So this is the perfect time to trade him away while he only has 1 year left on his contract. And I'm going to try to send him over to the Minnesota Wild for a 2nd and a 3rd. Unfortunately, that's not going to be enough, but I feel like if we throw a 5th rounder in this deal, that'll be enough to get it done. So here's a 2031 5th round pick, and I think we should be able to get a 2nd and a 3rd now. So we got this deal done, but now it's time to flip some assets. And the reason we're flipping assets is I really want Sam Dickinson. I feel like he could be the replacement for Morgan Rielly. He's an 86 overall, 23 years old, and he can fit on the top line here. Him and Brandt Clarke together is going to be one of the best pairings in the entire league. I'm going to offer them 2 2nd round picks. I'm not overly surprised they're saying no to that. I'm going to try to hold on to our 1st round pick, but if I can do it with 2 seconds and a 3rd, then that would be absolutely fantastic. So I'll offer this package over to the Montreal Canadiens. They're still saying no. But you know what? I feel like we're actually really close here. So maybe a 4th round pick could be the difference maker. If not, I'm willing to do 2 3rds and 2 seconds. So Minnesota's 2nd and 3rd rounder and then Toronto's 2nd and 3rd rounder over to the Montreal Canadiens for Sam Dickinson. They're still going to be saying no to this deal. I'll throw in a 4th rounder, and if this doesn't work, then we'll get to throw in 1st round picks in the deal. But it looks like we won't have to use a 1st rounder because Sam Dickinson's joined the team. Okay, for the amount of moves I'm making, we're going to have absolutely no draft picks for the next 2 years, but I'm perfectly fine with that. And now we're picking up Kivi Harju from the Calgary Flames. He's going to be a good piece on our top 4 defense. I guess a 4th, 5th, and 7th rounder isn't going to be enough, so I'll add a 6th rounder into this deal, and that should be enough to get it done. We're acquiring Kivi Harju from the Calgary Flames. We have 0 picks left, and when I say 0, I mean we have this season's 1st rounder, next season's 1st rounder, and a 6th rounder. Then we don't have picks till 2032. So yeah, we're definitely not going to be allowing ourselves to make too many trades here. And the reason I trade for Kivi Harju is I believe this man can play some big second pairing minutes for us. So at 3.4 million, that's actually a steal of a deal for the next 8 years. Even if he only develops to like an 84 overall, 83 overall, that's actually a pretty good deal because in 2 years from now, 80 overall defensemen are going to be worth about $6 million. So we got to fill out the bottom 6 here, and I feel like Nick Waugh is going to serve the purpose. We'll do 1 year at $3 million. The next pick will be Kunin. We'll do 2 years at 1.3 million. That's actually a steal of a deal for an 81 overall. Even if he doesn't play great for us, at 1.3 million, I can't expect him to be picking up 50 goals. Of course, you know I have to be picking up Pujols, and an absolute legend here. We'll do 2.5 million for the next 2 years to play some bottom 6 minutes for us. That's a steal. Pujols and Hoglander, 2 Vancouver Canucks legends. And to finish off our pickups, we'll do Zadina to $2 million for this season. Those pickups are going to be really good for our bottom 6. The top 6, of course, we don't have to touch, but the bottom 6 definitely needs some upgrades after all the guys we lost. Yeah, so I just thought I mentioned that Nick Waugh actually decided to say, you know what, screw the Toronto Maple Leafs, I'm going to the Winnipeg Jets. So Nick Waugh is really the ops, and we have to beat him in the Stanley Cup final. We have to get our revenge. Okay, so I really want to bring back William Eklund, but this man will not do anything other than a 1-year contract right now. We can do 8 years, but then it's going to cost me $17 million. That's not happening. You have until January to smarten up. If you're still asking for $17 million in January, I'm trading you away. There's nothing else we can do. And obviously I don't want to trade Eklund away because look at this team. Matthews, Stokowski, Marner, Nylander, Eklund, Matthew Nyes. The bottom 6 pretty solid here. A +2 boost on the 3rd line, a +1 on the 4th. We're looking absolutely incredible. The defense, on the other hand, that's a different story. Dickinson and Brandt Clarke, absolutely fantastic. The other 4 guys here, a lot of question marks. Fairvari, I have no issue with you. Kiviharu, you actually don't have a good fit on any of the lines here except for the first line, and even that's not the greatest fit in the world. So you're going to be playing some second line minutes. If you don't develop over the next 2 years, then you'll be traded immediately. I'm not going to waste any time with you. I'm not going to wait for you to develop and only develop into like an 82 overall. Meanwhile, Jeremy Swayman's going to be in between the pipes for us. Dennis is the backup once again. Meanwhile, in the AHL, we have the 80 overall goaltender who has medium elite potential. I'm going to give him one more season in the AHL, allow him to get a ton of reps, and the next season, he's coming up to the show. So we already know what's on the line with William Eklund. I'm simming to January 1st. If he is not smartened up and won't accept a more reasonable contract, then we'll be trading him away. Now, William Eklund, this is exactly what I was waiting for. A very reasonable deal with you. We'll do $10.25 million for the next 8 years, and that's going to keep you along for the rest of your prime. A fantastic deal for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I'm so incredibly happy you're accepting this deal here. I mean, he hasn't accepted it yet, but I know he will, and the reason I'm so happy, this team's looking incredible right now, and that second line, absolutely unstoppable. So as I said, the Leafs are looking absolutely fantastic. We're 4th in the entire league here with a 40-20-1 record. Right now the offense is doing its thing, 3.89 goals per game, while the defense is also doing their thing, 2.93. I thought our defense was going to be a bit weak this season. I guess not. They're really cooking. And you know who else is cooking? William Nylander, 84 points here at the 61 game mark, absolutely flying. Mitch Marner, he's got 83. Austin Matthews, 78. Eklund, he's got 77. Stokowski, 63. We have 5 guys on the team right now averaging over a point a game, while Matthew Knies 47 points in 61 games. I definitely can't complain about that. Even Gregor, 30 points in 61 games here. He's doing a great job playing his role on this team. Meanwhile, Jeremy Swayman's doing his usual thing, 34 wins, 1 shutout, a 903 and a 297. We already know we can win with Swayman, so we might as well try to do it again. So I think we're going to be making a deal with the St. Louis Blues here, and this is definitely going to put us over the edge. 2 first rounders for Zachary Bolduc. He's an 87 overall. He's got a ton of X factor. He's only 27 years old. If there's a world in which we have enough money to bring him back, I would absolutely love to do that. However, I don't think it's going to be possible. I also think 2 first rounders is more than enough, so we actually might be able to get a third back in the deal as well. I'm going to send this over to St. Louis. They're saying no. You know what? We'll just do 2 first rounders for Bolduc. A great deal. Okay, that's actually not going to be enough, so we're going to have to throw our 6th rounder in the deal. We have no draft picks for the next 2 seasons. That's definitely not ideal in a 25-year rebuild. But you know what? We're winning right now, and we got to stack up as many Stanley Cups as possible. And I think it's also pretty clear that this is going to be our only move here because we have no draft picks left. So yeah, Bolduc, you better be the missing piece. Okay, so this is what we're going to be doing. It's going to be Bolduc on the second line with William Eklund and William Nylander. And then Matthew Knies, he's going down to the third line where we're going to be getting a +2 boost here. It's a +5 on the second, a +5 on the first. Yeah, we're about to cook. And you know what? We actually have some money to bring back Zachary Bolduc here, so he's going to be playing some second line minutes for us next season. We're going to do $7 million for the next 3 years. I don't care that our defense is a bit weak. We have the best forward core in the NHL, and we're scoring a ton of goals. So yeah, it's over for the rest of the league. Second in the entire league with a 54-26-2 record, scoring 4 goals per game. Okay, so at the trade deadline, I know for a fact William Nylander and William Eklund were both putting up great numbers, but Eklund finished with 110 points and Nylander has 112. I think that means these boys picked up 40 points in the final 20 games. Also, Mitch Marner has 105 here. Austin Matthews, 99 points. Everyone was locked in. Also, Zachary Bolduc, what'd you do since joining the team? 25 points in 21 games. You were an amazing pickup for us. Like, this actually might go down as our best pickup so far. I mean, that's a lie because we did pick up Jeremy Swayman and he continues to do Jeremy Swayman things. But an 899 save percentage, you might be over the hill now. This might be your final season with the team here because you might start declining sooner than we think. You're 31 years old and 88 overall. I would love to keep you here, but I don't think you're that guy anymore. Actually, what am I doing doubting Jeremy Swayman? He's won this team 3 Stanley Cups and he's about to win this team their 4th Stanley Cup. We got Ottawa in the first round. That team only won like 39 games. Let's sweep them real quick. Okay, what are the Toronto Maple Leafs doing right now? Not the stick on the ice Toronto Maple Leafs, just the regular Toronto Maple Leafs. Now they're the stick on the ice Toronto Maple Leafs. There's a very big difference between the two, and we're going to close this out in 6 games. 6-5 in game number 4 and 5-3 in game number 3. Those are my Toronto Maple Leafs. These ones right here, that's not my team. So that series was a lot closer than I expected, but you know what? I think that was the tough matchup we had to go through, and now we have the Tampa Bay Lightning in the second round. We already know Tampa can't even match up against us. So the Leafs are absolutely flying right now. We got ourselves a 3-1 series lead, and we're going to close it out here in game number 5. A 5-1 victory. No, we're picking up an insane amount of goals right now. But I mean, that's how I built the team, so I'm not really overly surprised. So I think the only way we lose this Stanley Cup is our offense somehow gets stopped here. Unless a goaltender can prevent us from scoring 5 goals a game, there's no team that's stopping us. The New York Rangers can't stop us. The Avs can't stop us. And the Oilers, that defense certainly can't stop us. Okay, the Rangers have stopped our offense in back-to-back games now. If we don't win Game 5, we're probably losing this series. Okay, we just scored 8 goals. We got this series in the bag. We're going to win Game 6. Never mind, we're off to Game 7. Normally, when you win a game 8-4, you have all the momentum. Somehow we lost that immediately. So we have a lot of big-time players on this team, and now it's time to make some big-time plays. We're losing in the first period. Hopefully we bounce back in the second. Of course we are. William Nylander and Brent Clark, the amazing power plays going to work here. And in the third period, Keandre Miller is going to be tying this game up. We're going to need some overtime. The Toronto Maple Leafs, I take that back. The stick on the ice, Toronto Maple Leafs, they're about to show up here. I told ya, Minton's picking up the shorthanded goal in overtime. We're winning this one and we're off to the Stanley Cup final. I guarantee you, if I said the Toronto Maple Leafs are off to overtime, then we would have allowed a power play goal there. But I changed my mind and I made sure to say it's the stick on the ice Toronto Maple Leafs. And that's why we're off to the Stanley Cup final. The stick on the ice Toronto Maple Leafs are known for scoring 8 goals a game. Now we're playing Edmonton. We already know what Edmonton's defense is all about. We might average 10 goals a game in this final round. So let's go ahead, simulate through the first 4 games of this series, and ideally just make a quick sweep here. It's actually not going to be a sweep. We're tied 2-2. Game 5 is going to be a massive one. We got to pick up 8 goals here. No way we lose in Game 6. Whatever y'all do not lose in Game 6 to the Edmonton Oilers. We're winning that one 5-4. Game 7, Stanley Cup on the line. It's time for the stick on the ice Toronto Maple Leafs to show up. I should just start calling them the stick on the ice Maple Leafs. I think that's what we're going to do for the rest of the video. It's time for the stick on the ice Maple Leafs to show up here. Game 7, Stanley Cup final. Let this team cook. So here we go. It all comes down to this. The first period, we're not cooking. We are not cooking in the slightest. We're down 2-0. We got to bounce back here in the second. It's over. We lost. We are cooked. We are not cooked. We are not cooked yet. Hold on. 3-3. We're going into overtime and we won. We won the Stanley Cup. I counted this team out. The stick on the ice Maple Leafs, they cook. When this team is down and out, we bounce back. 3 unanswered in the third period. Eklund's picking up the OT winner. We should have lost this Stanley Cup. We should have lost in game number 7 here, but Edmonton choked. That's classic Oilers fashion. The stick on the ice Maple Leafs, they know how to perform when it matters most. No, I'm actually gassed that we just won a Stanley Cup here. That's Stanley Cup number 4, and we're in year, what, 8 right now? 4 Stanley Cups in 8 years? No, we're locked in. Actually, I take that back. We're in year number 7 right now. We've won 4 Stanley Cups in 7 years. The goal for this video was to win 7 Stanley Cups in total. We've won 4 in 7 years. We actually might win 10 Stanley Cups here. And I think the funniest part about this is we have so many players with a negative plus minus. William Nylander -5, Austin Matthews -2, Eklund -2, Slafkovsky -3, Mitch Marner -2. Most of this team had a negative plus minus. Actually, that's a lie. The defense was good and so was the bottom 6. The bottom 6 really made the difference. Before we head to next season though, Jeremy Swayman, I was doubting you and I'd like to apologize personally. 15 wins, 0 shouts, a 903 and a 298. I mean, those numbers aren't the best, but you did win us another Stanley Cup, so I gotta take it all back. So these are all the fantastic draft picks we made. Obviously, we got a ton of studs here. No draft data. I think that guy's going to develop into an absolutely elite prospect. In the future, I could see him picking up 82 goals in 82 games. He's him. So I think we're going to be making some changes here in the upcoming season. I know we just won a Stanley Cup, but Zadina's going to be leaving the team. Mitchell's going to be leaving the team. We're going to lose Cohen. He was a healthy scratch for us. Actually, I'm just going to qualify him as an RFA, and then we'll trade him or something. But Saad, I'm trading you. At 24 years old, yeah, you have medium elite potential, but you're only a 74 overall. You haven't really been developing. And you know who else hasn't been developing? Lamb. At 24 years old, he's a 76 overall. I don't want to commit a ton of money to these guys because I don't think they're going to develop into anything, so I'm trading both of them away. So I'm honestly really surprised to see that Wyatt Johnson's available here as a free agent. No one's picked him up so far. So we'll do $3.2 million for the next 3 years. He's going to be a great bottom 6 player, especially if he's playing alongside Matthew Nyes. Those two together on the third line, it's going to be unstoppable. Okay, so I think this actually could be the deal for us. Kiviharu, I made a big deal about acquiring you last season. And I said you're going to be one of the best defensemen on the team. You're going to play some big second pairing minutes. Yeah, I've changed my mind on that. I'm going to trade you over to the Florida Panthers. I'm picking up Langfeld here. He's an 83 overall to play in the second line. deadline. Not only are we acquiring him, but we're also getting Josh Mahura. Unfortunately though, we got to offer a bit more, so I'm going to turn that 7th rounder into a 6th rounder, and I think that should be enough to get this deal done. So we just picked up 2 new defensemen. That's going to help our defensive core here, and I think that makes us even better than last season. And then ideally with that defense we just acquired, I would get him for a better deal than this. Okay, he's going to play on the team for 1 season, and then we're trading him away. He's an 83 overall that wants $6.5 million for 1 season. If I did an 8-year deal with him, it's going to be almost $10 million. So you can play on the team for 1 season, and then I'll trade you away. I actually won't be able to trade you away because you won't be an RFA, so we're going to be losing you. But you know what? This works out for the team. Now this trade might not make any sense because I'm trading a medium elite potential player for a top 4 potential player, but Boyer here, he's already up to an 83 overall at 21 years old, while Saad, what is he, a 74 at 24? He's not going to reach medium elite potential, I can tell you that right now. So I might as well acquire somebody that's a bit younger that's already a higher overall. And he has 2 years left on his contract at $1 million, so I can live with that. So I doubled back with Langfeld here, and honestly this deal is not going to work for us. Langfeld in the 7th over to the Colorado Avalanche. We're picking up Peterson. He's going to be able to play on the right side for us because right now we have too many left defensemen. Also, I guess the 7th rounder is not going to be enough, so maybe a 5th rounder can be the difference. I'll offer that over. They're still saying no. We have to do a 5th and a 7th. Honestly, I'd rather not do a 5th and a 7th, but we need some more help on the right side, so this is the deal that's going to get it done. Alright, so here's the plan. Score more goals than the opposition. Matthews, Slavkovsky, Mitch Marner, William Nylander, Bolduc, Eklund, Matthew Nyes, Wyatt Johnson, Kunin, Pokolzin, Gregor, Nick Robertson. The defense we're actually not going to talk about. Sam Dickinson, Brent Clark, I can rely on you 2 guys. The other 4 defensemen here, if you can keep the puck out of the net, then I'm not going to complain. Meanwhile, the goaltending situation, Jeremy Swayman, he's dropped to an 87 overall at 31 years old. He's going to start declining quick. I decided to bring up that low elite potential goaltender. He's got to get some reps here in the NHL. I was hoping he'd be up to an 82 by now, but you know what? We're going to live with an 80 overall. The stick on the ice Maple Leafs have the opportunity to repeat, something that we haven't done this video yet, and with the core we have here, I think there's a very good chance that happens. Our only weakness, our defense, and that's a fact. The top 2 guys, they have good line fits. Everyone else on this team does not have a good line fit. It's a very mid line fit, but at least the guys are young, like a 21-year-old defenseman, a 22-year-old defenseman. Maybe they'll be able to develop into something. I highly doubt it though, because they're going to be wanting about $7 million pretty soon. So I was about to say that Peterson wants $7 million right now, but he actually doesn't. I can do 1.15 for the next 2 seasons. So we're going to be able to keep him on the team at a very reasonable cap hit. I was not expecting that. I was fully expecting this man to ask for $8 million. So you know what? I'll take it. So I told y'all we're going to be outscoring the other team, 43, 13, and 6 with the best offense in the entire league. But the most surprising thing, we have the best defense as well, 2.66 goals allowed per game. How is our defense allowing the least amount of goals per game right now? That makes no sense. Meanwhile, Austin Matthews 90 points, Mitch Marner 80, William Nylander 70, and the goaltending numbers, I gotta see what Swayman's been up to. 33 wins, 1 shutout, a 905, and a 276. But hold on, look at the backup here, a 933, a 199, 4 shutouts, and 10 victories. Okay, he might be taking over next season. I don't care what his overall is. I don't care he's an 80. Bro is putting up elite numbers right now. Yeah, he's only played in 15 games, but he has 10 wins and 4 shutouts. Okay, he's him. He's the guy for the future. As long as he develops. I mean, I don't really want to have an 80 overall as our goaltender, but right now, it's looking like he's the man for us. Also, since we're doing so good, I'm not going to make any trades here, but I also don't want to trade more draft picks away because we have none for this season. We already traded a few for next season. We got to manage our assets. Because so far I've not been doing a good job at that. But then again, we have won 4 Stanley Cups, so I think I'm actually doing a good job. Okay, just give us the Stanley Cup now. We went 16-3 to finish out the year. First in the entire league with a 16-3 record. 4.4 goals per game, allowing 2.61. No team's even close to us. Look at these Edmonton Oilers. Only 3.94 goals per game. Do y'all even know how to score? And then here's the top guys here. Matthews, 117 points, 62 goals. Mitch Marner, 113. Slavkovsky, 103. Nylander, 94. Bolduc, he's got 82. What a pickup that was. Eklund, 81. This team's really unstoppable. Wyatt Johnson, he's got 57 points there on the third line. And Jeremy Swayman, 50 wins, 3 shots, a 909, a 266. Meanwhile, our backup, I think he played 1 game after the trade deadline. So yeah, we're rocking with Jeremy Swayman. He's still the man. So we have a real opportunity here to win our 5th Stanley Cup. We're in year number 8 here. 5 Stanley Cups would be absolutely incredible. At this point, I'm low-key aiming for 10 Stanley Cups in the next 25 years. We got to hold it down. And we're going to be starting off with the New Jersey Devils in this postseason. No messing around here, boys. 16-0. Okay, so right now the Toronto Maple Leafs are playing and not the stick on the ice Maple Leafs. How are y'all tied in the series right now? 6-5 is definitely a stick on the ice Maple Leafs type win, and now we just got to close out here in game number 6. We lost 2-1. Game 7, first round. We're a 60-win team, and now we're off to game 7. I'm not too happy. Okay, so Austin Matthews has 7 goals in 6 games. He's been a big-time player right now, and now I need him to make some big-time plays. Period number 1 here. Are we cooking something up here? We're down 3-0. I think it's over. 3-1. Are we going to mount a comeback here? We actually are. Holy crap, we're going to win in game 7, aren't we? We won in game 7. This Toronto Maple Leafs team is built different. Shout out to William Nylander scoring with 18 seconds left in the third period here. I have absolutely no clue how we just made a comeback, but we're off to the second round. I feel like we deserve a Stanley Cup at this point. We just made a big comeback here. Y'all just got to give it to us right now. Like, honestly, imagine losing in the first round. Couldn't be the stick on the ice Maple Leafs. The Toronto Maple Leafs certainly would have, and you know who else certainly would have? Because they did. The Edmonton Oilers, look at those frauds, falling to the San Jose Sharks. Toronto's guaranteed a Stanley Cup as long as they perform. Okay, this team has been messing around in the postseason way too much. Currently, this series is tied 2-2. There is no reason that we should be tied in the series right now. A big Game 5 win is going to give us the lead in the series, and now we're going to close it out in Game 6, and we're moving on to the conference finals. We have the Carolina Hurricanes. No point stopping here. Let's keep on simulating. We might as well sweep the Carolina Hurricanes while we're at it. Of course, we're not. We're splitting the series 2-2. Game 5, let's lock in. Let's win this one. Of course we are. Now we got the lead in this series, and it's time to close it out in game number 6 here. And of course we are, and now we're in the Stanley Cup final. The Chicago Blackhawks versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't want to mess up the momentum here. We got to keep on rolling, and things are not looking good. We're currently down 3-1 in the series. Do not lose to the Chicago Blackhawks. Let's spark a comeback. A massive 2-1 victory in game number 5. And then we're going to win game 6, 5-4 here, an overtime winner. Are we really sparking a 3-1 series comeback? Game 7. Stanley Cup final. The Toronto Maple Leafs have been here before. We've mounted insane comebacks in game 7s before. This is the perfect ending for this team. So Austin Matthews has put up some insane numbers during the postseason, and now I need some insane numbers here. The first period's not going our way, but you know what? We've been able to bounce back from this before, and of course we are in the second period here. 4 goals, and now we're going to lock down the third period and win a Stanley Cup. We're winning this one 6-4, and the Toronto Maple Leafs are completing the repeat. 5 Stanley Cups in 8 years. This is unreal. No, like seriously, we've won 5 Stanley Cups in 8 years here. This is absurd. And there's one clear reason why we won the Stanley Cup, and it's Austin Matthews. 42 points, 24 goals. This man picked up 24 goals in 26 games. Absolutely unreal. Mitch Marner, 30 points. Nylander, 30. Slafkovsky, 25. And in order for us to win the Stanley Cup, Jeremy Swayman had to be the goaltender for us. That's number 5 for him, but that might be the last. 16 wins, 1 shutout, and 891 of 340. These are not Stanley Cup numbers. Like, I'm just doing some quick math here, but I think we're on pace to win 15 Stanley Cups in this rebuild. That's certainly not going to happen, but it is something to remember. We're on pace for 15 cups. So after winning back-to-back Stanley Cups here, we have to go into the draft and bring in a couple great prospects. No draft data. I think he can be a good player for us. He's a high-risk, high-reward guy, though. He's either going to be a stud or a massive bust. No draft data, on the other hand, a stellar player. No draft data, he might not be that guy, but you just never know. There are a couple guys I want to bring back to the team here, and we're going to start with Pukolzin, 2.2 for the next 2 years, an incredible deal for what you're producing for us. Nick Robertson, I'll do 2.5 with you, but anything higher I'm not willing to accept. And then with Minton, I'll definitely do a 1-year deal that's on a 2-way contract. So you can either play in the lineup or be in the AHL. Either way, I'm perfectly fine with that contract. Also, Boyer, welcome to the team. You're up to a 78 overall. You can definitely play on the 4th line or something. Maybe even the 3rd line will get you some extra minutes. So Pukolzin's not really feeling 2.2 million, so we'll do 2.4 for the next 2 years. If he doesn't accept this contract, though, I will be walking away from him. So I'll offer that over. He's saying no because he wants to play some more minutes. You know what? I think we're just going to be walking away here. And then Lamb, you are a UFA right now, so I better bring you back to the team. 1.2 million for the next 3 years. Even if you don't develop into a starting goaltender for us, I can keep that contract in the AHL. So honestly, I think I'm going to do something that I probably have never done in any rebuild. A guy like William Nylander has a ton of trade value. He's 35 years old and 86 overall. We could trade him away and bring in a good asset. However, we've just won 2 back-to-back Stanley Cups here. I don't want to lose William Nylander. We're going to ride out his contract here. We'll let him walk during free agency. But you know what, William Nylander, you're a crucial part part to this team, and I want to make sure you stay here. Also, Sam Dickinson's also being a bit of an L-man, as I mentioned this earlier. I'm not sure if I did. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. It doesn't matter. But he only wants a 2-year contract at $7.6 million. If we do 8 years, he wants $10 million. I'm not necessarily willing to do that. Actually, $10 million isn't that bad on an 8-year deal. So if we could hypothetically do something like $9.3 million for the next 8 years, I can live with that contract because you're playing top minutes here. I feel like this isn't too bad of a deal. Meanwhile, we got to do some high risk, high reward deals, and we're doing this with one of our medium elite potential prospects. He's only 22 years old, but we're going to try to lock him down to a $1.4 million deal for the next 8 years. He's only 22 years old. He's going to have tons of time to develop, and he's probably going to be playing in the NHL this season. So I think this contract's the right move. Also, Boyer, I'll qualify you as an RFA during next off season, but I'm not bringing you back at $6.6 million unless you develop a ton over the off season and next season, because right now 6.6 is definitely not worth it for an 83 overall. And right now we have a lot of people potentially walking. Jeremy Swayman, 88 overall. He's 32 years old. He's on an expiring contract here. I have my questions about Jeremy Swayman, if I'm being completely honest. The past 2 postseason runs, although we've won Stanley Cups, his numbers haven't looked that great. So Jeremy Swayman's time in Toronto might be coming to an end. Alright, so I found this youngin over in Detroit, and bro looks like an absolute stud for us, and he can definitely develop into something special. What it's going to cost to get him, I'm not 100% sure, but a second rounder in Cohen, that might be enough. I actually don't think that's going to be enough, but I'm still going to offer it over. They're saying no. A 7th rounder can probably be the difference maker though. This man can fit on every single forward line. He's pretty young right now. I think he's only 22 years old. He's 21 and 83 overall. He's already got some X factors. He can definitely be something special for us. A 7th rounder is not enough, so I'll offer a 6th rounder and we'll get this deal done. This is going to be a big pickup for the team. I haven't decided what line he's going to be playing on. Probably the 3rd line, maybe even the 2nd. I guess we'll have to see how things work out. But we have to remember he is an RFA, so we are going to have to give him an extension here. But I'll do 8 years at $2.6 million. I'm not scared of that deal whatsoever. That man's going to develop into an absolute stud for us. I am gassing this man up. You might call it glazing, because it is glazing. I'm not even going to lie. I'm getting carried away. Okay, this is going to be a massive risk here. We're bringing in Jacob Trouba. Bro's 37 years old. We're only signing him to a 1-year deal at probably $3 million. We're just going to hope that he is a perfect line fit here on the 3rd line. Supposedly he does, and we're also going to hope that he doesn't drop an overall. Alright, so we've already won 2 Stanley Cups in a row. It's time to complete the 3-peat. The usual suspects are here. The 3rd line's even better. They're getting a +2 overall boost. While the 4th line, we got some studs here. Ryder Boyer, he's making his jump to the NHL. I think we're ready for another Stanley Cup. However, I'm also contemplating sending Boyer down to the AHL. He's an 80 overall. He doesn't have the greatest line fit here. I feel like him playing first line minutes in the AHL is probably better for him. So we might be making a trade here. Defensively, Dickinson and Clark are going to be leading the way. Peterson and Boyer, they're holding it down the 2nd pairing. While Faravari and Trouba, they can do their thing on the 3rd pairing. Trouba, I'm actually not 100% convinced that he's going to be making it to the end of the season here. Playing 3rd pairing minutes at 78 overall, that's probably not ideal. Meanwhile, the goaltending situation, 88 overall Jeremy Swayman. We already know what you can do for this team. You might go down as the greatest Toronto Maple Leafs goaltender of all time. 5 Stanley Cups with the Toronto Maple Leafs? No, that's unheard of. Also, I made the executive decision to rock with Boyer on the 4th line. He'll get some NHL experience this season. That's not the worst for him. The dream of a repeat is still alive and well with the Toronto Maple Leafs, 40, 16, and 4, averaging 4 goals per game while only allowing 2.67. I still haven't figured out how our defense is that good. Like, it honestly makes no sense. Now, I understand it's not just defensemen that help the defense, but the entire forward core. If they're good defensively, then that helps a lot. But even still, I did not think I built a good defensive team here. Also, Austin Matthews has 52 goals in 60 games. He's 34 years old, by the way. I just realized that. Like, this core is getting old. Matthews, 34 years old. Mitch Marner, he's 34. William Nylander, he's 35. He might be 36 at this point. He's still only 35. Like, this core is getting old. They're still producing, but man, time is definitely running out here. Meanwhile, when it comes to goaltending, that's running out as well. But Jeremy Swayman, he's throwing the clock back. 34 wins, 6 shouts, and 917 and 250. Keep holding it down and keep doing your thing. I guess age is never going to affect this man. Maybe I actually should extend him for next season, because I don't think our backup's actually going to be the guy, because his numbers are not good. He has low fringe starter potential. All right, Jeremy Swayman, more than likely you're coming back next season, unless I trade for a good young goaltender, because that also could be the move. But until then, we do have to win a Stanley Cup here, and I think one move we should make is bring in a good defenseman to play on the right side. Sean Durzi, you might fill that role, but for some reason I think you play on the left side, so maybe you won't be filling that void. Okay, never mind. Sean Durzi plays on both the left and right side, but he fits on the first pairing, so never mind. I won't be bringing him to the team. But we will find a defenseman that can fit on the third pairing. Actually, you know what? We're not going to change it up because although Jacob Trouba is a 78 overall and he has 7th D potential, he's plus 15. So that means he's producing alongside Faravari. They're doing their thing. Meanwhile, these two guys right here, they're doing absolutely nothing. I mean, to be fair, it's a two-way defenseman and a defensive defenseman, so I'm not expecting them to produce a lot offensively, but +2 and +1, I'm expecting y'all to be a bit better than this for playing second pairing minutes. But with that being said, we're not going to make any trades here. We're just going to rock with the team we have. So far, that's actually worked out for us pretty well. So let's just go win a Stanley Cup. This team's already won 2 in a row. We might as well win 3 in a row while we're at it. Okay, so a lot of things that happened this season make zero sense. Us finishing first in the entire league, though, I think we all understand that with one of the best offenses and best defenses in the entire league. But what Austin Matthews did, I would have never guessed this. You just saw 135 points, 70 goals, 65 helpers. Mitch Marner, 128 points, Lukovsky, 97, Eklund, 81. William Nylander took a massive step back, only 76 points this season. But the way the team's performing, I don't care how Nylander's performing because we're looking fantastic. And Jeremy Swayman, I didn't think I would see these numbers again from you. 47 wins, 6 shots, a 912 and a 266. Bro is back in his prime at 33 years old, and we all know what that means. It means it's time for this team to complete the three-peat. We got the Boston Bruins in the first round, but the stick on the ice Maple Leafs don't lose to the Boston Bruins. We just sweep this team every time. I mean, that's a lie. We don't sweep this team every time, but normally we beat them like 7 times out of 8. And it looks like this matchup was one of those 7 times, a quick sweep over the Boston Bruins. I told y'all this was going to happen. This is easy work for us. So Toronto was locked in during the first round, sweeping the Boston Bruins. That was a nice warm-up for us, but now we have another Atlantic Division team. That's going to be the Buffalo Sabres. So Buffalo's putting up a bigger fight than the Boston Bruins did, but that's not much of a surprise. We're in the second round here. It's going to get more competitive. Game 5 is going to be a tough one for us. We're going to be dropping that one 2-1, but I got no concerns here because I can guarantee the Toronto Maple Leafs are bouncing back. Oh God, we didn't bounce back. We lost 2-1. We're out in the second round. I'm not used to this. I'm used to us winning Stanley Cups and nothing else. But yeah, here we are, losing in the second round. That's a tough one. But you know what? I guess things could have been worse because we did lose to the eventual Stanley Cup champions in the Buffalo Sabres. They were a fantastic team, ended up winning the Stanley Cup, so the second round loss doesn't actually feel as bad. I mean, it still does because we were about to complete a three-peat. We're going to be losing William Nylander. We're going to be losing Jeremy Swayman. I mean, Jeremy Swayman might be coming back to the team. Brant Clark, you were incredible. Austin Matthews. Based on the regular season you just had, I'm expecting a bit more, not going to lie. Now, Jeremy Swayman, we let you down. A 929 to 220. These were his numbers the past 2 postseasons. He had a 909, never mind, these are the regular season, I'm just yapping. Last season, an 891 to 340, and the year before, a 903 with a 298. He posted a 929 and a 220, and we couldn't perform in front of him. I'm sick to my stomach. We should have three-peated. We really should have won another Stanley Cup here. But the main issue we had this time around, the offense wasn't scoring. That's never been a problem for us until now. So we're going to be making a trade with the Detroit Red Wings here because I want to drop to the 39th overall pick. And by doing that, I also want to be picking up the 141st. Hopefully Detroit accepts this deal. That was easier than I thought. So we got the 39th overall pick, but I do want another pick in this draft. I mean, I have picks of my own, but there's 2 specific prospects I want to draft. And the reason I trade for the 39th overall pick is because I want to draft this guy right here because there's a good chance he has medium elite potential and I would love to add him to our team here. Unfortunately, he's going to have top 4. Yeah, that sucks. That really sucks. But hey, I'll take a medium top 4 potential defenseman. The other prospect I want to get is around the 50th overall range. So I'll trade a 2nd and a 5th, and the 2nd's going to be the 60th overall. As long as we can get this pick, I really don't care. You know what? How about I give you the 141st? There you go, the 141st along the 60th for the 48th. I feel like that's a pretty fair deal. All right, we're getting the pick we wanted. And the reason we trade for the 50th overall is so I can secure this medium elite potential goaltender. And I guess we're not done there because with the 92nd overall pick, another medium elite potential goaltender. So I guess we didn't need to pick up that one earlier. But hey, I'll still pick up these guys because they're going to have trade value. And to finish this draft off, we're going to be getting another great prospect here. He's going to be a 54 overall low elite potential sniper. I don't know why I had to mention he was a 54 overall, but I just felt like it. So we had 4 picks in the draft here, and I would say that this was a pretty good draft for us. So it's definitely a sad day. William Nylander, thank you for all the incredible years you had in Toronto, but it's time for us to part ways. At 36 years old, you're just not part of the timeline anymore. But I will bring back Minton to a 2-year deal at $1.7 million. That's not bad. The other guy we could bring back here is Jeremy Swayman, 88 overall. He's 33 years old, but I don't want to give him a 3-year deal till he's 36. He's going to be declining too quick, so I think we're going to be walking away from Jeremy Swayman as well. We have about $28 million to work with, so we're definitely going to be able to bring in some superstars. Also, I don't think Boyer's going to be coming back to the team because bro wants $7 million. I'm not doing that. That's wild. So of course we have 28 million to work with, but we do have to go some extensions here. And Mitch Marner, I'm not 100% sure if I want to bring you back to the team. You play some big minutes here. I'm definitely not giving you $11 million, but at 35 years old, your time is coming to an end with this team as well. So Mitch, I might be trading you here. I'm just going to keep it 1,000. Now I'm going to be completely honest while I'm looking at this team right now. Austin Matthews, he's 34 years old and 93 overall. Of course, he's been an incredibly crucial part to this team. Mitch Marner, he's 35 years old. I think it's time for a bit of a changing of the guard. Because Austin Matthews, I have him under contract till he's 38 years old. Obviously, he's not going to be the same player at 38 years old, but I think it's time to change things up a bit. Matthews, I'm going to be trading you as well. You've dropped from franchise potential to elite potential. We're going to go through some big changes here. You know what? I think it was only a matter of time because we're in year number 8 of the rebuild. We can't hold on to the same core forever. I'm also not going to lie. We've won 5 Stanley Cups with our current coach. From season number 1, we've kept the same guy around. We've been able to win 5 Stanley Cups. But if we're changing the core up here, we might have to change the coach. Because ideally, I want to trade Austin Matthews for one of these RFAs right here, and we can get them on a great contract. Like this man right here, he's 22 years old and 88 overall. He wants 4 years at 9.7 million. I could definitely work with that at 21 years old. So here's the plan. I'm going to pick up a couple picks from the Buffalo Sabres. It's going to be 2 first rounders and a second rounder for Mitch Marner. And then after I make this deal, we're going to be flipping these draft picks. So I'm going to send this package over to the Buffalo Sabres. They're going to be saying yes. That's step 1 of the plan. So now that we've acquired those 2 first round picks from Buffalo, I'm going to offer them over to the Tampa Bay Lightning. But we're actually going to do a first and a second rounder because I think that actually might be enough for the guy we're trying to acquire here. Tampa's going to say no to this deal, but what if I throw you another second rounder, a first and 2 seconds for Mallet? I think this could be a great deal for us. There we go. We got Mallet on the team. Now, if I'm going to be trading Austin Matthews away, I want to make sure I can get as many assets as possible. So we're getting a medium elite potential player, 2 first rounders, just kidding, it's 3 first rounders, and Roger McQueen. All of this for Austin Matthews. I'm actually 99% sure Ottawa's going to be accepting this deal. Of course they are. We probably could have gotten more somehow. But you know what? I'm really happy with the package we got. I know for a fact we could have gotten way more if I went to a different team. But you know what? I'm getting all the players I want here. And we're getting 3 first round picks. Those could be pretty valuable. And you never know. I might just flip those for some more players. And the Stewart extension is going to be working out great for us. I mean, it's not really an extension because he is an RFA. But $10 million per year for the next 8 years. That's a pretty solid contract for a 21-year-old who's an 88 overall. Roger McQueen, on the other hand, we're going to be waiting a little bit because if we do an 8-year contract, he wants $16 million. That's not happening. Zachary Bolduc, on the other hand, what do you want for a contract? I will definitely do this. So we'll do 8.6 for the next 6 years. That's a pretty fair deal. That will pay you until you're 35 years old. And barring how the team's performing at that point, we might keep you on the team, but we might trade you if we have to. So we've been acquiring a lot of RFAs here, and that means we got to pay all these dudes. We're giving Mallet 8 years at $7 million. I think that's going to be a pretty fair contract for him. Also, I just gave out 2 other extensions. I think I had the recording paused. I gave Matthew Nyes an extension, and I also gave Wyatt Johnson an extension. Wyatt Johnson's getting paid pretty close to what he is right now. I think I did 3.7 for the next 3, and Matthew Nyes is like 3.1 for the next 3. So I feel like this team also needs to pick up another defenseman. Enros could be the guy for us. He's an 86 overall, a good 2-way defender. I'm not really sure which lines he's going to be playing on yet, but I know he's going to help the team a lot. And I feel like Toronto's first round pick for this season is going to be valuable enough to get the deal done. I don't think we're going to be that bad of a team for the amount of trade value our pick has. No, we're not going to be this bad of a team. Like worse than Ottawa and worse than Buffalo. We're going to be a playoff team for sure. So basically I'm trading like the 16th, 17th overall pick away, and we're going to be getting a medium-elite potential prospect. I really thought a 3rd rounder would be enough to be the difference maker, but hey, I know for a fact we got some good goaltenders here, and I know some of them have trade value. I don't know which guy I'm trading away. Okay, this man also dropped to a medium starter potential. Maybe I should do that over picking up a defenseman here, but hey, if the defense isn't good in front of the goaltender, then it doesn't really matter which goaltender's in between the pipes. So you might as well trade Boyer while we're at it because we're not going to be bringing this man back to the team. He wants $6 million. So McNeely, you're the goaltender for the future for us. They think they're getting a steal here, but we just got one of the best in the entire game. And McNeely, bro only wants like $5 million. So with McNeely, we'll give him an extension here. We'll do 5.4 for the next 5 years. I think that's a great deal for him. He's an 85 overall, only 23 years old. He's going to continue to get better. He might even develop into an 88, 89 overall goaltender. You just never know. Also in free agency, I'm going to sign Bo Aki here, $900K for the next 2 years. You might be wondering why I'm signing a 79 overall. If I want an 80 overall, they're $2 million, and basically anything higher than that's like $5 million. So yeah, 2 overalls makes that much of a difference. Also, I completely forgot we have to give an extension to Enros here, so we'll do 6. Also, I completely forgot we have to give an extension to Enros, and we'll do 6.5 for the next 6. Honestly, I can't remember who's on this team, who we've traded away, what's left. There was a lot of moving pieces here during the offseason, so I think the roster at the beginning of the season is going to be a massive surprise to us. So through all the changes during this season here, we're actually looking better than I expected. Well, Duke, Slakowski, and Stewart are going to be the top guys here. They're going to have McQueen, Eklund, and whatever this guy's name is. I'll eventually learn it by the end of the rebuild, but right now, I don't know what it is. Defensively, we're actually pretty good here. Sam Dickinson, Brant Clark, Peterson, Enros, Morrison, Aki. Definitely not the worst defense we've seen today, that's for sure. And to finish it all off, we have a new goaltender in between the pipes, and we also have a new backup. It's going to be Philip Lamb and McNeely. McNeely's going to be the starter for us, 23 years old and 85 overall. Lamb, he's a 26-year-old, 82 overall backup goaltender. He's going to be a decent guy for us. I would not be overly surprised if we finished top 5 in the entire league. I also wouldn't be surprised if we were a complete disappointment and finished bottom 10. This season's going to be a massive risk for the team, but you know what? I think we made some smart moves. Now, I had a lot of questions about this Toronto Maple Leafs team heading into the season, but first in the entire league with a 42-16-3 record, we're still one of the best offenses and we still have the best defense. The fact that we were able to maintain this after losing Mitch Marner, William Nylander, and Austin Matthews, I never would have expected that. And Jeremy Swayman's gone. No, this is actually incredible. And it looks like we got some big time performers on our team. Stewart, McQueen, Eklund, Slakowski, some of the usual suspects except for these top 2 guys. There were some new additions here. And the goaltending numbers, I gotta look at what McNeely's up to. 29 wins, a 911 save percentage, and a 271. While Lamb backing him up with these type of numbers, absolutely spectacular. But there's also one other thing we need to look at. That's the Ottawa Senators and the Buffalo Sabres, because we own both of their picks. And things are looking absolutely fantastic right now. The Buffalo Sabres 26th in the entire league, so that's going to be a good pick. And Ottawa's bottom 3 in the entire league. Did I say top 6 or did I say 26th? I don't know, I'm yapping, but Buffalo, that's going to be an incredible pick. And Ottawa, a top 3 pick, we're set for the future. So you know what? I've changed my mind. No trades are being made here at the trade deadline. Our team's absolutely rolling. We're looking incredible. How Evan Bouchard got $16.8 million, I have absolutely no clue. Like seriously, bro secured the bag. Like multiple bags. Like 18 bags at the same time. I respect it. So it's safe to say we choked. We choked big time. Second in the entire league, a 49, 26, and 7 record. We had 43 wins at the trade deadline, or 42. I don't really remember. All I know is in the final couple games here, we did not play well. Our offense was still pretty good. The defense, not too bad. We're still one of the best teams in the entire league, so I shouldn't really be that concerned. The new look Toronto Maple Leafs are going to be led by Philip Stewart here. He's got 61 goals and 35 assists for 96 points. Eklund, he's got 95. Roger McQueen, 91 here. Slakowski, 78. Bolduc's got 75. We got some old faces here. We got some new. But the one thing that doesn't change is the Toronto Maple Leafs being at the top of the league. And with McNeely putting up numbers like this, 35 wins, 5 shots, a 905 and a 290, I have no question that this team can win a Stanley Cup. In saying that though, what is McNeely's poise? Because I actually never looked at that. Hopefully it's good. It's a 75. 75 should be good enough to win us a Stanley Cup. Also, I completely forgot to look at the Buffalo Sabres. What were they up to? As well as the Ottawa Senators, because both of those teams sucked. Buffalo 22nd in the entire league. Not what we'd like to see here. Ottawa 26th though. That has the potential to be a very good pick. So you know what? I'll take it. So we have our first postseason with the new roster. The Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the New York Islanders. But even though it's a new roster, I'm expecting similar results. So far, the Toronto Maple Leafs have had a tough series with the Islanders here. We're tied 2-2. So game 5 is going to be the deciding one. I mean, it's not technically deciding, but it is going to give us a 3-2 lead in this series. And that's going to allow us to close this out in game number 6. Never mind, we're off to game 7. I hate going to game 7. Especially when it's the team you're cheering for. If it's 2 other teams, I couldn't care less. Like the Pittsburgh Penguins and Columbus Blue Jackets here, they're going to 7 games. I don't care who wins there, but I do care about the Toronto Maple Leafs. So here we go, game 7. We got to come up clutch here. And Brant Clark starting us off here. He's picking up the first goal of the game. And in the second, it's going to be scoreless. So the third period is going to be deciding this one. We're picking up 2 goals, but the Islanders are also picking up 2. And that's perfectly fine with me because we're going to be taking this one 3-2. Shout out to this absolute legend here for picking up the game-winning goal. I'm going to learn his name before the beginning of next season. So we've moved on to the second round, but we have a familiar foe in this matchup. Toronto taking on Montreal. Let's just finish this series up how we usually do, with Toronto coming out on top. Similar to our matchup against the Islanders, this one's going back and forth the entire way. We're split 2-2 right now, so game 5 is going to be a big one. Obviously, the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to be taking that one 8-3, and I don't want to go to another game 7, and thankfully that's not happening. A 6-2 victory sending us to the conference finals. So we've reached another conference finals, and in the year 2033. Who would have thought that the Toronto Maple Leafs would be this dominant? And I want to continue that dominance here. Let's beat Columbus and make it to the Stanley Cup final for the 6th time in this video, maybe 7th. Honestly, I've lost track. There's just something different about the Toronto Maple Leafs. A 3-1 series lead. Unfortunately, we're not going to close it out in game number 5. But you know what? We'll just close it out in game number 6 here. We're off to game 7 and we're about to blow a 3-1 series lead. Nice. But you know what? I should stop doubting this team, because when push comes to shove and they got to show up in game 7, that's exactly what they do. 3 goals in the first period, another goal in the second, and we're going to close it out with 6 goals in this game. Toronto's off to the Stanley Cup final. And shout out to Stewart, 2 big goals in this game. This man's a goal scoring machine. Now, we've certainly been here before, the Stanley Cup final. We already know what we have to do here. We're taking on the Edmonton Oilers. I believe we've already taken them on one time in this video. Maybe we haven't. I don't know. We've made it to the Stanley Cup final so many times, I can't even remember who we've taken on. That tells you how successful this rebuild's been so far. So enough yapping, let's get another Stanley Cup. In all seriousness, I can't get over how successful this rebuild's been. Like, the Toronto Maple Leafs have just been a different breed. We have a 3-1 series lead. We'll close it out in 5 games here. Never mind, we're going to close it out in 6 games here. I cannot afford going to another game 7. We can't allow that to happen. The Toronto Maple Leafs Stanley Cup champions once again. A 5-2 victory in game number 6. At this point, NHL teams need to hire me, because ain't no way I turn the Toronto Maple Leafs into a dynasty. Not a 1-time Stanley Cup champion, not a 2, not a 3, not a 4, not a 5. I think we've won 6 Stanley Cups. 6 Stanley Cups in 11 years. Absolutely incredible. And Stewart, 26 goals, 26 games. He's him. But it's not just about Stewart. Eklund's here, McQueen's here, Slafkovsky's here. All those guys had 30 plus points. And McNeely, 16 wins, 1 shutout, a 911 save percentage, and 288 goals against. I guess it doesn't matter who's in net for this team. As long as we have a competent goaltender, we can win a Stanley Cup. And on top of that Stanley Cup high, we also have 2 incredible draft picks here. We're going to get the 7th overall, and we're also going to be getting the 11th overall. And if we want to, we can probably package both of those up and get the number 1 overall pick. So if we have the chance at a franchise potential player, you better believe I'm making that trade. Also, I do want to mention, in a crazy turn of events, Mitch Marner has retired. We didn't get to look at his career stats because I didn't think this man would be retiring, but I guess he did. So shout out to Mitch Marner, a fantastic career. Like, it honestly might be as simple as a 7th rounder and the 96th overall to move up 2 spots. They're going to say no to this deal, but I'll throw in a future 4th as well. That should be more than enough to move up 2 spots in the draft here. I'm actually very surprised they're saying no here. So what if I give you the 128th overall pick, which is this season's 4th rounder? Is that going to make a difference? They're going to say no. I'll give you a future 7th as well, but that's the most I'm willing to do here. I'm moving up 2 spots, but I have to give up all these assets, but I think it's going to be worth it as long as we get the player we want. Okay, so the guy I wanted to draft just went 4th overall. So we have to pray that this man right here has medium elite potential. I'll take it. A medium elite potential defenseman, 78 overall. You know what? We actually do need some defensemen on this team, so maybe that's actually better than picking up a center. So I think at the end of the day, this actually worked out for us. And we're also not done there, because we do have the 11th overall pick. And I'm going to go with this guy right here because he might have medium elite potential. I highly doubt it. Medium top 6? That's still not a bad pick for the 11th overall. And it looks like the good drafting is going to continue here, because with the 160th overall, we're going to be getting a low elite potential offensive defenseman. So we've already picked up 2 elite potential players, another great top 6 guy. If we keep bringing in prospects like this, then the future is incredibly bright. Then again, as I've said a million times so far, the future's now. So we have 1 final pick in the draft here. I don't think we're going to be securing anything amazing, but you know what? We'll take a shot on one of these guys. If we can get low top 6, I'm not necessarily against that. He's low top 9. Hey, it could have been worse. We could have got like a 70 potential or an AHL player. So you know what? It's not the end of the world. Now, Roger McQueen, I would love to bring you back to the team. $11 million is a bit expensive, but hey, you're 26 years old, you're 90 overall, you're one of the future faces of this team, so we got to keep you around. Hopefully that's enough to keep you on the team. You're going to be saying no, but I think we just have to offer you some more money. Now, I'm not going to mess around here. 11.5 million, that's 700k less than what you're wanting. This should be more than enough. I don't really want to give you 12 million. Hopefully this is enough. All right, we might have to do more. It's either we do more or we just give him less years. 6 years actually could be the move though, because then that will pay him till he's 32 years old. If not, we're paying him till he's 34. So you know what? Let's do $11 million for the next 6 seasons. That's not necessarily the end of the world, and we get to keep him around. Also, Peterson, you're getting traded because you want $6 million at an 81 overall. And after some tough negotiation, it looks like Roger McQueen's coming back to the team. Also, I do want to mention I'm qualifying all these guys right here. Some of them are going to make a return to the team, and some of them will be traded. And when I say some of them are being traded, Peterson's being traded. Bro wants $6 million. Are you out of your mind? So now that we went through the re-sign phase and basically only brought back one important player, we got to give out some extensions here. And Mitten, you continue to do fantastic things here on the third line. So I want to see you continue to do that. 1.5 4.1 for the next 2 years. Meanwhile, with a guy like Boyer, I see the potential here. 3.7 for the next 8 years. I think he could develop into like an 88 overall player similar to Slavkovsky, and at that price point, you can't go wrong. Also, Morrison, it's not happening. $7 million for an 83 overall. You've lost your mind. Also, Lamb, I'll do 1.2 for the next 2 years. As a backup, that's actually a good contract. We have $10 million in cap space to work with right now, and honestly, we're going to take a chance with Reynolds here. $4 million for this upcoming season. I'm going to bank on him not having the greatest season in the world, and then we're going to re-sign him next season for about $2 million. So we are going to make one trade here, and that's going to be Peterson sent over to the Islanders for a 4th and a 7th rounder. Bro wants $7 million, so we might as well get rid of him. Also, did I not just trade him? Why is he still available here? Did I accidentally trade somebody else? I think I might have traded somebody else by accident. No, seriously, did I not just trade this guy? Or am I absolutely bugging here? I was 1000% positive that I just accepted this trade. What is going on? Okay, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if he's on the team. I don't know if this game is glitching. I couldn't tell you. I'm so confused. So the Leafs continue to do magical things here, winning another Stanley Cup, and of course we have the entire core coming back. The top 6 incredible like usual, the bottom 6 absolutely fantastic. We're going to ignore all the centermen we have here. You know what? It just don't matter, because as long as we're winning, who cares what position you're playing? Like if I have to, I'll have a center play defense. But you know what? We don't have to do that, because we have Enros, Clark, Dika, Dickinson, Morrison, Aki. Absolutely phenomenal from top to bottom. Like Dika, I want him getting a lot of minutes this season. That's why he's playing on the second line with Dickinson. But they're getting a +1 boost here, so I mean, why not? And then to finish it all off, of course, we have our goaltender. That's going to be McNeely and Lamb. McNeely's coming off a Stanley Cup where he put up some incredible numbers. I actually don't even remember what his numbers were. I might be gassing this man way too much. He might not have had that great of numbers. A 911 and a 288. Not the best in the world, but they were enough to win us a Stanley Cup. And we're going to do the exact same thing this season. All right, let's try this again. Peterson, can I ship you somewhere? I don't really care which team you go to. It just doesn't matter to me. Maybe Arizona. Actually, we're going to do Dallas because then we can get a 3rd rounder. I accepted the deal. Okay, there we go. We can trade him now. Don't know why we couldn't have earlier, but you know what? It just don't matter. So we're at the trade deadline here. Nothing's changed. 43, 15, and 6. Best in the entire league. Offense is flying. The defense is great. It really doesn't matter who's on this team, whether we have 70 overalls or 99 overalls. We're going to be number 1 in the entire league. Stewart, he's got 50 goals here in 64 games. What a great trade it was picking this man up. McQueen, 62. Bolduc's got 61 points. Eklund, 60. Slavkovsky's having a great year as well. While the goaltending here, McNeely, just keep doing your thing. 32 wins, 5 shots, a 908 and a 283. We're looking at repeating here. That's the only thing on this team's mind. And I think this actually could be the deal for us. We do have cap space available here, but not $12 million for Charlie McAvoy. However, if they retain 50%, then we might be able to do something here. We have a couple draft picks to work with. I know we got some good prospects. I completely forgot we have Ottawa's pick. They must be doing absolutely horrible right now based on the trade value of that pick, so I'll take it. I'll definitely trade Toronto's 1st rounder for this season and the 1st rounder for next season. If we can get Charlie McAvoy here at 50% retained, then I think that's the play, and then we'll easily win a Stanley Cup. So at 50% retained, are we going to have enough money for Charlie McAvoy here? We are, but I don't want to give up 2 first rounders if I don't have to. Maybe a 1st and a 2nd would be enough. So I'll try a 1st and 2nd rounder over to the Boston Bruins. They're going to be saying no here, but we're pretty close. We can get this done without 2 first-round picks. So we don't have very many young prospects here, but you know what? I'll trade one away. I'll throw in one of our right wingers, and then this should be enough to get Charlie McAvoy. The deal's getting accepted. Our defense just saw a huge upgrade. We secured an 88 overall for the 2nd pairing. No one's going to have a better top 4 than us. So by making this trade, Dika is going to have to play some 3rd line minutes for us at a 78 overall. They're getting a -2 boost here, but that's perfectly fine because look at the top 4 here. Clark, Enros, Dickinson, McAvoy. These top 4 guys are going to allow 1 goal every 5 games. So even if the 3rd pairing isn't the best in the world, we'll still survive. Okay, so this loss against the Ottawa Senators annoys me quite a bit. 1, because we own their 1st round pick, and that means their 1st round pick's not going to be as valuable because they secured another 2 points here. But if we had won this game, that means we won 16 straight games. We lost to Philly, lost to Ottawa, so we lost 2 games to Ottawa. But after those 2 losses, we would have won 16 straight games heading into the postseason. So it's safe to say the Toronto Maple Leafs are pretty good right now. And with 16 straight games, of course, 1st in the entire league, 58, 17, and 7. The offense, absolutely fantastic, but Edmonton's was actually a bit better. They were over 4 goals a game, but their defense couldn't even compete with ours. 2.65 allowed. Like I said, every 4 games, our top 4 is only going to be allowing 1 goal. The big time players are making big time plays here. Stewart, 62 goals, 88 points. McQueen, 83. Bolduc's got 81. Eklund, 78. But Charlie McAvoy, I'm kind of curious to see what you did since joining the team. You're playing some 2nd pairing minutes. 13 points in 18 games and you were plus 13. I'll definitely take it. And to finish it off, McNeely, 43 wins, 5 shouts, a 911 and a 275. Pretty similar numbers to last season, and I'm expecting the same result. So let's jump right into the postseason here, a place where the Toronto Maple Leafs seem to perform very well. I honestly never thought I would say those words my entire life, but here we are taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins in the first round. The first round's an absolute breeze for this team. Also words I never thought I would say in my life, but hey, things are different here because it's the stick on the ice Maple Leafs. Now, I honestly thought it was going to be a pretty easy series for us after the first 2 games, so here we are in game 5, and the series is tied 2-2. We're down 3-2 right now. No way the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to be losing the first round after I hype them up like that. We're winning 5-3, and that means we have game 7, and this team always performs in game 7. So here we go, game 7. We already know what's on the line here, and the Toronto Maple Leafs aren't going to fold. Even though we're down 5-3 heading into the third period, I already know this team's going to bounce back because that's what they normally do. Oh my god, we lost. We actually lost for once. 8-5 in game number 7. We were not performing. Stewart was, though. How many goals did this man pick up? He picked up 4 goals. Our team scored 5 goals. He picked up 4 of them. Stewart, you did everything you could. The rest of the team just didn't show up in this game. 8-5. No, we really traded for Charlie McAvoy just to play 7 games. Also, Stewart, you kind of sucked in the postseason, not going to lie. Up until this game, you had 2 goals in 6 games. Kind of expecting a bit more. But hey, you picked up 4 goals in game 7. You stepped up when you had to. The rest of the team just folded. So although our team did not show up in the postseason here, I'm not too concerned. We have a bunch of fantastic players. McNeely, an 880 and a 329. Normally I would be concerned about these numbers, but you know what? I think we'll step it up next season. We're going to bounce back big time, especially since we're probably going to get a top 5 pick. Shout out to Ottawa, by the way. Thanks for sucking. So we might as well go ahead and simulate to the draft lottery here and see which pick we're going to be getting. Hopefully it's top 5. We're getting the 5th overall pick. We're going to be securing a medium elite potential player here. But if the player projected first overall does have franchise potential, then I'll make a move. Barring that trade being reasonable or not. Also, shout out to 2 legends in Connor McDavid and Sebastian Aho. Both of these guys are going to be retiring here. I probably should start taking a look at retired players. I mean, it definitely wouldn't hurt here. We are going to be getting a medium elite potential player though, so you know what? I'll definitely take that. So with the 5th overall pick, we're going to be selecting Nathan Silverthorne. He's got medium elite potential. I know he's eventually going to jump into the lineup for us. Maybe immediately. Bro's already an 80 overall. You know what? That could be the move. Have him playing the NHL immediately. And the medium elite potential players aren't done there because we're going to be securing Davies with the 79th overall, and he's a medium elite potential 2-way forward. And the fantastic prospects are going to continue here. Morozov, a 51 overall who has low elite potential. He was a gem, so there's a good chance that he could develop into a solid player for us. Maybe even a top 6 down the road. So we definitely picked up a lot of good prospects in the draft here. 3 guys with elite potential, 2 of them having medium elite potential, and our 5th overall pick already being an 80 overall. That's definitely going to help the cap situation here. Alright, so you'll probably never see me do something like this again. Morrison, I'm actually going to be giving you a long-term contract. I never thought I'd see the day where I'm giving an 84 overall, $8 million. But you know what? He's 24 years old. He's got medium elite potential. He could develop into something, and I'm willing to take that risk. However, not at that price point though. 6 years at $7 million. I can work with that. And then with Reynolds, I'll do 3.5 for the next 2 seasons. Once we have a better idea of what his progression is going to look like, then we can make moves accordingly. Because if he turns into an 84 overall at the beginning of next season, I can work with that. But if he's going to be an 82 and drops to top 9 potential, then we might have to trade him. Also, Morrison's being a bit of an L-Mans here and he didn't sign a contract. So 7.25, that's literally the most I can do. So if you don't accept this deal, then you're not going to be coming back. Alright, he's not rejoined the team here, but I can qualify him as an RFA. I'll clear up a bit of cap space and then we'll bring him back. I don't know why bro is being an L-Mans like that. So I'm going to basically offer the exact same contract over to Morrison, but this time it's a 7-year deal at 7.25. I think there's actually a pretty good chance that this gets accepted. The logic behind this getting accepted makes absolutely no sense, but I think there is a chance. Also, when it comes to Slafkovsky, we're just going to ride out his contract for this season. We're one of the top teams in the entire league. I'm okay with losing him if we can win another Stanley Cup. And just like that, Morrison's going to be accepting the contract. I have absolutely no clue why he's accepting, but we'll take it. Because I'm pretty sure I offered this exact same contract to him, but less years, and he said no. But hey, we figured out a way to get a deal done, and now let's get ready for next season. It's going to be the exact same team here, but we're going to be hoping for a different result. Alright, since we brought Morrison back to the team, he's probably going to be playing some second pairing minutes for us, so that means we don't need Sam Dickinson to be playing on the third line and also getting paid $9.3 million. That makes absolutely no sense. So we're shipping him over to the Washington Capitals along with a first round pick, and we're going to be picking up Brad Corson. Now I'm going to be hoping that this man can fit on the third defensive pairing, and if he can, then we're set for the future. I'm also going to try to get Washington's first round pick here because that's incredibly valuable, seeing as they're going to be one of the worst teams in the entire league. I don't know what it's going to take to get their first round pick, but I really want to get that in the deal as well. So hopefully a third rounder is going to be enough to make the difference here. It probably isn't. You know what? I'm not going to waste a lot of time here trying to get Washington's first. I'm just going to trade for a second or something. So we'll try this. Sam Dickinson for Corson, a third and fourth rounder. I'm going to offer that over. They're saying no. I'll take the fourth rounder out. Hopefully we can get a third, and that's exactly what we're getting here. So we're going to be clearing up a lot of money in this deal, and now we just need to bring in one more defenseman. So Aki was on the team last season, but I didn't bring him back on an extension. But you know what? Now we're going to trade for him. So it would have made a lot more sense to bring him back last year, but I guess we didn't. So you know what? We're learning from mistakes here. A third rounder, one of our fringe starter goaltenders, and a sixth round pick is going to be sent over to Arizona, and we're getting the guy we need. I guess a sixth rounder is not going to be enough, so I'll do a fifth instead. If a fifth doesn't work, then we'll do a fourth. I guess we're doing a fourth, but you know what? I don't want to mess around here. A fifth and sixth rounder. Yeah, we're giving a lot here for Aki, but he's going to serve the purpose. Okay, we're giving up way more than I was expecting. A fifth, a sixth, and a seventh round pick, and obviously the seventh rounder is the most valuable, and that's what's getting the deal done. So this is what the team's looking like. It's going to be Roger McQueen, Stuart Slakowski on the first line, Eklund, Bolduc, and then Silverthorne on the second. Silverthorne's a rookie, 18 years old, 80 overall. We want him getting some reps early on, so I think putting him on the second line is definitely the move. The bottom six here, absolutely unreal. The lowest overall being an 81, and the rest of these guys, incredible. We have an 88 overall centerman as our third line center. That's how you know we're really good. We've been doing a fantastic job making trades, managing the salary cap, and this defense, incredible as well. 87 overall Enroz, Brant Clark, Dika, Morrison, Corson, Aki, a bunch of studs here. And you know who else is a stud? McNeely, 85 overall. He's been able to win us one Stanley Cup. We have Lamb backing him up, but we do have to remember we have one medium elite potential goaltender in the system. At 20 years old, he's up to a 72 overall. I could see him taking the reins sooner than later. In about 3 years, he'll probably be our starting goaltender, but until then, McNeely's the man. And Corson, although you don't have the greatest fit here on the third line, $3.1 million for a 79 overall, in these times is actually a pretty good deal. Inflation's crazy right now in the NHL, so I like this move. And that's actually not the only signing we're going to be doing here, because Slakowski, I changed my mind. I want you returning to the team. We'll do 8.5 for the next 4 years. You've been such an important piece to this team. We've won a ton of Stanley Cups with you, so I better keep you around for the next 4 years. However, if we do want to keep him around, we got to make a trade. Now this trade, in order to clear up some cap space, is a bit of a risky one, but it could be a high risk, high reward move. Wyatt Johnson, a third round pick. We're picking up Zadorov from the Anaheim Ducks. If he fits on the third pairing defense, that's great, but we're mainly doing this just so we can get the caps to work. But I'm also trying to get this first rounder from the Anaheim Ducks. If we're able to secure this first rounder, and for some reason Anaheim absolutely sucks and it turns into a top 5 draft pick, then I'm not going to complain. I mean, the odds of that happening are incredibly low because Anaheim's a great team, but if it does happen, then that's a steal for us. And taking a quick look at Zadorov, it's clear that he can't fit on the third line, so now it's time to flip him somewhere else. Zadorov, thank you for the great memories here. You were absolutely elite player for us, one of the greatest of all time, but now you're being sent over to the Islanders for a third and fifth rounder. So with all those moves being completed, it's time to simulate up to the trade deadline here, be a 50-win team, make one addition, and then win a Stanley Cup. Plain and simple. Alright, so we're a borderline 50-win team at the trade deadline, first in the entire league, 47, 13, and 4. The offense flying, while the defense kind of mid. I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting the defense to be a bit better, but when you're scoring 4.06 goals per game, it's okay if you allow a couple goals. Like usual, we're gonna have scoring from top to bottom here. No issues with this team whatsoever. While the goaltending situation, McNeely, 33 wins, 1 shutout, an 897 and a 313, these aren't good. But so far, Lamb's been perfect. 14-0-0, a 916 and a 256. If we get to the end of the season and he still is yet to lose a game, he's our starter for the postseason. I'm actually really contemplating making him our starter right now. To be 14-0-0, I don't care if you're playing the worst teams in the entire league, that's still impressive. So we do have a lot of cap space here. We could make one move at the trade deadline. I'm not sure what that move is going to be, maybe improving the defense a little bit, but even that I think is actually pretty good. The forward core is great. What can we actually do here to improve the team? I have no clue. So I think we will make one trade. It's going to be a first and second rounder over to the St. Louis Blues. We're going to pick up Nygren, an 86 overall defensive defenseman. He's definitely going to be helping the team here. He can't make us worse. Surprisingly, this isn't going to be enough, but we just need to add a 7th rounder. So here you go, a 7th round from the Toronto Maple Leafs, and this deal is getting accepted. So by making this deal, this is what the defensive core is going to be looking like. Enros, Clark, Dika, Nygren, Morrison, Aki, and then we sent Coruscant to the bench. But that's perfectly fine. Coruscant, he's going to play next season because Nygren's not going to be coming back. I'm assuming Bro wants probably about $13 million. Now, I might as well just check out what Nygren's looking for when it comes to money. I'm assuming it's a lot. He wants $8.6 million. That's actually not the worst in the world. Okay, is there a way we would be able to clear up $8 million for next season? Yes, there is. We trade Morrison, and then we bring back Nygren. I think that's actually the move. Okay, so Nygren might be coming back next season. I also do want to bring back Aki, so I'm going to give him an extension here, 2.5 for the next 2 years. He's an important piece to our third pairing. He also has a pretty good line fit there, and that's hard to come by. Ah yes, shout out to Bo Aki from the Arizona Coyotes on accepting this contract extension with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Absolute legend. He's playing for 2 teams at the same time. So we already know that Toronto's going to be at the top of the league. Some things never change. 59, 18, and 5. An amazing offense and a great defense. That pickup for Nygren definitely made the difference. Eklund's going to be leading the way here. He's got 89 points. Stewart 83. McQueen 82. Also Stewart picked up 50 goals. So shout out to him for having another fantastic season. McNeely's doing his usual things in between the pipes. 43 wins, 2 shouts, a 901 and 296. Well, Lamb, you had a chance of being the start for the postseason. A 16-1-1 record. 1 shout, a 914 and 259. I said you would be the starter if you went perfect for the rest of the year. Unfortunately, you lost 2 games, so we got to go with McNeely. So let's get ready for another deep postseason run here. We got the Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the New York Rangers. Let's just get this over with quick and add another Stanley Cup to the trophy case. Alright, we're not losing in the first round here. We were a borderline 60 win team. If we're going to lose, it's not going to be in the first round. It's going to be in the Stanley Cup final. Luckily, it looks like this team's turned it around, winning back-to-back games here, and we're off to the second round. We had a bit of a scare in the first round here, but we're going to find a way to move on. Now we're in the second round. We got the Montreal Canadiens to take on. So it looks like after that scare in the first round, this team's locked in. We're going to sweep the Montreal Canadiens, meaning we've won 6 straight games, and this team's not looking to lose anymore. So we're on a 6-game winning streak right now. We're the best team in the entire NHL. There's not a team here that can stop us. However, the Columbus Blue Jackets, they are coming off winning a Stanley Cup last season, so they're ready to compete with the best in the league. We better watch out for these boys. Okay, hold on. We lost Game 3 9-2. How did we lose Game 3 9-2? We're down 3-1 this series. We're not winning. We lost 1 game 9-2. There's no way we're bouncing back from that. Psych, we're off to Game 7. We won 2 straight games. We were down 3-1 this series, and now we're about to make this comeback. I should never doubt the stick on the ice Maple Leafs. So here we go, the game that matters the most, Game 7. This one's going to send us to the Stanley Cup final. We're flying in the first period, picking up the first 2 goals of the game. We would be able to pick up a shorthanded goal, but Columbus is responding with 2 of their own. We're entering the third period. It's a 1-goal game. Toronto needs to close it down, but unfortunately they're not. They're going to be allowing a goal with a minute left in the period. We got overtime here, and this one's going to settle it. We're losing. All right, great work, team. We allowed 4 unanswered goals to lose in Game 7. That didn't just happen. So after we fell to the Columbus Blue Jackets in Game 7, they're going to go on to win their 2nd straight Stanley Cup. And who'd they beat? The Anaheim Ducks. And guess who has Anaheim's first round pick? We do. So our pick's not going to be that valuable. The Anaheim Ducks aren't going to have a valuable pick, and neither are the Ottawa Senators. However, if we package all 3 of those picks up, we might be able to get a top 5 pick. You just never know. Also, I finally remembered to check on some of the retired players, and William Nylander's going to be packing it up here. 1,400 points, 545 goals, 861 helpers. Shout out to Willie on an incredible career. So as I said earlier, I wanted to get rid of Morrison's contract so we can bring back Nygren. So it's going to be Morrison, the 18th overall pick, sent over to the Florida Panthers, and we're going to try to get the 3rd overall. Unfortunately, they're going to be saying no to that, but if I throw in the Anaheim Ducks pick, which is 31st overall, I think that might be enough to get this deal done. They're going to be saying no here, but you know what? I feel like we're pretty close in value, so we're going to keep on trying. Since the Florida Panthers didn't want Morrison, I'm going to send him over to the LA Kings. We're going to get the 28th overall and the 60th. Hopefully we can get both of those things. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to, so I'm going to have to add something else into the deal. Maybe a 3rd round pick, the 83rd overall. I think that should be enough to get this deal done. So we're going to be getting both of those draft picks. Now we got to flip them over to Florida. So hopefully these 3 first round picks are going to be enough for us to jump to the 3rd overall pick. I'm also going to be throwing a prospect in this deal. I'm offering this over to the Florida Panthers, but unfortunately they're going to be saying no. So you know what? We're going to try this instead. We're not going to trade for the pick, but we're actually going to trade for the player, the 18th overall and 28th overall. They're going to be saying saying no to that. What if I do all 3 first rounders? If we can get this deal done for the player and not the pick, then that's going to be incredibly dumb. Okay, we probably could have got a second rounder back in exchange. We got the guy we wanted, but even still, you wouldn't trade the pick, but you'll trade the player. Make it make sense. So although we're not making any first round selections, that doesn't mean we're not getting any good prospects. But the 94th overall, we got ourselves a medium-ly potential goaltender. So the reason we trade Morrison away is so we can bring back Nygren. And of course, that's exactly what I'm going to be doing here. We're going to do 8.3 for the next 5 years. He's playing some big minutes for us. An 87 overall. He's one of the best defensemen on the team, so we got to keep him here. So we have a couple players on expiring contracts. I'm going to have to make some difficult decisions. Reynolds, he's probably not coming back unless he wants less than 3.5 million. He's looking for 4. That's not going to happen. We're going to be letting him walk, but we're going to have him play out his contract because he's pretty good for the 4th line. Matthew Nyes, he's another guy that's probably not coming back next season, but he plays big 3rd line minutes. We better keep him here. Brant Clark, this is going to be a tough one. You're getting paid 6.2 million. Oh yeah, you're not coming back. Not a chance you're coming back to the team. We might even trade you away and hopefully bring in a good young defenseman on a cheap contract. And then Dika, you're not being loyal to the soil here. 19 years old. He's an 80 overall. Maybe he can actually become our new #1 defenseman on the right side. Hold on here. Because he has a good line fit here. He's only 19 years old. That actually might be the move. Dika might be the play here. So in saying all that, Dika, I'm going to give you a massive contract here. 7.3 for the next 8 years. And then Brant Clark, we're going to ride out your contract for this season, and then you'll be walking in free agency. So we already know how things work here. We're running it back with the exact same team. We're just hoping for a different result here. Hopefully not losing game 7 of the conference finals. The forward core is absolutely incredible here. The defense, absolutely spectacular. You know what? We're changing up the adjectives. And McNeely, he's got an X factor this time around. He's an 86 overall, high starter potential. It's time for us to get back to what the Toronto Maple Leafs do best, and that's win Stanley Cups. Or sorry, did I say the Toronto Maple Leafs? They're known for losing in the first round. The stick on the ice Maple Leafs, they're known for winning Stanley Cups. So we're chilling like usual here, first in the entire league. Although the offense is taking a slight step back, the defense is even better, only allowing 2.63 goals per game. The years we win Stanley Cups, our defense was what really shows out. So now that the defense is back and running at full cylinders, I think we'll be all right. So it's very noticeable that our scoring has dropped this season. McQueen's 69 points, Stewart's 66, but he has 43 goals at the 62 game mark. Eklund only has 55 here. Bolduc's got 55. Our scoring's definitely not as good as it normally is. However, our goaltending is certainly better. 36 wins, 5 shots, a 911 and a 268 from McNeely. He's proving that he's one of the best in the entire league. But man, Lamb has really been holding it down these past 2 seasons. Right now he's got a 924 and a 223, and last season a 914 and a 259. And the year before that, a 226 and a 212, and the year before that, a 929 and a 208. Do we play this man in the postseason? Because the regular season, he has been him. Yeah, he's been playing the backup role and has been playing the best teams in the world, but even still, these numbers, I'm starting to think he actually is the guy for us, although he's only an 82 overall with starter potential. The numbers say otherwise. But with all that yapping out of the way here, I don't think we're actually going to make any moves here. We don't have a ton of assets to work with, and I really like the team right now. We're 49, 14, and 3. Let's not screw anything up. Let's just simulate to the end of the season and get ready for another Stanley Cup run. So we're a borderline 60 win team once again. We're finishing with 58 wins here. The team's looking great from top to bottom. You already know what the drill is. We didn't have anyone picking up 100 points this season or even 90. McQueen's leading the way. He's got 86 points here. I really don't care about the scoring. I'm more interested in the goaltending. McNeely, 46 wins, 6 shots, a 909 to 269. These numbers are certainly better than last season, or I think they are. A 909 to 269. Yeah, these are way better. Now it's time for the Stanley Cup run that this team goes on every single year. We're always one of the best. You already know we're going to be making a deep run, and it's going to be starting off with a matchup against the New York Rangers. Similar to last postseason, we're splitting the series with the New York Rangers through the first 4 games, but of course we're going to take the lead in game number 5, and we're going to close it out in game number 6, literally the exact same as last time. Or maybe I spoke too soon. We're off to game 7 here. Whatever y'all do not lose in the first round. So here we go, game 7 to get out of the first round. I'm not concerned whatsoever. I already know we're going to be holding it down here. Stewart's picking up the lone goal of the game with 3 minutes left here, and we're off to the second round. Nah, but this was way too close. So I'm going to make predictions for the rest of this postseason. We're going to take down the Boston Bruins in 5 games. We're going to match up against the Columbus Blue Jackets in the conference finals. We're going to win in 6 games, and then we'll see Minnesota in the Stanley Cup final. And then when we match up against Minnesota, that's going to be a 5-game series as well. So I guess we won't be taking Boston down in 5 games because so far we split the series 2 games apiece. Game 5 is going to be a tough one for us because we're going to be dropping at 5-2. We better not lose here. A massive 7-3 victory and we're off to game 7. Okay, so don't lose in 7 games here, boys, because if we win, that means we match up against the Columbus Blue Jackets in the conference finals, the team that I predicted that we'd take on. We're tied through 2 periods, so the 3rd period is going to be the deciding one, and it looks like we're going to be coming out on top here, picking up 4 big goals in the 3rd period. Of course, Stewart's picking up 2 of them. This man always shows up in the big games. So far, things are going according to plan. The Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets, Edmonton Oilers taking on the Minnesota Wild. I might not be right about the amount of games it's going to take each series, but so far it looks like my prediction could end up being true. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're taking down Columbus in 6 games. It's actually going to be in 5 games. We're dominating them 9-2 after losing game 4 9-3. That's a big bounce back performance from our team. And if Minnesota wins the next matchup, then we're taking them on the Stanley Cup final. So everything was going according to plan until the Minnesota Wild blew a 3-1 series lead to the Edmonton Oilers. So now we have an all-Canadian matchup, the Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Edmonton Oilers. I believe these 2 teams have matched up in the Stanley Cup final before, and we already know it went Toronto's way. So hopefully that can happen again in this matchup. So with a win here, I believe this would be our 7th Stanley Cup of the video. It's time for Toronto to lock in here, but unfortunately things are not going our way. We're down 3-1 in the series. We got to make a big comeback here, and it's got to start in game number 5. Never mind, we're losing that one 6-2. That is tough. I can guarantee you if Minnesota doesn't blow that 3-1 series lead, then we're beating them in the Stanley Cup final. So this Stanley Cup loss, it's not on the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's actually on the Minnesota Wild. They're the team that sold us. Now this was a tough loss for us because we're going to be losing a couple pieces. Brant Clark, he's not going to be returning to the team. Matthew Nyes, he's not going to be coming back. McNeely, what'd your numbers look like in the postseason? 13 wins, 3 shouts, a 907 and a 284. I honestly think these numbers are really skewed here because if you look at our matchup against the Edmonton Oilers, we did not perform in those 5 games we played against them. So his goals against and save percentage was certainly better heading into this final matchup. But game 5 we allowed 6 goals, game 4 we're allowing 5, game 3 we allowed 4, and then in game 1 we allowed 5 again. This team was playing 0 defense in the Stanley Cup final. The conference finals, on the other hand, barring this one game where we allowed 9 goals, we were fantastic defensively. So after losing in the playoffs due to some bad defense in the final round, we have to improve the defense here, so we're going to be selecting a low elite potential defensive defenseman. We're not done there though, because you just never know when you're going to need a medium elite potential goaltender, so we might as well draft another one. And just shortly after that medium elite potential, it looks like we're going to be getting another low elite potential defenseman here, but this one's going to be an offensive defenseman. So it was a pretty good draft for us. We didn't make too many selections here, but we are walking away with 3 elite potential players. So when it comes to the re-sign phase, we're not going to be bringing anyone back here. Clark's going to be leaving. Matthew Nyes is going to be leaving. He's the last remaining piece from our original Toronto Maple Leafs team. It's been a long ride so far. We're also going to be letting Lamb walk here because he wants like $3 million to be the backup goaltender, and I don't really want to pay him $3 million to be the backup. I feel like we're entering another year where there's going to be a lot of changes happening to this team, but you know what? Sometimes you got to make some changes. Zachary Bolduc, I think there's a good chance that he gets traded here. He's aging out here. I think he's close to 32 years old. He's not going to have too many good years left in him, so we better trade him while his trade value's at its highest. So after not bringing anyone back during the re-sign phase, Silverthorne, we got to bring you back. But I don't just want to do a 3-year deal. I want to lock you down for the next 8. So how does 8.5 for the next 8 years sound? I think that's a great deal for you because you're getting locked down long term, and it's a great deal for this team because that's going to turn out to be an incredible contract. Also, when it comes to Bo Aki, we're going to keep on bringing this man back as long as he's above a 75 overall because he fits on the 3rd pairing that's so difficult to find. I don't care what your overall is. If you have a decent enough fit here, we're bringing you back. And we're not done with extensions there. Zanana, I'm giving you 2 years at $1.025 million. You're a 78 overall. I'm expecting in the next 2 seasons, you're going to be our starting goaltender. Because McNeely, although you've done great things for this franchise, you're only an 85 overall. And I feel like Zanana can definitely get above that, maybe even an 87. You never know. He might be able to develop into a 90. He's only 22 years old right now, and the sky's the limit for this man. Also, McNeely, I don't want to give you $8 million. Just being completely honest. So I mentioned this, I think, at the end of last season. Zachary Bolduc, I'd love to keep you around here, but you're 33 years old, and I think your decline's right around the corner, so we better trade you while you have pretty high trade value. I'm going to be sending you over to the LA Kings. We're picking up Rubrock. He's 5 years younger at 28 years old, and he's a good sniper that can play on the second line. He's going to be playing with Eklund, and he's going to be playing with Silverthorne. Silverthorne's also a 2-way forward, so we don't really need Bolduc anymore. I'm also going to try to get the first rounder from LA, because you never know. If this team completely falls apart in 2 years, this is going to have a lot of trade value. So I'm going to offer that over. They're saying no. But you know what? If we can't get that first rounder, it's not necessarily the end of the world, but I would like to get it. So maybe 2 third rounders would be enough in order to get LA's first rounder. I'm going to ship this package over. We're going to see what they're saying. They're saying yes. Not only did we get Rubrock, but we also got a very valuable first round pick. Well, it has the potential to be very valuable. All right, so for a guy like Blackburn, I am willing to give up quite a bit in order to get him. He's an 80 overall that has elite potential, and you might be wondering why I'm willing to give up so much. He fits in the 4th line. That's where he's going to be playing, but we can do an 8-year contract with this man at like 2.5 million. We're in the year 2036. We know what the inflation's been like in this game, so if I can get an 80 overall for 2.5 million, yeah, we're getting it done. So I'm going to do a prospect and a first rounder over to the Boston Bruins. I doubt this is going to be enough. Of course it isn't. We can throw a couple more draft picks in, but you know what? We actually have a couple goaltenders here that have medium elite potential, so we're going to throw one of them into this deal because they got trade value. I'm going to ship this over to Boston, and we got the deal done just like that. So let's get this extension done with Blackburn, and we're going to be doing 2.4 for the next 8 years. I don't care what you develop into, this is an incredible deal. And now with the Chicago Blackhawks, we're going to do a similar deal, but this time for Zykov, we're going to give up a prospect and a 7th round pick, and then we're going to give him an 8-year extension. And Zykov's 8-year extension is going to be a bit more expensive. It's going to be 2.9 for the next 8 years. That one's really going to be breaking the bank for our team. So we're just about to get ready for the beginning of the season, but I do want to make one trade for Vasanen. He's going to be playing some second pairing minutes for us. Right now, the defense doesn't look the greatest in the world, but you know what? It's just because we can't find anyone to play on the right side. That's really our only issue. All the amazing young defensemen that we've brought in so far, all of them play on the left side, none of them play on the right side. I don't know why that's the case, but it is. Also, accept this deal. I'll give you a 6th rounder instead. You know what? Here's a 7th rounder. I'm going to offer this deal over, and they're going to act like they got an absolute steal. It's a sweet proposal on our end. Okay then, you got a 7th rounder instead of somebody with top 9 potential. I think you would have been better off with the guy who had top 9 potential. So we made some changes over the offseason, but I still believe this team's in an incredible spot. McQueen, Slafkovsky, Stewart, Silverthorne, Eklund, Rubrock. The bottom 6 here, I think this might be the best bottom 6 we've ever had. I'm just going to keep it a stack. The lowest overall is Blackburn at an 80, but he has a great line fit here. We got Boyer and Zykov at his side. Like, this team is elite right now. Defensively, yeah, I could use some work. The right side isn't the strongest in the world, but Dika, Nygren, and Enraz, they can definitely lead the way for us. Meanwhile, we have 2 fantastic goaltenders here. McNeely, an 85. Zanata's backing him up. He's an 80 overall, medium elite potential. We're probably going to be giving him the reins next season. 22 years old and he's an 80 overall. He's definitely going to develop into an absolute beast, as long as he gets an opportunity to become that guy. Because if we just keep him as the backup, he'll never live up to his full potential. So we're going to roll with this team right here. We got disappointed in the Stanley Cup final last season. It's time to bounce back from that. We got a chip on our shoulder, and I can guarantee the stick on the ice Maple Leafs are making it back to the Stanley Cup final. Now, we certainly haven't been in this position for a while. 3rd in the entire league with a 39-19-5 record, although we do have the best offense here, and we have the 3rd best defense. So the 3rd best defense and the best offense gets you 3rd overall. Now, real talk, we should be number 1 in the league right now. As we know, big time players make big time plays. Rubrock, you've been a fantastic addition to the team. 60 points in 63 games, 30 goals, 30 helpers. What a pickup that was. Silverthorne, I'm expecting a bit more from you, but you are only 20 years old, so you still have tons of time to develop. McNeely, 36 wins, 3 shutouts, a 910 and 273. While Zanata, an 890 and a 326. This ain't it, especially with a 3-8-1 record. I want you to be the future goaltender for this team, and right now, you're not cooking. So I would love to bring in a defenseman here to help the right side, but we cannot get a good deal here. Mo Sider, 85 overall, $10 million. But don't worry, because Adam Fox is available at 39 years old. He's an 84, and we'll only have to pay him $15 million for this season. $15 million? Are you bugging? Adam Jiricek, I would bring you in, but you're on too long of a deal. 4 years, we got to get somebody on a 1-year deal here. William Wallander, 2 years at 8.5. We might be able to make that work. We'll pick you up for this season, then immediately trade you. But no, right now, this is not the move. We need somebody on a 1-year deal. Maybe this guy right here. Who knows? Yeah, so I can't find any right defenseman right now, so I think we have to rock with the players we have right now. That's not necessarily the end of the world because we are 3rd overall. I do want to mention though, our start to the season was horrible. We started like 15-10-5. Since that point, we've definitely been the best team in the entire league. So as long as we can keep the momentum going here, we should finish first overall. Now, I told y'all this was going to happen. First in the entire league, 52, 24, and 6. An offense that's completely flying and a defense that's best in the entire league. We're better than Calgary's. Yeah, we allowed the same amount of goals as them, but our defense is just superior. So the usual suspects are leading the team here. Shout out to Rubrock, 76 points in his Maple Leafs debut. You love to see it. McNeely, 46 wins, 3 shots, a 907 and a 281. I've seen better numbers from you. I'm just going to keep it 1,000. But if you stepped up in the playoffs when it matters most, then we're cool. Also, I don't know why I said Rubrock's debut. His debut season, I guess. His first season with the team. I don't know, I'm bugging right now. We're taking Philly on in the first round. I don't think we've ever played Philly in a series so far in this video. Have we ever matched up against Philly? I'm trying to think. I don't think we have. Then again, I've been recording this video for like 3-4 days now. It's been a while, so yeah, I could not remember who was on this team at the beginning of the video. Like the current Toronto Maple Leafs team, yeah, I can't remember who that is because we've traded so many players. We've had so many players go through the franchise. By the end of this, the only player I'm going to know who played for this team was Austin Matthews. That's probably about it. All right, we have to watch this historic moment together. Okay, I thought we were going to get swept in the first round. I don't think we've ever been swept before, but here we are down 3-1 in the first round. Are we about to spark an insane comeback? No, we're losing in 5 games. The Toronto Maple Leafs are eliminated just like that. Thank God we didn't make some crazy deadline acquisition to make this team better. Because we lost in the first round here. If that costed me a couple first round picks, I would have been tight. Okay, hold on. I thought I locked these guys down to 8-year deals. Did I not give this man an 8-year deal? I guess I didn't. So Blackburn, I got to give you an extension now. I was like 100% positive that I gave you a long-term deal. Maybe something happened and I just wasn't paying attention and I didn't. So here's 3.4 for the next 8 years. That's a bit more than what I was hoping for, but you know what? It's the way she goes. And then Zikoff, this is also more than I was hoping for. 3.9 for the next 8. What happened to these extensions? Like seriously, what happened? So not only did the salary cap go up, but we were able to give out those extensions. So I really don't know what we're going to be doing here. Can we give an extension to this defenseman? No, we can't. He wants 4.5 million. For a second, I thought he wanted 1.8. I was about to accept that deal immediately. When it comes to goaltending, McNeely, we're going to let you walk here. I'm not giving you $8 million. And I also can't afford you. So yeah, it's a tough situation. I mean, before I get ahead of myself, Montreal won a Stanley Cup, so I thought I'd mention that. And our player stats, I don't really want to look at these, but you know what, we will. Rubrock, 5 goals in 5 games. I mean, he performed. The rest of the team, on the other hand, they all sucked. Like, literally every single player. McNeely, thankfully, this is your last postseason with the team. An 885 and a 404. That's what we're ending on. Hey, you won us a couple Stanley Cups. I can't really complain too much. How many Stanley Cups did you win us? I actually want to double check that. You won us a few. Did you really only win 1 Stanley Cup with this team? I guess we haven't won in the past couple years. We made it to the Stanley Cup final here, but lost. And then we lost in Game 7 here. So we've really gone 4 straight years without a Stanley Cup. We're in a crazy slump right now. So normally I wouldn't gas up a pick like this, but with the 28th overall, we're getting a medium top 6 potential forward. With the 28th overall pick, Bro's already a 78 overall. There's a very good chance that this man cracks the lineup next season. I mean, that's actually a lie. We're going to send him back to juniors for 1 more year. He'll develop into an 81 and then make the roster. But yeah, shout out to him. 78 overall in the draft at the 28th overall pick. Bro's going to develop into a stud, I can guarantee it. And the 28th overall pick is going to be the only good prospect we get here because with the 156th overall, we're going to get a lowly potential playmaker. So when it comes to the re-sign phase, we're not going to be bringing anyone back here because we don't really need to, and we also don't have the cap space. McNeely's going to be walking here, 85 overall. Bro won us 1 Stanley Cup, but the past couple years, he has not been that guy. Now, we do have some extensions to give out. Eklund's going to be one of them at 34 years old. He's not coming back to the team. I'm going to say that right now. We're about to trade him. He still has a ton of trade value for a 34-year-old, so unfortunately, we're going to have to ship him out. And Ross, what are you looking at for a contract extension? This isn't too bad. We can work with this. Now, $9 million, you're kind of bugging there. I'm definitely not doing that, but how about $8 million per year for the next 6 seasons? I feel like that's a fair deal for you. We'll keep you around until you're 33 years old, and then we'll either trade you or let you walk, one of the two. Now, I'm not going to screw up a long-term deal this time around. You have low elite potential right now at 21 years old, and you're already an 80 overall. Here's an 8-year 2-year deal at $2.7 million. We'll find a place where you can fit in the lineup. So as I said, we're going to be trading William Eklund here, and I'm looking at a deal with the Carolina Hurricanes, and this could be massive for us. So Eklund's going to be shipped over. We're going to bring in Girard. He's a good young player, 87 overall at 20 years old. The sky's the limit for this guy. We're also going to be picking up 2 first-round picks from the Carolina Hurricanes. And it's important to note the Carolina Hurricanes absolutely suck right now. Like, they're one of the worst teams in the entire league, and we're going to be getting their first-round pick for the next 2 years. I want to see if we can do the next 3 years. If this deal is possible to get done, that would be a massive steal for us. I'm not surprised they're saying no. We'll take out that 1 first-round pick, but I do want to at least get 2 first-rounders here. That was way easier than I thought. We're going to be such a good team for the final 5 years because we're going to be bringing in a ton of good rookies that are going to be like 80 overalls. We're going to be paying them absolutely no money. Yeah, we're set. Now, the only issue we have is Girard. We need to give him $12.6 million. We currently don't have $12.6 million. However, there's another trade I'm looking at, and it's going to involve one of the guys that's been here since day 3, because he wasn't here for season number 1. I don't think he was here season number 2. I think he joined the team in season number 3. I don't know. I'm yapping right now. The guy I'm talking about is Slafkovsky. So I do have a plan here, but I don't know how many picks it's going to cost. Slafkovsky, a 2nd and 3rd rounder over to the Winnipeg Jets. We're picking up Valette. Bro's getting paid $16.7 million. Show it to his agent, because his agent was holding it down. There's no reason that man should have got that much money. But it doesn't really matter because the Toronto Maple Leafs are making big moves. I'm going to throw a medium league potential prospect into this deal. It was one of our goaltenders. We're getting this one done. Now it's time to head back over to Vegas. So is it going to be possible for us to get a deal done like this? I'm going to offer this over. They're saying no. We got to add a few more pieces into this deal. I don't even recall what we put in before. I think it was 2nd round picks, and now we don't have 2nd round picks, so I actually don't know what we're going to do here. Here's Toronto's 2039 1st round pick. Maybe that will be enough. They're going to be saying no. That's perfectly fine with me. Let's keep throwing picks in. I'll give you a 4th rounder as well. That doesn't really have much value, but you just never know what's going to be the difference maker. They're going to say no to that. You got to give me these 2 first round picks. How about I take the player out of the deal and you just give me the 2 first rounders? Is that possible to get done? They're still saying no to this deal. What's it going to take? Let's not waste any more time here. Let's just get a deal done. Instead of getting 2 first rounders, I'll get a 1st and a 2nd. That's really not going to be enough. Okay, if we can't get a 2nd rounder, then there's no way this deal is going to be happening. Maybe this 2nd rounder, I mean, that doesn't have as much value. Give me 2 3rd rounders instead. I tried to get 2 firsts, but somehow we're getting a 1st, 2 3rd rounders, and Miroslav here. Miroslav's going to be great for the bottom 6. We can't even get a 3rd rounder. Are you kidding me? Are we really going to be giving up these 2 players for a bottom 6 piece and a 1st round pick? Granted, that 1st round pick is going to have a lot of value. Actually, I don't know if I want that 1st round pick for this season. Yes, I do. It really doesn't matter. Let's just get this deal done. So we have 3 1st round picks for the upcoming draft, and none of them are for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and that's actually pretty good because we're going to be an elite team. So now that we've made that deal, Girard, you can come back to the team because we're going to have the cap space for you. We'll do 11.35 for the next couple of years. I feel like that's a good deal for you. You're going to be playing some big top 6 minutes. You're going to be producing like an absolute stud. We better keep you here. Okay, so hear me out. We have a lot of cap space right now. So what if I bring in this 91 overall goaltender? He's one of the best in the entire league. I'll do 11.5 for 1 season. He'll be our goaltender for this season only, unless we can bring him back next season on a really reasonable deal, but I highly doubt it's going to happen. That's going to give our backup 1 more year to develop. I think this is a very smart move for us. So Boyer, you are a great player for this team, 26 years old, and you're on a very good contract of $3.7 million. But right now, we don't really have any forward lines you can play on. So I'm going to package you up along with 2 4th round picks. We're going to be getting a right defenseman because that's exactly what we're lacking right now. I think we have a 70 overall playing on the right D. Yeah, we got to change that up. So we're going to be acquiring this 81 overall. We'll keep him around for this season, then we'll let him walk in free agency. But in the process, I wouldn't mind picking up Washington's 1st round pick. You never know how valuable that's going to be. And that 1st rounder is not for this season, but for next season. So every single season, I gas up the team and talk about how incredible they are. But we haven't won a Stanley Cup in I think 5 seasons now. This team's garbage. We need to turn it around, and we got to win some Stanley Cups here. The forward core is pretty good. The defense is not too bad. 85, 86, and 86 on the left side. While the right side, we're not going to talk about except Dika because he's looking fantastic at an 86 overall. The other 2 guys, you know what? They played their role on the team. I can't really complain. Meanwhile, in between the pipes, we do have a 91 overall goaltender. If there is a world in which this man can come back and play for us next season, then I'll definitely do it. But if he can't, we'll let him walk, and then we'll let the 85 overall take over. So we have an 85 and a 91 as our goaltending tandem. The forward and defensive core is looking absolutely incredible. Toronto should be able to win a Stanley Cup. but they also should have been able to win a Stanley Cup the past 4 years, and here we are. So I didn't even bother stopping at the trade deadline because this team was absolutely rolling, and then things immediately fell off after the trade deadline. We're still first here with a 51-24-7 record, but our record should definitely be better than this. An offense that's pretty good, a defense that's pretty mid. I don't know what else to say about the Toronto Maple Leafs right now. Like, we're an incredibly good team. Stewart, he's got 85 points here. McQueen, 84. Gerard, 84 in his debut with the team. And for goaltending numbers, I'm really curious with this. Bro, you're a 91 overall and you had a 901 to 292. You are a 91 overall. And these are your numbers. Not gonna lie, there's no excuse for that. But you can make it up to me real quick here. Just go 16-0 in the postseason, plain and simple. I don't care if our offense completely falls apart and we only score 1 goal a game. Just pick up 16 shutouts. It's not that hard. No, real talk, our goalie was listening to me. In 2 of our first 3 games, he picked up shutouts. This man's locked in here, and 11-4 in Game 5 is wild. 11 goals in a playoff game? No, we gotta win a Stanley Cup. We cannot lose the Stanley Cup after scoring 11 goals in a playoff game. So we just won 11-4. I haven't got over that dominant performance. Detroit, y'all aren't right for us. We're about to sweep you guys real quick. Now, it might not be a sweep, but we're scoring a ton of goals in this series, and we're looking to pick up a few more here. 5-2 in game number 5, and we're off to the conference finals. We literally averaged 5 goals a game in this series. We picked up 25 in 5 games. We don't even need goaltending as long as this offense continues to produce. Well, who would have thought? The Carolina Hurricanes in the conference finals. We were all expecting this team to suck, but somehow they made it all the way to the conference finals. We owned their first round pick, so that's not going to be too valuable, but we're not losing to them. We're not going to lose to the Carolina Hurricanes because they have one of us on their team. I don't exactly remember who we traded to Carolina, but they have someone from our team on theirs now. No, in all seriousness, I could not tell you who we traded to Carolina. Okay, there is no reason that the Carolina Hurricanes should be competing with us right now. We are clearly the superior team. We're about to lose to the Carolina Hurricanes, and they're going to win the Stanley Cup, aren't they? They're about to win the Stanley Cup. We owned their first round pick. I thought it was going to be incredibly valuable, but Carolina's about to win the Stanley Cup, aren't they? Ain't no way that just happened. Carolina's first round pick had a ton of trade value because this game said, nah, this team's gonna suck. Stewart didn't score a single goal in the conference finals. He had 10 goals in 10 games entering the conference finals. He picked up 4 points in 6 games. He had 16 points in his first 10 games. I said we would win a Stanley Cup if the offense continued to produce. The big time players stopped making big time plays. I don't even want to look at the stats of this team. I can't believe that just happened. That was the Toronto Maple Leafs playing right there. Not the stick on the ice Maple Leafs. That was straight up the Toronto Maple Leafs. Also, we're getting the 9th and 15th overall pick. Maybe if we package those up, we can jump into the top 5 here. Who knows? No, this team's just really a disappointment right now. I also do want to mention, what are the odds that I click view retired players and Robert Thomas happens to be one of the retired players, but he ended up in Chicago. You can't stay loyal to the soil or something, Robert? How could you do that to me? Not the St. Louis, but how could you do that to me specifically? Stick on the ice. You can't be an L-mans like that, Robert. You gotta be loyal to the soil and stay with St. Louis your entire career. I won't accept anything less. So we couldn't get the 3rd overall. Maybe we can get the 4th overall. I'm honestly... Oh, okay, that's actually very easy. I was just going to keep on doing the same package over and over until we could move up. So I couldn't get the 3rd overall. We would try the 4th. If I couldn't get the 4th, we would go for the 5th. But no, we got the 4th overall, so we're going to be getting a really good prospect here. We're going to be going with Spike Sweat or Spike Sweet. I don't really know what his name is. All I know is he's going to be a good player for us. And the 4th overall pick's not going to be the only good prospect we get here because we're getting a low lead potential 2-way defender. And this guy was also a gem, so there's a good chance he develops into something special for us. Well, maybe not something special, but he could probably be a 3rd or 2nd pairing guy. So when it comes to the re-sign phase, we're not bringing anyone back. A lot of these guys are just AHL players, but more importantly, we're not bringing back that 89 overall goaltender. He was pretty solid for us, got us all the way to the conference finals, but we have a good young guy in this system. 85 overall Zanata is going to be the guy for the rest of this rebuild. Alright, so we have a lot of difficult decisions to make here. Roger McQueen, I'm not sure if we're going to be bringing him back to the team. At $12.1 million for only 3 seasons, I'm not sure if that's the play. We also have to trade this man away because I know for a fact he's going to want a bag. 10.2 million, we just can't do it. A lot of changes are happening to the team this season. We got to clear up some big cap space, and we also have to make sure that we retain our goaltender. He's an 87 overall, 24 years old. What's he looking for when it comes to a long-term deal? 13.5 is not happening. I can do 2 years at 2.3 though. We might be doing that. So we'll start with 2 years at 2.2 million. That'll bring you back for the next 2 years, and we already have you under contract for this season. But yeah, $13 million, I don't think that's the move. Right now we have our starting goaltender, but we do need a backup. Dustin Wolf, you're coming in for 1 season at 1.7 million. So I found found the 78 overall. We can pay him 1.9 for the next 3 years. He's going to play on the third line defense for us. No, like these numbers are actually insane. A 79 overall with top 6 D potential, $6.2 million. That's wild. So we have a guy like Miroslav. He plays some good third line minutes for us, and I want to keep him around for the rest of the rebuild, or a majority of it at least. 4.2 for the next 8 years. At this point in the rebuild, $4 million isn't that bad for a third line guy. Alright, so we're going to be shipping Roger McQueen out because we already have a new number 1 line center. That's the guy we drafted 4th overall. So McQueen's sent over to the Nashville Predators. The main piece we're getting in this deal is going to be Dixon, medium league potential, 85 overall. He was the 5th overall pick in 2037. We already know he's going to be a good player if he's an 85 overall at 19 years old. So we're going to make this deal right here. I'm going to have to throw a bit more in here, maybe a second rounder. It really don't matter to me. We just got to get this deal done. Maybe a 4th rounder can be the difference. I'm not too sure, but I'll try a 4th rounder. They're saying no, let's not mess around here. A 2nd round pick for 2040. We're really trading picks in the year 2040. Who would have thought? Okay, a 2nd rounder is not going to be enough. It's going to be a 7th rounder as well. 2 picks for 2040, Roger McQueen for Dixon, and then some other centermen. The reason we got the other centermen is we needed the contracts to work. Now Malachi Fox, he's going to be a massive part of this rebuild in the next couple of years. We're signing him to an 8-year deal. It's going to be probably around $2.9 million. He's going to be one of our right defensemen. The right side's going to be very weak for us, but you know what? I'm perfectly fine with that based on how strong the left side is. And then I'll also do Kachuk to an 8-year deal at $2.5 million, and I'm going to hope he can develop into a good bottom 6 piece for us. If he can play on the 4th line for this price, it's not too bad. So we have some new faces on the team this season. Spike Sweat, he's an 81 overall. Dixon, he's also going to be on the first line at an 85. Both of these guys have good line fits and they're incredibly young, so I'm expecting them to develop into really good players for us. Of course, they're going to be playing alongside Stewart. The rest of the forward core here is absolutely incredible. Scoring is never an issue with this team. It all comes down to defense. But our defense, we have 4 incredible players here, all above an 86 overall. Well, I shouldn't say above an 86 overall. We do have 2 78s on the right side, but you know that's perfectly fine because they're playing with an 88 overall and an 86. 2 incredible players to play alongside. And then in goal for us, we got Zanata. He's an 89 overall, 24 years old. The future goaltender for this team if he can live up to the hype. He's got some X factors this season. Expectations are through the roof for this guy, and all you have to do in your first season is win a Stanley Cup. Not a hard task. We're in the midst of a drought right now. We haven't won a Stanley Cup in a handful of years, but we got to change things up here. We got some good young talent in the system now. Some good young guys are developing here. I think that might be the spark that we're looking for. So it might seem like a bit of a surprise, but Toronto's not doing quite as good this season. 6th in the entire league with a 36-20-5 record, but that shouldn't really be a surprise. We have an 81 overall in our top 6. We have an 85 overall in our top 6. Some of the lowest overalls we've had in a long time. However, the offense still looks good, and the defense, I think this might be the best we've seen in a handful of years. It's been a couple days since I recorded the last part of this, so I couldn't really tell you what's happened in the past 5 years. All I know is we know how to score goals. Our offense is incredible, but our goaltending, that's normally a bit weak. And when it comes to goaltenders, I'd love to look at those numbers. Zanata, 31 wins, 4 shots, a 908 and a 284. I can live with that. Now when it comes to making moves at the trade deadline, we already know what we got to do. Trade for a defenseman to make the right side a bit stronger. Plain and simple. So I told y'all we need to pick up another defenseman, so that's exactly what we're going to do here. This is one of the guys we picked up in that Nashville Predators deal. I'm going to package him up along with a 3rd rounder, and we're going to be bringing in Graham to play on the right side defense. That's going to be the lone move we make here. Let's get ready for the end of the season and get ready for another Stanley Cup run. So we're going to throw Graham here on the 2nd pairing. Although it doesn't have a good line fit, nobody's ever had a good line fit on the 2nd pairing since we've started this rebuild. But hey, we won a handful of Stanley Cups without having a good line fit, so why worry about it now? So we certainly turned things around after the trade deadline. We're 1st in the entire league with a 51-23-8 record. Never would have saw that one coming. The offense is pretty solid here, but the defense is what really stands out. Below 3 goals per game. I think we're the only team below 3 goals per game. Well, I guess the San Jose Sharks are too, but that doesn't matter. We're not counting them. We're the best defensive team in the league once again, but that doesn't always translate to the postseason, as we know. So I don't recall when the last time something like this happened. We didn't have a single player averaging a point a game on this team. Yeah, we had some crazy depth scoring, but nobody over a point a game. Well, Zanata, 44 wins, 6 shots, and 913 to 265. As long as you can lock in the postseason, I could see us going on a deep run here. And it all starts right now because in the 1st round, we're going to be matching up against the New York Islanders. A team that's always a tough foe for us. I told y'all that the Islanders were going to be a tough foe for us. We're down 3-1 in the series. We lost in 5 games. What do I have to do to save this team? We have so many great players on this team. We have so much amazing talent. Ideally, we're better next season because the young guys are going to continue to improve. The main core is going to continue to be themselves. I don't have to worry about them. But what do I have to do to get this team over the top? What do I have to do to win the Toronto Maple Leafs more Stanley Cups? Right now, this ain't it. Carolina, they're winning the Stanley Cup, but I just remembered the Washington Capitals were not a good team this season. We have their first round pick. What's that going to be looking like? The 4th overall. We should have got the 2nd. We should have got the 2nd overall pick, but that dropped to 4. I can live with that. We're going to be getting an incredible player once again. We have some good young talent coming from the draft based on a lot of smart trades I've made. I'm taking credit for all of that. All those amazing picks we've got and all those amazing prospects, that's because of me. I made those moves. Now, hypothetically, if the guy that's projected 1st overall has franchise potential, we're going to have to make a move for him, plain and simple. Okay, we have absolutely no clue what he is. However, we could pick up somebody for the right side defense. That's what we're doing. As long as that man is available, we're going to be drafting him. And it looks like he is going to be available. So Kirill, welcome to the team. You might be making the jump to the NHL next season. Maybe not. You're a 79 overall. I might give you 1 season in juniors or in the AHL to develop a bit more. After that though, you're definitely making the jump to our team. Okay, we're going to try a stupid deal like this. The 28th overall over to the Calgary Flames for the 84th and a future 1st round pick. We're going to have to throw some more assets in this deal, but I would love to make a trade like this. Does it make any sense whatsoever? Absolutely not. But nothing about this game ever makes sense. So if we can make stupid trades such as this, then I'm completely down for it. We just have to hope that Calgary sucks now. And right after making that trade, we're making another one. We're dropping from the 32nd overall to the 42nd. But of course, I have a plan in mind. And the reason we dropped down to the 42nd overall is so I can secure this low elite potential sniper. He's a 65 overall gem. We already know what those type of guys become. And with that 84th overall pick we acquired, a high elite potential goaltender. I have never drafted a goaltender with high elite potential before, but we just got one with the 84th overall pick. Okay, so I want to try something I've never done before. I'm going to trade this 6th round pick for a 5th round pick. We're going from 188 to 160. I have no clue how we're jumping up, but now I want to see if I can flip this and somehow get a future 4th round pick. If something stupid like that could happen, I mean, I would be perfectly down for it, but I don't think that's going to be happening. No, that's clearly not happening. So we're just going to get a future 5th round pick. I kind of wanted to see if I could turn that 6th rounder into a 5th, the 5th into a 4th, the 4th into a 3rd, and then somehow work my way up all the way to a 1st round pick. Clearly that's not going to be happening, but you know what? I thought I'd give it a shot. So unfortunately, it doesn't look like Graham's going to be coming back to the team because he wants $13 million. We do not have $13 million. We're also not going to be bringing back this man who plays on the 3rd line for us. He wants $13 million as well. I'll bring back some of these guys that play in the AHL though, because you know they help some of our prospects develop, but the 2 guys at the top here that want $13 million, not happening. Okay, so there's a lot of negative things going on right now. We have to give out extensions. Not a single player wants to play for this team right now. I have no clue why that's the case, but nobody wants to come back to the team. How are we going to be able to afford everyone? Because they're about to start asking for some stupid contracts. I have absolutely no clue. $15 million? We might be able to make that work. I mean, I'm not going to make $15 million work, but I can do 13.5 or something. We'll do 13.4 for the next 6 years. Unless we can keep you for the next 8. No, we're just going to do it in 6 years. We're just going to do a 6-year contract with Stewart here. Then we got to move on to the rest of these guys. The next guy we're going to give a bag to is going to be Elenick here. We're just going to do a bit over $12 million, probably 12.3 for the next 7 years. He's 22 years old. He's going to keep on getting better, so we got to make sure we keep him on this team. I would love to keep Mallet on the team because he's been an incredible piece for the bottom 6, but I'm not paying somebody on the bottom 6 $13 million. That just can't happen. Even someone like Nygren, he plays some gritty 3rd pairing minutes, but at $13 million, I don't think that's the move. Koistinen, you're also probably going to get traded here. I mean, 8.7 is not bad. Then again, it's 8.7 for the 3rd line. We're probably going to let you walk as well. Corson, you're going to walk. Bo Atke, I think we're going to have to let you walk. You're 34 years old. You're eventually going to start getting worse. So it's sad to say, but I think you're going to have to leave the team here. So we're going to be losing a lot of good pieces here. But you know what? One last dance. We have one last chance to win a Stanley Cup. I mean, that's a lie. We're going to rebuild the team in a matter of like 2 seasons. We have so many good young players in the system, but we got to win at least one Stanley Cup with this core. This core has not been successful for how good they are. 85s and 86s across the board with a couple 90s. They should have had way more success than 0 Stanley Cups. So we do need to bring in a backup goaltender for the next couple of years. I think Kristoff could be that guy, 1.4 for the next 3. He's an 81 overall, 27 years old, so it's not like he's going to be declining. He's got exact starter potential. I mean, he fits the role. Why not bring him in? So I've made a lot of good moves in this video, but Dixon might go down as the greatest one of all time. Bro's 20 years old, a 90 overall with a superstar X factor. He's in year number 2 with this team. I picked this guy up not expecting him to really be too much, but here he is after his first season in the NHL, and he's already a 90 overall. He's going to be the difference maker for this team. He's going to be the guy that wins us the Stanley Cup. The defense, usual suspects here. We brought in that young rookie, while the goaltending here, phenomenal. 89 overall Zanata. We already know what this man can do. I mean, when it comes to the postseason, he can't do anything because he folded. But you know what? We're not going to worry about that. He can dominate the regular season. That's what we're going to do again this time. But when the playoffs come around, we got to be a different team. We got to show up when it matters most. And that starts right now. Standings don't matter to me. Record doesn't matter to me. Look at this defense. 2.45 allowed. The next closest, the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they're almost at 3 goals per game. We're less than 2.5. We're here to play. We're not messing around. Obviously, our offense is fantastic. That's absolutely no surprise here. But the goaltending numbers are something I have to look at. Where's Zanata's numbers looking like? 34 wins, 6 shots, a 919, a 237. No, we can't make any changes to the team. We have to rock with this roster right here. We can score goals, we already know that, but we can keep the puck out of the net, and that's probably even more important. With a goaltender like that and a team playing this good of defense, we can't screw anything up. We're running on all cylinders. Let's get to the end of the season. So we're first in the entire league here, but similar to what I said at the trade deadline, none of this matters. The defense is what matters here. 2.5 allowed. We're the only team below 3. We're the only team below 3 goals allowed per game. That's phenomenal. Once you reach 2040, offense doesn't matter anymore because every single team can score. But you know what every team can't do? Keep the puck out of their own net. And Zanata, he's one of the best at doing that. 45 wins, 8 shots, a 921, and a 231. If this man wants 15 million, I'm giving it to him. Whatever he wants when it comes to a contract, he's getting it. Also ignore the fact that we're up 1-0 in the series. I accidentally simulated one game, but we're taking on the New Jersey Devils, and in game number 1, we scored 7 goals. So we're scoring a ton of goals right now. We're not really allowing too many, so we might as well close this series out in 5 games here. A 7-3 victory, similar to our first game where we scored 7. We might not need good goaltending if we keep scoring like this. So we dominated the first round. The New Jersey Devils couldn't even match up against us, and the Detroit Red Wings, they can't match up against us either. I mean, that's a complete lie. They were a 50-win team. This isn't going to be easy. But then again, the Detroit Red Wings haven't seen a team like us. The stick on the ice Maple Leafs are built different right now. Alright, so we smoked Detroit. Not only were we scoring goals, but we were playing good defense. What this team's known for. Alright, so we're 8-1 in the postseason. We're doing everything right now. Let's continue that against the New York Rangers. We do have to remember, though, that Rangers did take the Islanders down in 5 games, and the Islanders were able to smoke us last season, so we better be prepared. New York's definitely been putting a fight up against us. We've been exchanging games so far. Game 5 is going to be a massive one. Unfortunately, we're dropping that one 3-2, but I already know this team's going to lock in game number 6 here. We're going to win 6-2. I'm calling it right now. 5-1 is pretty close, and we're off to game 7. I don't really care how we win. A win is a win. So here we go. Game number 7. The stick on the ice Maple Leafs are about to show out here. We already know what they do. Never mind, the Toronto Maple Leafs showed up, and we allowed 5 goals in the second period. Great work, team. Great work, stick on the ice Maple Leafs. Great work, stick on the ice Maple Leafs. The Toronto Maple Leafs showed up in the second period, but the stick on the ice Maple Leafs showed up for the rest of the game. The first period, third period, and overtime, that's when the stick on the ice Maple Leafs showed up. And that second period, that was the Toronto Maple Leafs. So we're not going to really talk about what's happening right here. We have the Seattle Kraken. I'm not going to mention their record, but if we lose here, we might be wrapping this video up. I mean, that's a lie. I'm way too invested into this. We're in year like 18 right now. I'm not stopping until we get to year 25. So whatever y'all do, you better lock in right now. We got to win ourselves a Stanley Cup. It was a sweep. They were a 37-win team. We're not losing to a 37-win team. The stick on the ice Maple Leafs, they're showing up in the year 2040, and we've got ourselves another Stanley Cup. We went through a pretty long drought there, but it's good to see we've turned things around. But now that we've turned things around, I want to bring back this entire core. That's not going to be possible because we have a lot of guys to bring back here, and we don't have a ton of money. Does anyone want to rejoin the team now? Doesn't look like it. We're going to be losing these 3 guys right here. Actually, we're going to be losing all of these guys. We're not going to have the money to bring them back. I mean, technically we do, but I really want to give $13 million to a guy who's 31 years old? Not ideally. Yeah, so unfortunately, we're going to be losing a lot of key pieces to the team, but that just means we got to make some adjustments. Stewart's an absolute dog, plain and simple. 30 points in 20 games, 12 goals, 18 assists. And you know who else is a dog? Zanata. I actually take that back. These numbers aren't as good as I thought they would be. An 899 to 288. But who cares? We won a Stanley Cup. You can have a goals against of 455 and a save percentage of a 725. We won a Stanley Cup, and that's all that matters. After winning a Stanley Cup, we're just going to keep on winning here. With the 18th overall pick in the draft, we're getting a low elite potential player. He's a 64 overall, and when you get these high overalls that have low elite potential, they usually actually develop into elite potential players. So you can basically say we did get an elite potential player here. Alright, so we might be walking away with elite potential players only. I mean, actually, that's a lie because of the 32nd overall pick. We got a medium top 6, but we just got an elite potential goaltender here. And then with the 144th overall pick, guess what? Another medium elite potential player. This one's also going to be a goaltender. So we already know we're going to be losing some important pieces here. Mallet's going to be leaving the team. Nygren's going to be leaving the team. Koiskinen is. Corson. We're losing a lot of players that have played some big time minutes for us. But you know what? We won a Stanley Cup, and that's the tax you have to pay. But you know what? We won ourselves a Stanley Cup, and sometimes that's the tax you have to pay. Also, I would love to bring in this medium start potential goaltender, but I'm not going to give you a one-way contract. Okay, this might be the worst possible thing that could have happened. Our coach retired. I think he was about 40 games shy from 1,000 wins. And he retired on us. How could you do that? I mean, you're retiring on top because we did just win a Stanley Cup, but you can't do that to me. You can't retire right now. The team's looking absolutely fantastic. And then you're going to do me dirty like that? No, that ain't right. That's not right at all. So obviously we have to bring Dixon back. He's one of the most important pieces to this team. We're doing 10.5 for the next 4 years. If we do anything more than 4 years, he's asking for like 15 million. I mean, that's actually a lie because he only wants 12.5 here. But once we get further down when it comes to years, he's wanting a lot of money, and 10.5, that's all I'm willing to do right now. Rubrock, we're probably not going to be bringing back next season, so I think I'm just going to ride out his contract here. He plays some big second line minutes. Sweat's another really important piece to the team, so we want to bring him back. We'll do 10.5 as well for the next 4 years. However, by doing both of these deals right here, we got to clear up some cap space. And the reason we got to clear up cap space, we got to bring Zanata back. He's the best goaltender. Never mind, we might not be bringing him back. 14.3 is wild. I'm not gonna lie, I know I said I'll pay him whatever he wants, but not 14.3 million. So I don't remember if this is the same Corson or not. I think it might be. I said I wasn't gonna bring him back, but now we are. 2.2 for the next 2 years. I think this is a different Corson though. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I do believe this is a different one. We do have some money for this season, so backer, I'll do 6.5 for 1 year. On a 1 year contract, this isn't too bad. And then we're not gonna sign Jeffrey, but we're gonna sign Jaffray. Yeah, Ricky Jaffray. That is a name. Shout out to all the Jaffrays out there. So we lost our head coach over the offseason and a ton of amazing pieces to this team. However, we did see one improvement. There are players on this defense that have good line fits on the second pairing, something we have never seen before. Enros, a perfect pairing on the second line. We've never seen this before. We have never seen more than 2 defensemen have good line fits. Now we have 4. We have 4 defensemen we can rely on. It's over. It's over for the rest of the league. We have good young defensemen here. Zanata, you're going to be coming back to this team. I'm going to give you your contract during the next re-sign phase because I'm going to have to clear up money for you, but I don't want to clear up money right now. I want to win another Stanley Cup, and then I'll clear up the money for you. Don't worry, you're going to get your bag. You're coming back to this team, but all in due time. So even with a new coach and losing all those pieces, I simulated right to the end of the season because this team looked too good. 58, 16, and 8. We're first in the entire league, of course. Our goals for per game, the best in the entire league. While our defense, 2.55, pretty close to last season. I'm expecting a similar result then. And similar to last season, we don't really have any superstar scorer. No one picking up a ton of points here. I mean, we did have Stewart, 84, but the depth scoring on this team, absolutely incredible. And the goaltending numbers, they're as good as usual. Zanata, 46 wins, 7 shots, and 915 to 248. We already know what you have to do. You got to step up in the postseason once again. We got the Carolina Hurricanes in the first round. It's time for another Stanley Cup. I don't recall how many Stanley Cups we've won by this point, but we got to finish the video with at least 10. So the Carolina Hurricanes have been a good warm-up for us. We're going to be taking them down in 5 games, and we're off to the second round. Okay, never mind. We're taking them down in 6 games, and we're off to the second round here. This has been a good warm-up for us, and we're going to finish it off with a shutout in game number 6. So Carolina actually put up a bigger fight than I expected. I'm not even going to lie there. They gave us a bit of trouble, but you know what? We don't have to worry about them anymore because we already got past them, and now we just need to get past the Florida Panthers. Similar to the Carolina Hurricanes, Florida was able to steal 1 game away from us in the first 4, but unlike the Hurricanes series, we're actually going to close this one out in 5 games. A massive 4-1 victory is going to be sending us to the conference finals. Alright, this is going to be an absolute breeze. The New Jersey Devils. We beat the crap out of this team last postseason. We're going to do it again here. Alright, we got ourselves another 3-1 series lead, and in Game 5, we're going to close it out. I guess not. We're actually going to need Game 6 for this series, but I'm not too concerned. Never mind, I take that all back. We're playing like the Toronto Maple Leafs. We got to play like the stick on the ice Maple Leafs. We've put ourselves in positions like this before, and we've always been able to bounce back, and now we need to bounce back one more time. 3 goals in the second period, and just like that, we're closing this one out. 5 goals in game number 7 here. You'll love to see the big players making big time plays. So it's the all-Canadian matchup once again. The Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Edmonton Oilers. I know for a fact we've taken on Edmonton a couple times in the Stanley Cup final, and I also know we've beat this team a couple times, so let's beat them again. Do not fact check anything I just said there. I'm pretty sure we've matched up against Edmonton. Do I know if we've won a Stanley Cup against this team? Absolutely not. But you know what? It's been a long rebuild so far, so if you expect me to remember things from season number 1, then you'd be wrong. We're winning this series though. 5 games and we're done. Just like that. A 7-2 victory. The stick on the ice Maple Leafs just repeated like that, and next season we go for the three-peat. Before we get to the three-peat though, we got to make sure we bring back our goaltender. Now the biggest thing about bringing back our goaltender here, the salary cap. How much is this jumping by? Hopefully it's a significant amount. Also shout out to Stewart, 28 points here in 23 games, 13 goals, 15 assists. He was absolutely locked in. And Gerard, he was another guy locked in, 28 points as well. Dika had 28. Isn't Dika a defensive defenseman? Never mind, he's a two-way defender. For some reason I thought he was a defensive defenseman and picked up 28 points. That would have been wild. And goaltending numbers, Zanata, 16 wins, 2 shots, a 923 and a 221. Put up numbers like this again next season, and the three-peat's going to be a breeze. So I know for a fact right now we do not have enough money to bring back Zanata. But you know what? Hopefully he wants an extension. Unfortunately, he doesn't. But what type of number are we going to be talking about here? 11.1 million. That's going to be really easy. I know we have 2 guys in our team making about 3.5 million. I'll trade both of them away, and then we'll have enough money for sure. All right, so we already made it clear we got to bring back Zanata. So that means we have to trade away these 2 guys here to clear up the cap space. We're picking up Jennings, but we're not going to be re-signing him. I just need to pick him up in order to make the contracts work. We're also going to be getting the 77th overall pick here. Okay, never mind. Maybe we aren't trading these guys. I take that back because we're absolutely trading these guys away. We're just going to have to use Trade Finder for it. Give me something around the 70th overall range. That's exactly what I want here. You know what? I'll take a future 3rd and a 7th round pick. That's not the end of the world. And then after making that deal, I can do the 85th overall pick, but we might have to jump like 3 or 4 spots. So I want to jump 5 spots here. So it's going to be the 85th and the 224th or the 80th overall. They think they're getting a steal of a deal here, but they really aren't. Because ideally, we're about to get a generational talent here. I mean, the hope is we get a generational talent. This man right here, medium franchise potential. He's not going to have medium franchise, but if you can have medium elite, then that's a massive move for us. Medium elite right winger, 2-way forward, I'll take it. The rest of the draft here isn't really that good, so we got to make some moves, and we're going to be trading for a future 3rd round pick, but we're not done there, because then I'm going to package the 5th and 6th rounder up, and what's that going to get us? Never mind, I forgot to include the 6th rounder, but we are going to do that. We're going to get a future 3rd rounder from the Anaheim Ducks. So we picked up a lot of future picks here, and those are going to be some nice trade assets for us. So we know Zanata is going to be our man for the next 8 years, but hopefully we can do $10 million. I feel like that's a fair contract for him, but even if he doesn't accept this, we do have room to work with. I'm going to offer this over. He's going to reject the offer. Now hold on, because I didn't even think about this. We have Stevenson here, who's a 76 overall. We could sign him to his rookie deal, and then he might be able to be the guy for us in 2 seasons. We wouldn't be that good this season. However, I actually really like this. Or do we bring him back on like a shorter term contract, like we do 3 years or something? That actually could be the move. I think we're going to do 3 years at maybe 10.7 million. And then once that contract's up, Stevenson will take over. High elite potential, 21 years old, and he's already a 76 overall. He'll get some reps in the AHL this season. I think that's the smartest move for this team. Because Zanata, he's 27 years old. We'll have him till he's 30. And then once he's finished, we'll bring in Stevenson and he'll be the guy for the rest of the rebuild. I like the logic behind this move. When it comes to the rest of the team, we're probably going to be letting you walk unless you're an RFA and I can sign you to a 2-way contract. Because some of these guys, like him right here, he wants a 1-way deal. What am I talking about? He's asking for a 2-way contract. I'm bugging. But a guy like McGillis here, he's going to want a 1-way contract. I don't really want to retain that salary. I'm just going to be completely honest here. So we're probably going to be letting him walk. Or I'll qualify him as an RFA and then we can trade him away. Actually, that's going to be the move here. So I want to keep Dalton around for the rest of the rebuild here. So we're doing 8 years at 2.7. That's a pretty solid contract for a bottom 6 guy. However, one of our good young defensemen, yeah, we have an issue here. He wants 12.4 and we have 3 million to work with. And 2.8 of that's going to Dalton, or 2.7, whatever I signed him for. So we don't have money. That is a big issue. So I think the plan is we're going to ride out his contract for this season, and then we're going to trade him away for another good young defenseman who's like an 82 overall. We'll ride out his rookie contract and then trade him away, and then we'll just keep doing that for the rest of the rebuild. We're down to the final 8 seasons or 7 seasons. I don't know how many years we have left, but we don't have too much time. So we do got to bring in some players for the bottom 6 because our team's probably the weakest it's ever looked. So we're going to be bringing in Schaefer, and hopefully we can re-sign him to a very reasonable contract for the next couple of years. If not, he just won't be on the team next season. And then with our next move, we're going to be bringing in Foligno from the New York Rangers. Unfortunately, it looks like a young player and a 3rd rounder is not going to be enough here. So I'll throw in a 6th as well, and that should be more than enough to get this deal done. I'm actually very surprised a 3rd, a 6th, and a young player isn't enough. So maybe a 5th rounder can be. If we can't do it with the 3rd and 5th, then I'll just throw in a 7th. Yeah, we're going to be including a 7th rounder in this deal as well. We got to bring Foligno onto the team because right now our center depth is absolutely abysmal. A 5th, a 3rd, a 7th, and a young player really isn't enough. Here's a 6th rounder then. If you want more than this, you're bugging. They're bugging straight up. But you know what? We're desperate. So I'm going to throw a couple more picks in. Here's a 2043 7th round pick. This is more than enough for Foligno. Honestly, we probably shouldn't have given up that much, but you know what? We're desperate right now. So it's clear our team looks very different right now. The top 6 is definitely not as strong. Dalton's going to be here at an 80 overall. I mean, we have 5 incredible players, and they can definitely carry the way for us. The bottom 6, it definitely took a massive step back here, but I think we're still in a pretty good position, especially with a defense like this. 89 overall, 87, 86, 86. The 3rd pairing might be a bit weak here, but with the top 4 like this, you can't really complain. And we also have one of the best goaltenders in the entire game. Zanata, 89 overall. We've seen what this man's been able to do the past couple of years. We're definitely going to have to rely on him a bit more this season because the team's not as talented, but hey, he's proved that he's the best in the entire league, so I have absolutely no issue with relying on him. So although the team's a bit weaker, we're still looking pretty solid here. 4th in the entire league, 37, 23, and 4. The offense is taking a step back, and so is the defense. We're definitely not the team we were last season, but we already knew that coming in. Although the team's not as talented, Stewart's definitely stepped up for us. 67 points here in 64 games, 35 goals and 32 assists. Meanwhile, the goaltending numbers, Zanata, I can't complain about this. 28 wins, 3 shots, a 911 and a 260. No matter what happens, I know I can rely on you. Now, unfortunately, I would love to make a trade here, but we just have no cap space. Like, plain and simple. We don't really have too much to work with. However, if we could somehow trade for this man right here, because he's only getting paid 3.3 million, that could be the move for us. We're going to have to try. So I've been yapping, but I guess the recording was paused. I just traded for this man right here. We gave up a 1st, a 2nd, 2 3rd rounders, and a medium elite potential prospect. He's going to be playing on the top 6 for us, and he might be the missing piece for this season. So this doesn't happen very often, but we're outside the top 3. 4th overall with a 47, 29, and 6 record. The offense is great. The defense isn't too bad. We just have to play like we know we can in the postseason. We're one of the best teams in the entire league. Stewart's leading the way. He's got 82 points in 82 games. Very rarely do we have a guy averaging a point a game, so you got to appreciate it. And Zanata, 35 wins, 5 shots, and 914 to 255. This man always steps it up in the postseason, and I don't think our 1st round opponent's going to be ready for it. And who's our 1st round opponent going to be? Well, that's going to be the Washington Capitals. Let's warm up with them in the 1st round, get by them in a quick sweep, and then move on to the 2nd. We have a lot of big time playoff performers on this team, so I'm not concerned. Alright boys, you're done warming up. It's time to lock in. We've lost 3 straight games. We're not losing in the 1st round here when we have a chance at 3-peating. Never mind, I guess we are. We shut them out in game number 1, won 6-0. We showed our dominance, and then this team didn't show up for the next 4 games. Absolute shame. Then again, we gotta face facts here. We're not the team we used to be, so I think we have to go through a mini rebuild for the final 6 years. Or 7 years. I do not know how many years are left, but I know we don't have too much time left. So Carolina's going to match up against the Vancouver Canucks in the Stanley Cup final, and you already know Vancouver's going to be losing because they never win in the Stanley Cup final. Carolina's taking it home in 5 games. But in all seriousness, why does it seem in every video when Vancouver makes it to the Stanley Cup final, they lose every single time? Zanata, your numbers, a 929 to 220. Yeah, so we just didn't score goals because those numbers should win you a Stanley Cup, plain and simple. We got to rebuild the offensive core for this team. We got to make a lot of moves because we have a lot of money tied up into a lot of top guys. But you know what? We're going to find a way to make it work. So not only did we fall apart during the playoffs, the draft was abysmal for us. No elite potential players, not even a low elite potential one. I don't know when the last time that happened to us, but it's been a minute. On top of that, we have no money available here. We got to bring back some players. We're going to have to rebuild this entire team. We might be trading a ton of guys away, but we got to rebuild this core here because right now things aren't right. And it's going to be starting with our young defenseman here. I know for a fact we can't bring him back. We don't have the money, so we're qualifying him as an RFA, and then we're going to have to trade him away. Foligno, more than likely we're going to have to trade you away as well, because I don't know what it's going to be looking like. Oh, hell no, I'm not doing that. An 8-year deal and you want $11 million? That's not happening. I would say we're only going to be bringing back maybe 6 players next year. Everyone else is going to be traded. We have to do a mini rebuild to be prepared for the final 7 years, 8 years. I don't know why I keep telling you guys 7 years. I have no clue how many years it is. All I know is changes are about to be made. Alright, so it's pretty clear that we're pretty cap tight right now. We've known this for the past couple seasons. And Stuart, although you are one of our best players here, you are 31 years old. Eventually, you're going to start declining. Although I would love to keep you on the team the next couple of years, we just got to make some tough decisions. So I'm sending you over to the Boston Bruins. We're going to pick up Bouwmeester. He's got medium elite potential. And we're also going to be picking up Simpson here, another player with medium elite potential. I already know for a fact we're going to have to throw some draft picks in this deal, and I don't really want to mess around here, so I'm going to throw a first rounder in, and we're going to get it accepted. Now, Simpson, I can't guarantee he's going to be coming back to the team. It's going to be solely based on how much money he's asking for. So we are going to have to bring back one important piece to the team, and that's going to be Gerard. It's going to be $13.5 million for the next 7 years. That's a pretty expensive contract for a guy that's playing second line minutes. But you know what? I think that's the move that has to be made. We got to keep him around on the team. I'm definitely willing to bring back Foligno on a 1-year contract. We'll do 1 year at $3.2 million. The reason I'm giving him more than what he's asking for is he technically wants 2 seasons, but I'm only willing to do 1 right now. With Schaefer, we can definitely do a 7-year contract here at $3 million. That's going to be a great contract for a guy that's playing some bottom 6 minutes for us. I've also decided that I really want to bring back this medium elite potential prospect. I know I said I was going to trade him, but Suglobov, you're one of the best defensemen in the game right now, and you're only 21 years old. You're going to keep on getting better, so I better keep you on this team. Also, why does he play for the Springfield Thunderbirds? Couldn't tell you. Okay, so Suglobov actually declined our deal, but I'm going to offer him another contract here. We'll do $11 million for the next 7 years. He should accept that one. We do have to finish up the bottom 6 here, so Isbister, a 1-year deal at $2 million. Hopefully that's going to be enough to bring you back to the team. And Simpson, I haven't necessarily decided if you're going to be playing this season. Obviously, I want you to play, but we actually don't have the money for you. That's a lie. If we do 2 years at $4 million, then you'll also be able to join the team, and we'll have like $200K in cap space. So I think that's the move. Alright, so the Toronto Maple Leafs just aren't the team they used to be anymore. We're definitely going to be making the playoffs and we'll be one of the best in the entire league, but the star players just aren't here anymore. Dixon is, Sweat, Sweet, whatever you want to call them. Bouwmeester, Silverthorne, Gerard, Simpson. The bottom 6 is nothing like it used to be. Like, we used to have like 88 overalls, 87 overalls, but the cap situation on this team got very difficult. However, in saying all of that, our defense is the best it's ever been. The third pairing might not be the strongest, but these 4 guys right here, we can rely on them day and night. And the goaltending situation, we got Zatna, an 89 overall. Stevenson's going to be taking the reins sooner than we think. These are 2 guys we can also rely on. Offensively, we're nowhere near as good as we used to be. Defensively, on the other hand, this is the best we've ever been. And the goaltending tandem, don't even get me started on that because that's elite. So I guess all we can really hope for here is the team goes on some sort of miracle run and we can start scoring like 8 goals a game. If we can somehow have the best offense in the entire league, then no one's going to be able to stop us because our defense is going to be allowing less than 2.5 goals per game. I think at the trade deadline, we're currently outside the top 10. That would not surprise me. Okay, we're 9th here with a 33, 22, and 8 record. We're not a good team. Our offense, we can't score goals. It's actually our biggest issue. Defensively, we're not too bad, 2.87. That's tied for the best in the entire league. Our offense, on the other hand, I think it's one of the worst. So that's one of our biggest issues right now. We can't score goals. However, we did know that coming into the season. And that's pretty clear looking at the scoring right now. We used to have 5 or 6 guys having 50 points by now. Now we only have 3. The goaltending numbers, pretty solid from Zatna, 28 wins, 2 shots, a 908 and a 278. Stevenson, these aren't too good, but you know what? You're still a young goaltender, only an 83 overall. You'll be taking the reins probably next season, then Zatna's going to be getting traded. But for now, just hold it down in your backup role. The biggest issue right now is once you get to the year 2042, everybody wants $10 million. Hamonic here, he's getting paid $15 million and he's an 85 overall. Granted, he is 35 years old, so that contract just hasn't aged well. But a lot of these guys, like $10 million, We don't have the money to be making these types of moves. Okay, so we have to trade one of our medium elite prospects away, but we're going to be getting a medium elite potential player. We're getting Archer. He's an 82 overall sniper. He's going to help the third line. We're going to have to ship out Ty Fernandez. Honestly, this doesn't bother me too much. We're trading a medium elite for another medium elite. It's going to work out for both sides here. We're going to have to throw a couple draft picks in, probably a 6th or 7th rounder. But you know what? We're getting the guy we want. I'll give you a 5th rounder for 2044. I feel like that's a fair deal. They're going to be saying no to that, but we're just a bit low. So I'll throw in that 7th rounder and we're getting this deal done. So we're going to be picking up some more bottom 6 scoring. That's what we're desperately missing right now. That's a smart move for us. He's also stolen his rookie contract, so we're only going to have to pay him $1 million. I can live with that. So I was cooking up a huge deal, but we had to clear up cap space, so that's why I sent Fox over to the Anaheim Ducks. Moving on over to Kachuk, I just want a draft pick here. I don't want to pick up any players. We're going to get a 7th rounder from the Carolina Hurricanes. And to finish off all 3 of these moves, Foligno's going to be sent over to the Calgary Flames, and we're going to be getting a 3rd and 4th rounder. However, things aren't really going as planned. Yeah, so we're about to make a move right now, and I already know I'm going to get flamed for it. I'm trading a 1st rounder and a 4th for somebody who has bottom 6 potential. You heard that right. We're trading a 1st round pick and a 3rd round pick now for somebody with bottom 6 potential. It's going to be a 1st, a 3rd, and a 4th for somebody with, guess what, bottom 6 potential. Why don't you want to accept this deal? He has bottom 6 potential. We are desperate. Take advantage of us. That was a really stupid move, but we're incredibly desperate. We got to spark the offense here, plain and simple. Alright, so we high-key cooked to finish out the season. 3rd in the entire league with a 48, 24, and 10 record. We shouldn't be here right now. The offense picked up. The defense isn't quite as good, but that's still best in the entire league. If the offense is running on full cylinders, we have a very good chance at another Stanley Cup. In saying that though, once again this season, we're not going to have anyone averaging over a point a game. While the goaltending numbers are taking a step back with Zatna, 40 wins, 2 shots, a 907 and a 275. If it was any other player, I would be concerned with these numbers. But we know what this man does in the postseason. He wins us games. I mean, he can win us games as long as we produce offensively. Because last season, he had a 930 and a 229. And because we didn't score, we didn't get out of the 1st round. We have a chip on our shoulder this time around. Let's get another Stanley Cup. And let's score some goals. Alright, so the opposite has happened the past 2 games. We've allowed 6 goals in both of them. Normally, I'm concerned about the offense, but right now, I'm concerned about the defense. We didn't even score in game number 5. We allowed 5 goals and we didn't even score. We're going to lose in game 6. Never mind, we scored 7 goals. I don't know what this team is. Are we good? Are we bad? Are we good offensively? Are we bad offensively? Nobody knows. All I know is the New Jersey Devils are currently a 50-win team, but that doesn't matter in the postseason. In the second period, both teams are exploding for 2 goals each. The third period is going to be deciding this one, and our offense is going to keep on rolling. We're picking up another 2 goals, 4 unanswered for the stick on the ice Maple Leafs, and we're off to the second round. So we've moved on to the second round, and if we're able to get past the New Jersey Devils, then we can definitely get past the Detroit Red Wings, a team that only won 39 games. But more than likely, we are going to lose to the 39-win Detroit Red Wings. That would be the most fitting loss for the Toronto Maple Leafs. However, that's actually not us because we're the stick on the ice Maple Leafs, and we don't lose games like that. So we have a 3-1 series lead, and we're closing out in game number 5 here. I told y'all, the stick on the ice Maple Leafs, they don't fold games like this. Right now, the Toronto Maple Leafs are playing, so I mean, that's why we're losing some games. But stick on the ice Maple Leafs, they show up in game number 6. It's a known fact that the stick on the ice Maple Leafs have never lost a playoff game in the entirety of this video. Every single loss this team's had, that's been the Toronto Maple Leafs playing. The conference finals is going to be by far our most difficult task. We're taking on the reigning Stanley Cup champions in the Carolina Hurricanes. However, if we get past Carolina and then take on Vancouver in the Stanley Cup final, then you might as well give us the Stanley Cup before the series is even over, because nobody loses to Vancouver in the Stanley Cup final. Sorry to all Vancouver Canucks fans, but that's just the way it is. Give us the Stanley Cup right now. Just hand it over to us. A sweep over the reigning Stanley Cup champions? No, Toronto's locked in right now. We're probably taking on Chicago here in the Stanley Cup final, but Chicago's not ready for us. If we're going to keep it 1,000, Chicago's not ready for us. We just swept the reigning Stanley Cup champions. Chicago, y'all ain't nothing. So here we go. We're simulating through the first 4 games of this. Ideally, we just complete a sweep here. Unfortunately, that's not going to be happening. We're going to take it in 5 games. 5 games to win the Stanley Cup for the stick on the ice Maple Leafs. I think that might be the 10th of the video. 10 Stanley Cups, and we're only in year 20 right now. We're winning basically every other year. I mean, that might actually not be true. I do not recall how many Stanley Cups we've won, but we've definitely got ourselves a handful. Dixon was leading the way for us, 25 points here. Sweat or Sweets picking up 23. Silverthorn 21. Bazatina, what were you up to? 16 wins, 3 shouts, a 910 to 254. Not the greatest numbers you've had, but hey, how many Stanley Cups have you won us? I just actually want to double check these numbers. I believe you've won 3 Stanley Cups with the stick on the ice Maple Leafs now. Yep, 3 Stanley Cups in the last 4 years. This team's pretty darn good. Even with all the turnover we've gone through over the past couple seasons, we've still been one of the best in the entire league. And you know what? The entire team's coming back next season. We're not going to be losing a single player. That means we're going to be winning again. So after not picking up anybody notable in the draft last season, we're changing things up this time around. We're getting a low elite potential player with the 192nd overall. So we have some good news during the re-sign phase for once. We really don't have to bring anyone back to the team, but I will re-sign a couple guys to play in the AHL. Now, although we don't have to bring anyone back during the re-sign phase, we do have to go with some extensions here, and we're going to be losing some players, that's for sure. Bo Meester, how much are you looking for? This is very reasonable. What would an 8-year deal look like with you? $12 million? I think that's actually the move. We're going to do 7 though, maybe 6. Let me calculate how many years are left in the rebuild, and then that will dictate how long the extension is going to be. So if I did my math correct, which is there's probably only about a 35% chance I did, we have 5 seasons left in the rebuild. We have Bouwmeester under contract for this season, so that means we need him for 4 more. So we're doing 4 years at $9.4 million. Another player I wanted to bring back was Dika, but not at this price. We're going to be trading you. And then Enros, I'm definitely trading you away because you're 33 years old and you're already declining. 10.3 million, that's not happening. I think we might just ride out your contract for this season. And then Simpson, I kind of forget what role you play on this team, but I feel like it's not worth 8.7 million. Then again, are you playing top 6 minutes? I don't actually recall. Because if you're playing top 6 minutes, then it might be worth it. I'll give you an extension at the beginning of the season once I remember what line you're playing on. Also, Brett Scott, what would you want for an extension? Yeah, not happening. Not happening in the slightest. You're an 82 overall and you want basically $10 million. You're bugging. Okay, not even debating this contract. He's low elite potential, 22 years old. I'll give you actually, why am I doing an 8-year extension? We'll do 4 years at $2 million. That's an incredible deal for us. You're 79 overall, so you'll play on the team this season. That contract's not even being debated right now. And neither is this contract. A 75 overall who could potentially be a third pairing guy for us in a couple seasons, 4 years at $900K. We got to save money where we can. And when it comes to goaltending, Stevenson, what would you want for an extension if we were to do 5 years or something? We need to do 4 years. 8.3 is definitely not the move here. Zanata, what would you want for an extension if we did 4 years? $10 million. Okay, this is going to be a tough one here. Stevenson, I don't think we're going to re-sign you right now. We'll do that at the end of the season. And then Zatna, I think we're going to let you walk. Or should I just trade you away? I might trade you away and try to get some assets. Okay, so I said I wasn't going to bring back Dika, and then I realized what defensemen are available in free agency and what defensemen we can trade for. According to Trade Value, 87 overall Dika, who's 27 years old with top 4 potential, has like the 7th highest trade value when it comes to defensemen. So yeah, here's 16 million per year for the next 8 years. And after combining that with Bouwmeester, we have no money, so the team's looking good. So I've said this a million times in the video, and I'm going to keep on saying it. Why are 79 overall players asking for 7.5 million? We could sign this man right here. He's got low top 4 potential, 24 years old, and he only wants 4.5 million, so that's an absolute steal. But if we keep going further down here, we can eventually find some cheaper players. We're going to go with Street, 2.1 million, 79 overall. I'll take it. Never mind, I take it back. He doesn't fit on any of the defensive pairings. We have to find somebody else. We're just trying to save money wherever we can. A 78 overall that wants $3 million, probably not the move here. But hey, here's somebody that wants $1 million. He's a 78 overall. We're also going to give him 1.3 million just to make sure he joins this team. Yeah, safe to say we're desperate for players. Here's a 78 overall that wants 1.7 million. Sure, I'm fine with that. Also, I completely forgot we qualified Isbister, but I'm trading him over to the Pittsburgh Penguins for a 6th and 7th rounder. No point having him on the team if he's not going to play, especially since he wants $6 million. Bro's bugging. So after winning a Stanley Cup last season, obviously expectations are going to be high for the stick on the ice Maple Leafs. The team's looking pretty solid on the top 6 here. The bottom 6, like usual, isn't as strong. But I mean, we got Zekov, he's an 85 overall, and we also have Archer here, he's an 86. As long as these guys can produce on the third line here, then we're going to be perfectly fine. Defensively, our top 4, absolutely incredible, the best in the entire league. The third pairing, we're not going to talk about. Meanwhile, the goaltending situation, Stevenson's up to an 88 overall. It's certified. He's going to be the guy for the rest of of this rebuild, while Zatna, I think we're just going to ride out his contract. With a goaltending tandem that includes 288 overalls, no one's going to be able to stop us. Our backup goaltender is better than most starters in the league right now. Speaking of which, Stevenson, if I were to give you an extension, what would you want? 8.1 million. We can find a way to make that work. So how about I give you 7.3 million and we call it a day? Because I know for a fact after this season, you're going to be asking for way more than 8.1 million. But 7.3, I feel like that's a fair deal for both sides. So here we go, 7.3 million for Stevenson. We locked down our elite goaltender for the rest of the rebuild. While Zatna, I might even trade you at the trade deadline. But if I'm trading you to one of the worst teams in the entire league because I don't want to match up against you in the postseason. Didn't I trade this man? We sent him to the Pittsburgh Penguins for a 6th and 7th round pick. Why are you telling me I need to sign him? He's not even on our team anymore. At the trade deadline, we're going to be sitting second in the entire league with a 39-14-9 record. A pretty decent offense, but that defense, fantastic. Unfortunately though, I actually don't think it's best in the entire league this time around. Never mind, it still is the best in the entire league. We have 70 overalls on our third pairing, but I guess it doesn't matter. I'm going to keep it a stack though. The goal scoring is absolutely abysmal. Dixon, you're about 9 points shy of a point a game. That's not going to cut it. We need somebody to step up on this team. Meanwhile, Zatna, it looks like you're still the starter here. 27 wins, 2 shots, a 914 to 253. While Stevenson, you have 12 wins with a 912 and a 266. The future's bright for you, plain and simple. And since Zatna's still our starting goaltender here, we're not making any trades. We're going to keep him on the team. We're just going to rock with the team we have. And this team did win a Stanley Cup last season, so I have nothing to worry about. So obviously we're going to be one of the best teams in the entire league. Second here with a 49-20-13 record. An offense that's pretty good, but a defense that's best in the entire league. I still haven't figured out how our defense is that good. I mean, our top 4 is incredible, don't get me wrong about that, but I feel like that third pairing should just be the difference maker, and that should definitely not have us as one of the top 3 defenses. Meanwhile, here's the scoring on this team. Not that great, but I guess the depth scoring isn't too bad. Sonata, 31 wins, 3 shots, a 913 to 257. Stevenson, I can't complain about these numbers, but win a game in overtime once in a while. How did you have 10 overtime losses? Bro couldn't stop a puck in overtime. But I don't care if Stevenson couldn't make a save in overtime because he's not going to be playing in the postseason. We have the Montreal Canadiens in the first round, an all-Canadian matchup. This one's going to be going Toronto's way. We already know this. Well, the Toronto Maple Leafs have definitely shown up here because we're down 3-1 in the series. It's pretty clear. And the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to decide to step in the postseason here. I mean, the stick on the ice Maple Leafs played in game number 2 because we won 4-2. But the Toronto Maple Leafs played the rest of the games. And we're out in the first round. Great work, team. Okay, so we have 4 seasons left in the rebuild here. We got to bounce back because there's no reason we should be losing in the first round. This Toronto team really let me down, I'm not going to lie. The Toronto Maple Leafs showed up when we needed the stick on the ice Maple Leafs. You hate to see it, you really do. Meanwhile, the offensive numbers absolutely abysmal on this team. Like, nobody showed up here. While the goaltending numbers, they're probably not that great. Yeah, Zanata an 899 to 277. If we scored goals, we would have got out of the first round. But this offense is absolutely abysmal. 6 points from Silverthorne, 6 points from Girard, 4 points from Simpson, 2 points from Sweat. Everyone else had 1 point or 0 points. Just abysmal. The big time players not making big time plays. Bouwmeester, what'd I give you for an extension? 9.4 million? You had 0 points. We're paying somebody 9.4 million who has 0 points. That's fantastic. Alright, so after losing in the first round, we're securing medium elite potential goaltenders. There is nothing to be happy about right now. We are an absolute disappointment. The Toronto Maple Leafs, of course, are going to show up when it matters most, and not the stick on the ice Maple Leafs. We're drafting this man that might have medium elite potential. I don't really care if he does or not. Okay, he does have medium elite potential. That was actually a good draft pick. I'm not going to complain about that. We just got 2 goaltenders with medium elite potential. Can we get a third goaltender with medium elite potential here? We're just going to take a risk. We could go with the right defenseman that might have low elite potential, but nah, we want the guy with medium elite potential. He has bottom 6. All right, that's great. Alright, so Simpson, you're not coming back to the team next season. You want $10 million. You do not produce like a $10 million player, plain and simple. Also, I was 99% sure I traded this man away. Supposedly I didn't. He wants 6.3 million still. You know what? Just walk. I'm actually going to release you. I don't know why you're still on this team. Also, Enross is going to be gone. He's 34 years old and he's dropped to an 83 overall. Scott, I would bring you back, but I know you want $15 billion, so that's also not happening. Some of these RFAs I'll qualify, then trade him away. But yeah, we got to upgrade the team a little bit here. Also, Zatna, you're also leaving the team here. You want $12 million. We got Stevenson in between the pipes. He's the man for the future. Dixon's being the most reasonable man ever. If anyone on this team deserves $12 million, it's him. So I'm going to give him 11.9. I'm being very petty. Also, Sweat, Sweet, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, this isn't happening. We might be trading you. You're a good piece to the team, but at that price, I don't think it's worth it. Also, Zkoff, we're just going to ride out your contract. Silverthorne, we're probably going to ride out your contract as well. We're going to have to make some moves, though, to prepare for the future. I mean, Archer, we could bring him back if we did a 5-year deal. 8.2 million. Can you fit on the top 6? Because if you can, then that's where we'll probably play you. You could be a second line player for us. I think you'll replace Silverthorne. So we'll do 7.5 for the next 5 years with Archer, and then that's going to be our replacement on the second line, and it's actually going to save us a bit of money. Until then, though, Silverthorne, we're riding out your contract. All right, so this is the move. Sweat, sweet. You're getting traded away. I'm packaging you up with a second round pick. We're sending you over to the Florida Panthers to get a left defenseman that's on his rookie contract. He's an 80 overall. He's going to be the replacement for Enroz. I think he's the replacement for Enroz. We've had a lot of players play for this team. I can't remember who's still here and who isn't, but the second rounder's not going to be enough, so I'm not messing around. It's going to be Sweat and a first round pick. We're getting the guy we want here. That's really not enough. You're actually kind of bugging. I'll throw in a second rounder as well. So it's a medium elite potential player, a first and second round pick for a rookie. There we go. We got the rookie. The defense is getting an upgrade here. Now we're just going to sign somebody to a 1-year deal at $10 million. Okay, we're making a very questionable move here. We're trading for Michael Misa. He's an 85 overall, but he's 37 years old at this point. We're bringing him on for the 1 season, and ideally we have 50% of his contract retained. Then he'll only be a $5 million player, and I can live with that. I'm going to be sending a medium elite potential goaltender along with a prospect over to Philly. They're going to be saying no, but you know what? I'm willing to give up more just so they can retain salary. So I'll give you a second rounder as well, and I think that should be enough to get this deal done. Okay, they're not willing to retain salary, so we're just going to be trading for Michael Misa straight up. Now, this isn't the worst deal in the world, but it's not a good deal, so that should be noted. This is not a smart move. I also forgot we have to give an extension to Amante, so I'll do 1.4 for the next 3 years. Hopefully he can play on the third pairing. And then Simpson, can we do a 1-year contract with you at a cheap price? No, we can't, so we're gonna have to trade you away. So I'm assuming EA never expected anyone to play till the year 2040, because the contracts have screwed things up so much that basically no team has any good defensemen. You normally have one good defenseman like the Columbus Blue Jackets do. They have a 90 overall. The rest of the defense, absolutely abysmal. I fully understand why we have one of the best defenses in the entire league now. Because comparing our defense to the rest in the league, it's not even comparable. So at this point, I'm just worrying about the future here. We're going to try to pick up a medium elite potential defenseman. We're including a lot in this deal, but I really don't care what we have to give up. The future is now. A lot of these guys we're trading for are on long-term deals. I mean, I shouldn't say long-term deals. It's a 3-year deal. But you know what? He's going to help the defense here. We gave up quite a few draft picks and some valuable assets, but you know what? Our team's better at the end of the day. And then all we have to do is bring in a cheap backup goaltender. I was going to sign this guy, but you know what? 1.3 million. I mean, that actually would be a steal of a deal. We're not going to worry about that. We're just going to sign one of the cheapest guys available here that isn't an RFA. 2.5 million. I mean, that could be the move. Yeah, we're just going to go with the guy that's 2.5 million, who's an 82. I'll give you 2.5 million for the next 2 years. I know you only want 1.8 million, but we need a backup goaltender. All right, so here's what the team's looking like. The first line doesn't have really good line fits by any means, but we're going to roll with it. The rest of the team's pretty solid. The fourth line could use some work, but you know what? We can definitely live with what we have here. Defensively, the first line's good. The next 2 lines have horrible line fits, but you know what? It just doesn't matter. We have an 88 overall Stevenson in between the pipes, one of the best young goaltenders in the entire game. Last season might not have been the best for him, but now it's time for him to take over and lead us to victory. So it's officially happened. The Toronto Maple Leafs have shown up, and they've been playing the regular season so far. The stick on the ice Maple Leafs haven't played a game yet. 34, 23, and 6. We're terrible offensively, and we're also terrible defensively. We're not good at anything right now. It looks like time's finally ran out for this team. I mean, just look at this team. The second line has not heard of the word defense. -17, -12, and then Archer's -15. How are y'all this bad at defense? Goaltending, Stevenson, 26 wins, 3 shots, a 908, and a 272. These aren't necessarily the worst numbers in the world, but it would help if this team played a bit of defense. So you know what we have to do? We got to make a trade. What is that trade going to be? I have absolutely no clue, but you know what? We're going to figure something out. So I take it back. I don't think we're actually making a trade here, because how the heck am I going to clear up $13 million? Even if they retain half his salary, how am I going to clear up $7 million? Like, it's just not going to work here. Maybe this guy, he's only getting paid $8 million. If you retain 50%, that's only $4 million. Potentially, this could be a move for us, but does he fit on any of the lines here? We're not too sure. We might have to take a risk though. All right, so I've come to the conclusion that it's going to be impossible for me to do trades from here on out at the trade deadline. So we're just going to go ahead, simulate the rest of the season, pray that we can make the playoffs, and then go on some sort of miracle run. From here on out, I'm done stopping at the trade deadline because it's literally impossible to make trades with how the salary cap is. Alright, it's pretty easy to say we're washed, but we're not actually washed yet. 7th in the entire league, 45, 28, and 9. We have a 330 goals for and a 287 goals against. The goals against clearly isn't as good as it used to be, but it still is 2nd in the entire league. While the goals for, it's probably not even top 10. But as long as we can keep the puck out of our net, we always have a chance. With that being said, the offense last postseason was actually the thing that let us down. We did a great job keeping the puck out of our net. Actually, that's a lie as well. Stevenson's numbers, 37 wins, a 907 and a 274. These are okay. I mean, they're no spectacular numbers, but they're not the worst in the world. So here we go, Toronto taking on the Montreal Canadiens. These teams have matched up a ton in the postseason so far in this video. So like usual, the stick on the ice Maple Leafs are going to show up here, and we're going to smoke Montreal. The Toronto Maple Leafs better not show up in a single game during this series. Unfortunately though, the Toronto Maple Leafs have shown up in the past 2 games and we blew a 2-0 series lead. Luckily, the stick on the ice Maple Leafs know when to show up, and we're going to close this out in 6 games. A 6-3 victory, and we're off to the second round. Alright, we got incredibly lucky. There's no reason the Boston Bruins should have lost in the first round. As long as we don't choke against Detroit, we're basically conference finals bound. Well, we're certainly not choking right now because we're closing out in 5 games here. Never mind, we're going to lose that one 5-1, but we're going to close it out in game number 6. And now we got the Buffalo Sabres in the conference finals. We've got to keep on rolling here. No point in stopping. We got all the momentum right now. A 3-1 series lead, and just like that, we're off to the Stanley Cup final in game 5. A massive 5-4 victory. The Toronto Maple Leafs are still here and they're still competing. So we've reached the Stanley Cup final once again. The Toronto Maple Leafs, they shouldn't be here right now. I apologize. The stick on the ice Maple Leafs shouldn't be here right now. Through all the trials and tribulations this team went through this season, we've earned this Stanley Cup. Everyone was betting against us, but here we are, back in another final. No, like real talk, we should not be in the Stanley Cup final right now. We're not that good of a team. But Vegas, they're putting up a solid fight here. The series has been split 2 games apiece. Game 5 is a massive one. We're scoring 5 goals, and that's going to allow us to take it. And in game number 6 here, another Stanley Cup for the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's got to be our 10th of the video. 10 Stanley Cups in 21 years? This team's incredible. Or 22 years. It's pretty clear that I've completely forgotten what's been happening. It's February 5th. At the beginning of this video, I said I started on January 20 something. We've been working on this for about 2 weeks now, so you can't expect me to remember every single Stanley Cup we've won over the past 2 weeks. Michael Misa leading the way, 22 points, an incredible pickup. Schaefer, 21 points, wasn't expecting him to do too much. But our goaltender and Greg Stevenson, 16 wins, 2 shouts, a 909 to 261. It's the first of his career at only 25 years old. He's going to be sticking around for the next couple years, and that means he's going to be bringing home a couple more. After winning that Stanley Cup, we might as well make some moves here. In Silverthorne, I'm going to be bringing you back to the team at 8.6 for the next 5 years. That's 100K more than what you're getting paid right now, and you're still a good piece to the team. When it comes to Zykov and Michael Misa, though, we're going to have to let both of these guys walk. Alright, so the draft right now actually sucks. Like, there's no good prospects available here, so we're trading for future picks, and I'm picking up a 3rd from the Carolina Hurricanes. We're not done there, though, because I'm also going to be picking up a 3rd rounder from the Arizona Coyotes. Bruh, ain't no way we just had another coach retire from the team. What's with all these coaches retiring after winning Stanley Cups? Bro wants to go out on top? Go out on top after we win another 2. Can't be leaving the team right now. So we don't have a lot of money to work with, but I'm going to try to bring back Hill here on a $2.6 million deal for the next 3 years. He's going to play some bottom 6 minutes for us, I think, probably on the 3rd line. If not, we'll just trade him away to clear up the cap space. So the top 6 is going to be staying the same, but we do need to make some additions to the 4th line here, so we're bringing in Thorne to help that. This is really not enough. A 3rd, a 4th, and a 5th rounder. Here's a 7th as well. We're basically going to have no draft picks for this upcoming draft, but you know what? That's perfectly fine, because we're looking to win another Stanley Cup. And we're not done there, because a 2nd and 3rd rounder is going to be shipped over to the New York Rangers, and we're bringing in Bouchard to help the bottom 6 as well. To cap it all off, though, I did sign a bunch of guys to either play in the AHL or on our bottom 6. We're kind of desperate right now, I'm not going to lie. So I think we're a decent enough team to compete for a Stanley Cup this season, maybe even repeat. The bottom 6, though, that's definitely taken a massive step back. Even the top 6, like an 84 overall is our number 1 center, and an 85 overall here on the 2nd line. We're just not as good as we used to be, plain and simple. The defense, though, I can definitely live with what we have here. That's not too bad. While the goaltending, that's absolutely fantastic here. We have an 88 overall Stevenson as our starting goaltender. The reason he's the backup right now is we're in the preseason. We're like halfway through, so it's just rotating goaltenders. Stevenson can easily be the number. Stevenson's going to lead us to another fantastic season, and you never know, he might just lead us to another Stanley Cup. Okay, 6th in the entire league with a 44, 28, and 10 record is a lot better than what I expected. Our offense, it was actually good this season, but our defense, yikes. A 340, we're washed. Plain and simple. Where's the 340 in the entire league though? It's actually one of the worst. Okay, it's like mid. We're like 15th in the entire league when it comes to defense. Not a good sign. However, we can afford to be a bit worse defensively if our offense is better. And I actually think it is this season because we have 2 guys over a point a game. Meanwhile, the goaltending numbers, we're going to pretend those don't exist. I didn't see those numbers. We have the Detroit Red Wings in the first round. Offense has to lead the charge in the postseason because defense clearly isn't. And just like that, we swept the Detroit Red Wings and we scored a lot of goals. Like a ton of goals. And these 3 games right here, that combined for 18 goals. You had this game right here, 24 goals in 4 games. Yeah, that's pretty good. So I got to stop doubting this team. Even when things look bad, we show up to play. Sweeping the Detroit Red Wings was a good start for us, but now we got to take down the Islanders, and I know this team's been able to beat us a couple times. All right, so the Islanders are absolutely smoking us right now, besides Game 3 where we dominated 8-2. We're winning Game 5 though, you never know. Maybe we can win Game 6 and force a Game 7 here. That would be massive for the team. We're off to Game 7 and a chance at another conference finals appearance. No, but real talk, how are we always competing with teams that are better than us? Okay, we're toast here. We're not going to be winning this series unless we make some stupid comeback here in the 3rd period. I don't get it. I really don't get it anymore. How does this team dominate like this? When the 3rd period comes around, they just turn it up. We're in the conference finals once again. This time it's the Buffalo Sabres. We actually have a better record than them. How does this team keep on winning? I will never understand this. We're in the year 2046. We almost got swept, but we're going to make a 3-0 series comeback here. Okay, never mind, we're losing in the conference finals, but how did we even make it to the conference finals? We should not have been in this position. Then again, we just lost to like a 41-win Buffalo Sabres team. Sometimes this team just doesn't make sense, but shout to Schaefer, 23 points in 16 games. I had concerns about you playing on the top line, but you exceeded those expectations. Also, Buffalo's winning the Stanley Cup here. I believe we have 2 more seasons left in this rebuild. 25 years is coming to a close pretty quick. I did not think we were going to make it to this point. I'm going to be completely honest. Once I got to like year 13, I was ready to pack it in. But you know what? It's all about the content. I am doing this for the content. I don't think very many people have made it to this point because we're probably about 2.5 hours into the video. It's going to be like 4 hours long or something. So if you made it to this point, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing swell. Go get some good eats and enjoy the rest of the video. So we got to bounce back after that disappointment. So we're going to be drafting a medium-ly potential goaltender here in the 3rd round. So it turns out we only had 2 picks in this draft. I didn't realize we only had 2 selections, but 1 medium-ly potential goaltender out of 2 picks. Not too bad. So after making no moves during the re-sign phase, we do have 1 extension to give out, and it's going to be to Elenick here. We're going to do 14.5 for the next 8 years. I mean, we don't need to do an 8-year deal, but he wants one, and we got to keep him around for that final season. And then with the next move we're doing, it's going to be Thorne and a 3rd round pick over to the Minnesota Wild, and we're picking up Locke. He's going to be able to play on the bottom 6 here. And when I say he's playing on the bottom 6, I actually don't care where he plays, as long as we can bring him in on a reasonable contract. Can we do 2 years here? 2 years at $2.1 million? Let's get this deal done. Alright, so last season, our record didn't indicate how well we did because after we got through the regular season, we went on a decent run in the postseason, making it all the way to the conference finals. I'm hoping the team can do that again this season. The forward core, it's basically identical with a few small changes. The defense, similar to the forward core, nothing's really changing here. And the goaltending, guess what? Nothing's changing, except we don't have a backup this season. We're going to rock with a 74 overall as our backup. So once again, we're a top 10 team, 7th here with 46 wins, a decent offense, and the defense was actually better this season, a 305. It's not good by any means, but I can definitely live with that. Dixon, he was just 1 point shy of 100. You hate to see it. Gerard, 85. And then we had 2 other guys picking up 80 points here. The offense is really flying now. While the goaltending numbers, Stevenson, 37 wins, 7 shots, a 901 and 289. And also our 74 overall, these aren't that bad numbers. An 885 and a 337. Nowhere near the expectations I set for you, but considering you were a 74 overall, I can't really expect much more. Now, all we need to do is win 16 games in the postseason here. Ideally win 16 straight, but we already know that's not going to happen. We got the New Jersey Devils in the first round. We can't take this team lightly because at the end of the day, they actually finished with more wins than we did. Alright, so I'm just going to mention this right now. The Toronto Maple Leafs showed up and not the stick on the ice Maple Leafs. I mean, the stick on the ice Maple Leafs showed up in game number 4 there, and that's the reason we're still in this series. But in game 5, the Toronto Maple Leafs are showing up, and we're out here in the first round. 1 season left, and then we're done. 25 years is about to be completed here. Who would have thought we would ever get to this point? So here we go. It all comes down to this. 1 final season for the Toronto Maple Leafs or stick on the ice Maple Leafs. It's really going to depend on who shows up next season. I am trading every single draft pick we have of a way. If you're a prospect on this team, you're being traded. We are going to try to build the greatest team imaginable for the final season. Is it going to be possible? I have absolutely no clue, but we're doing everything we can to win. So this is what the plan is. Unless I'm guaranteed a medium elite potential player, I'm not using the draft pick. So our first rounder here that's 26th overall, we're trading that away for a future pick because then we'll have more assets to work with next season. But if you're guaranteed to be medium elite potential, you'll be coming to the team. So what I'm going to be doing is trading our 26th overall pick over to the New Jersey Devils, and we're going to get a future first round pick. That's step number 1 of the plan. And then our next trade is going to be the 122nd and the 218th over to the Seattle Kraken so we can get the 93rd overall pick. Now you might be thinking this trade isn't for the future, but it sort of is. Because with the 93rd overall pick, we're going to be selecting a medium elite potential sniper, and we already know medium elite potential forwards have tons of trade value. So that's definitely going to be helping our team rebuild for the final season. And then for our final trade, we're going to be picking up a future third rounder from the Boston Bruins. We're going to have a ton of draft capital to work with next season, and that's going to be good for completing the rebuild. All right, so when it comes to the re-sign phase, we're not going to be bringing anyone back here, except we are going to be qualifying these 2 RFAs, and then we're going to be trading them away because we don't have the money to afford them. Bro wants $13 million. He actually doesn't want $13 million, he wants 14. So yeah, we're not going to be able to afford that. And Earl, he's going to want 9.6. That deal is not as bad, but even still, we're not going to be able to afford them. We're going to trade both of these guys away for 2 younger players. Well, maybe not Novikov here, because he is an 86 overall, 20 years old. If we can hold on to him, we will, but we got to get a bit younger and a bit cheaper. All right, so it's that time of year where we're going to trade for people on their rookie deals that are high overalls. We're picking up this man from the St. Louis Blues. He's an 85 overall playmaker, and he's going to play on the top line here. I'm going to be packaging up our medium elite potential prospect, a first and second rounder, shipping that over to St. Louis. Unfortunately, they're going to be saying no here, but I feel like another second rounder should be enough to get this deal done. I'm going to ship that over. They're still saying no. What else do I have to throw in this deal? I don't really want to do 2 first round picks, but if we have to, I will. Here's a third rounder as well. This should be more than enough for that one player. Okay, I guess we're doing 2 first round picks. I didn't want to do 2 first rounders, but I guess we're going to have to. Honestly, this is kind of wild. Give me a second rounder back in exchange. You can't be finessing me like this. You got to give me a second back. You know what? Never mind. What is it going to take to get this man right here? I understand he's an incredible talent, but I feel like I'm offering way too much. We finally got the deal done, but even still, what did it cost? And we're not done there because the Dallas Stars, you guys got Caesar Dennis, an 85 overall. I'm going to give you a second rounder and a medium elite potential goaltender for him. All right, so here's the plan. We got to pick up 2 defensemen from the Detroit Red Wings here. We're going to be getting 1 right defenseman, and the other one's going to be a left defenseman, a 79 and 78 overall. Ideally, they have some good line fits here, but that's not guaranteed. I'm going to send this package over. They're going to be accepting immediately. That's perfectly fine. I mean, that's not the greatest situation in the world because if we could have got a draft pick back, I would have been happy. But hey, we got the 2 guys we needed. Now we just need to make a few other moves. And that next move is going to be shipping out Bouchard to clear up the $3.3 million in cap space. And the reason we did that is so we would have enough money to bring back Earl for this final season. He's a good piece to the defense, an 84 overall. Ideally, I would have liked to keep that other defenseman around, but he wanted $15 million, and there's no way we could have made those contracts work. All right, so here we go. Year number 25. Never would have thought we would get to this point. We're going to ignore that some players on this team don't have good line fits. They're high overalls, they have X factors, and we're getting a +2 overall boost on every single line here. This team should be able to perform with the best in the entire league. The defense, nowhere near as good as what it used to be, but we have 3 superstar defensemen that we can rely on game in and game out, so I have no issues with this. And on top of that, we have one of the best young goaltenders in the league. I mean, he's not really young anymore. He is 27 years old. Greg Stevenson, an 88 overall. He's got a ton of X factors himself. It's the last dance for this team. Let's go get one more Stanley Cup. So it should be no surprise we're going to finish this video off the same way we started, with the Toronto Maple Leafs being one of the best in the entire league, 4th with a 47, 26, and 9 record. An incredible offense here. With the defense, it's actually not too bad. 2.98. That's definitely one of the best defenses we've had in a while. It looks like Dixon's going to cap it off with a 91 point season, 32 goals, 59 helpers. Bouwmeester, not too bad from him, 78 points. While Stevenson, what were these goaltending numbers looking like? This is not it. 36 wins, 5 shots, an 896 and a 308. With any other goaltender, I would be concerned about these numbers. But I know what you can do in the postseason. I've seen you step up in the playoffs. Now it's time for you to do that one more time. And it all starts off like this. One final matchup against the Ottawa Senators in the first round. No messing around. We can't lose 4 games in a 7-game series. We all know how much one more Stanley Cup would mean for this team. We can't go out like this in the final season. We've had so much success and we're about to lose in a 5-game series. This is the worst way to end the video. We won countless Stanley Cups, but in the past couple seasons, this team just wasn't it. To be completely honest though, the cap situation in this game got incredibly stupid. I think by the end, the salary cap was up to about 130 million and we started at 82. So we're going to say give or take the salary cap went up 55%. Contracts did not match that 55%. So if a player was asking for $1 million at the beginning of the video, by now they should be asking for about 1.5 million to keep everything equal. 79 overall players are asking for $8 million. That is not a 50% increase. Bouwmeester 7 points, Dixon 6 points, none of this matters. Stevenson, you really folded. An 873 and a goals against of above 4. I can't believe you did that in the final season. Vancouver, they're going to win the Stanley Cup here over the Montreal Canadiens. And now we're going to simulate till the game tells me I can't play any longer. I'm assuming this is the final season unless I've done math completely wrong. And just like that, franchise mode is now complete. 25 years with the Toronto Maple Leafs, and it's finally come to an end. Now all I have to do is edit this entire video. That's going to take me a bit. It's February 6th right now. I have no clue when this video is going to get uploaded, but yeah, this was quite the journey. Also, if you somehow made it to the end of this video, comment Joe Pavelski because he somehow finished 4th in most goals all time. Joe Pavelski finished with 1,060 goals. So for a bit of context, in 18 years in the NHL, as of today, Joe Pavelski has 468 goals. This man just finished with 1,060. He definitely played till he was 50 years old. There's no other way he finishes with 1,000 goals. But hey, shout out to that absolute legend, and shout out to all of you for making it to the end of the video.